Alright, shove it squad, it's the HAWK, back with another video to make you spray. I have now been doing this for over 5 years, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. Thank you all for that, I appreciate the support. During my time on YouTube, one of my most successful series has been Ring of the Hawk. The show where we watch back a wrestler's short run with a company, and at the end we shove them a final grade to see if they could do the JOB to the HAWK. This series turned out to be so successful for me that I ended up creating 5 separate seasons of Ring of the Hawk. This means, unfortunately, I've watched a lot of bad wrestling. There's a variety of reasons why a wrestler might have a short bad run with a company. Things such as drugs and alcohol, having a bad gimmick, being too green, or perhaps management just wanted to straight up hit them with a brick. At this point, I have done so many of these damn videos that one thing that always sticks out in my mind is, who was actually the worst I've covered? And a lot of you seem to have that question too. So in today's video, you're going to see the most pathetic, worthless, vomit-inducing pile of bird turd in the history of wrestling. After looking back across all of my Ring of the Hawk episodes, I have narrowed it down to the following videos. And in case you're wondering, for the purpose of today's video, I've only included actual wrestlers in this series. The worst short runs of a wrestler of all time. So Jonathan Coachman will not be featuring today. And the Hawk might jump in again from time to time to give you a bit of analysis to why this was so piss. Now, when the Hawk made this opening video, I kind of expected it to be like a one-off comedy thing that I would never have to do again. But a lot of you seem to really enjoy the format, and it gave birth to Ring of the Hawk. So we can all thank Garrett Bischoff for that. So here he is, Greaseball Scrub, son of Eric, Garrett Bischoff. Enjoy. Alright, Shove It Squad, I recently joked that I was running a competition. If you could last it through the top 10 matches of Garrett Bischoff, you would win a signed picture of me slamming Andre the Giant. This got me thinking, could I make it through every single Garrett Bischoff match on TNA Impact for real? There was only 30 of them, including pay-per-views. How hard could it be? Garrett is one of the most hated men in TNA history and is one of the most recent cases of nepotism in modern day wrestling. It's hardly like his dad was Ric Flair. His dad was Eric Bischoff, so it's not genetically in him to be a good wrestler. I've set myself a challenge to watch every single Impact match and pay-per-view from this cheesy sideburn, cheap tracky wearing no talent goon. Yes, I'm a masochist. It's my mission to have something nice to say about him by the end of the video. And please remember, I'm not grading the match itself, I'm grading Garrett's involvement in the match. Maybe we're going to learn that Garrett has some amazing finishing manoeuvre that we all slept through, or in my case pissed all over my TV screen through. So this is a brand new series on my channel, Ring of the Hawk! Nepotism makes me squawk! Before his debut as a wrestler, Garrett had been a referee, Jackson James, but then went against his father in the Immortal faction. Ric Flair and Eric tried to teach Garrett a lesson by forcing him to be a wrestler. His first match was against Gunner. Garrett comes out for his debut in a wife beater with some Sports Direct trackies on. Garrett starts out with an arm drag and a hip toss. He then hits a back body drop. Flair then attacks the referee, so the match is thrown out. It went about a minute. Not much of a debut here, is it? And it didn't exactly leave me wanting to see more of him. Great, that's only one match down. I don't ever want to see this loser again on my screen, and I'm only on match 1. I'm giving this an F for time wasted. Mind you, this is literally Garrett's first ever match. It's not as if he's been competing on the indies for years. Match 2. Garrett with Sting in his corner versus Gunner with Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff in his corner. In Garrett's second ever match, he main evented Impact. Let that sink in for a minute. Garrett Bischoff main evented Impact. Bit soon, don't you think, guys? Anyway, it's a nothing match. Gunner dominated the match. It went about a minute, but then Garrett won with some fluky DDT out of nowhere. Maybe this is his amazing finishing manoeuvre. Match 3, he took on Gunner with Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff again. Gunner sends the 2 old greys to the back and says he doesn't need their help. This match looks like a professional wrestler versus a scrub from the audience. Garrett hits a Bulldog and a face plant before Gunner shoulders him in the face. Gunner then beats him up around the outside of the ring. Surprisingly, the crowd are behind Garrett here. Gunner is so intense that he just wants to hurt Garrett. Garrett then randomly scores a pin with a single leg takedown. Maybe Gunner shouldn't have sent away the 2 old men. Well, it was better than the last match and at least the crowd cared. I'm giving it a C because I just enjoyed Gunner hitting the pile driver after the match on the outside of the ring. Match 4 is a pay-per-view. Jesus. It's Garrett Bischoff on pay-per-view against Gunner. Against All Odds 2012. It's 12 minutes! Ugh. Eric Bischoff is in the corner of Gunner and the Hawk is in Garrett's corner. The Hawk was revealed as Garrett's personal trainer, and the Hawk endorsed him as the future of professional wrestling. Garrett hits his first ever dropkick here, although it's not exactly impressive. Garrett also busts out a new pin, but it looks a bit sloppy. This match is the definition of a snooze fest and the crowd are almost in silence. Gunner beats on him forever before Garrett drops him on his face. Gunner keeps hitting net breakers and then the Hawk goes to throw in the towel because that's apparently a thing in wrestling. Gunner then wins with a DDT. Even with the Hawk at ringside, nobody cared and it was slow and boring. Moving on. Match 5. Garrett and Jeff Hardy. Wow, what a strange pairing. Versus Gunner and Kurt Angle in the main event of the night. During the match, they work over Jeff Hardy for about 10 minutes whilst Garrett waits on the outside. I wish I was joking. We are waiting for Garrett Bischoff to come into the ring to save the day. Garrett keeps being stupid and letting the heels cheat. Garrett eventually gets the tag and it consists of a flapjack and a dropkick. He then hits a wacky neck breaker. Maybe this is his finisher. Maybe not. Kurt kicks out. Jeff then hits the swanton for the win. Garrett didn't exactly have to do much, luckily. Probably the best match so far. I quite like that wacky neck breaker move he did. Match 6. Garrett Bischoff versus Kurt Angle. Wow, they were really pushing this kid. It's a 5-minute challenge. Garrett has to try and last the 5 minutes. If he does, he wins. The sum total of Garrett's offense is the 3 of the worst looking punches that I've ever seen that Kurt Angle doesn't sell at all. Kurt then hits the Angle slam, but the clock runs out, so Garrett technically wins. An outcome that did nothing for neither man. Kurt was unable to beat the worst member of the roster, and Garrett got his ass kicked and would have lost the match if the match went 5 seconds longer. F. Match 7. Garrett Bischoff versus Kurt Angle in a 3-minute challenge match. Kurt was so embarrassed that Garrett beat him last week, so this time he says he won't last 3 minutes. Garrett hits his finisher again. We need to come up with a name for this move. How about the grease cutter? Garrett hides on the outside and then runs down the clock, so then Gunner runs out and attacks him for the DQ. So Garrett technically wins again. A pointless match. F. Match 8. TNA Lockdown 2012. Lethal Lockdown. Garrett continued feuding with his dad. If Garrett's team loses, Garrett must leave TNA, and the same goes for Eric. Believe it or not, Garrett was the team captain with Austin Aries, AJ Styles, Mr. Anderson and RVD, and Garrett is in charge of these men. He starts the match out, so we're going to see plenty of Garrett here. Garrett hits some drop kicks which Gunner no-sells, and then a top rope drop kick to take Gunner down. Garrett then takes a huge boot to the face from Bully Ray. Later on, he takes a top rope clothesline from Gunner whilst they tell us that Garrett Bischoff is trending on Twitter. Gunner then launches his face into the cage whilst the crowd chant one more time. Eric is also in the match and enjoys seeing his son getting beaten up. Garrett hits the grease cutter again before his dad beats him up with a kendo stick. Garrett then suddenly recovers and hits his dad with a guitar shot and pins him for the 3. Do you know what? This is the best match of Garrett's TNA career. I'm calling it right here. I'll give it a B. It was a good match, but it's just crazy to think that this entire match was built up around Garrett and his dad. Eric Bischoff must now leave TNA. If only he actually did after this match. Instead, we got to enjoy Garrett and JB pushing over a porta potty with Eric Bischoff inside it. Match 9. Over the top rope battle royal. During the match, he throws Devon out, but then he gets kicked in the face by AJ and thrown out. It was about 20 seconds. It's not going to be an A, is it? Match 10. Devon versus Garrett in a TV title match. Devon was after revenge because Garrett eliminated him from the Over the Top Rope Battle Royal match last week. Garrett adds a running neck breaker to his arsenal here. His hair is getting long enough to start calling him a gypsy. The Robbies interfere in the match because they're in the middle of a year-long blood feud with Devon. Garrett helps Devon fight them off. I'm not rating this one either, it was pointless. Match 11, Slammiversary 2012, the Robbies versus Devon and Garrett. I have zero expectations for this match. How is this on pay-per-view? I would be livid if I paid to see this. There's not really much to say. 3 of the guys involved in the match are terrible. Garrett gets zero offense here until he gets one move, and then Devon gets the tag and wins the match on his own. This might as well have been a handicap match. Oh well, I guess teaming with Garrett Bischoff is a handicap in itself. I give it an F because I hated it. Match 12. Garrett and Devon versus Daniels and Kazarian for the tag titles. Garrett gets beaten up by Bad Influence until Devon gets the tag and does it all on his own again. Garrett tries to help out, but he gets thrown out of the ring, and this allows Kazarian to smack Devon with a belt for the win. Garrett essentially cost his team the match and gets zero offense in again. F again. I'm starting to see a trend here. Things are about to get interesting though. Match 13. Kurt Angle and Garrett Bischoff versus the Aces and Eights. This is the early days of the storyline, and one of the guys is masked here. I think it's Nux. The other is Devon, who isn't masked. Devon has joined the Aces and Eights because he's sick of teaming with Garrett. There's not much to say. Garrett is attacked on the outside and the ref doesn't see it. Wes Briscoe then runs out to make the save for Kurt Angle, as he was about to get smashed with a hammer. Kurt scores the roll-up pin, and Garrett did absolutely nothing again. F. Match 14, Wes Briscoe vs Garrett Bischoff, gut check match. A clunky, horrible match by two of the worst Impact wrestlers of all time. Bischoff hits the flapjack, so it's not his finisher, but it's definitely one of his favourite moves because I've seen it a few times now. Wes Briscoe rolls him up for the 3. Garrett is so bad that he's the first wrestler to lose in gut check. Unfortunately, we'll be seeing much more of these two together. I'm going to give this one D. D for don't ever want to see these two in a match again. Match 15, Aces and Eights versus Angle, Joe, Wes and Garrett. The story here is that Kurt Angle is training Garrett and Wes Briscoe. Joe is in full control and then he tags Garrett in, who immediately loses the advantage for his team. One of the Aces and Eights is a wrestler called CJ O'Doyle. Can't say I've ever heard of him. Garrett hits a bad looking DDT and then almost botches the Devon Spinebuster. Garrett saves Kurt from getting hit with the hammer and then Angle wins it with the Angle Slam. Garrett gets a C here because at least he helped his team in some way. Match 16, Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff versus the Robbies. I don't want to watch this. I think I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to watch any of these guys in a match. But if I don't do it, I'm a massive hypocrite. I can't ask you guys to do it and then if I can't do it myself, can I? Someone needs to hit me with a brick and make me snap out of this. Okay, fine. Garrett hits his flapjack on Robbie E. Wes Briscoe then beats Rob Terry with a crossbody. I think somebody told me ages ago in the comments section that Wes Briscoe's finished with a crossbody from the top. Maybe they're right. Kurt Angle is out celebrating but gets attacked by the Aces and Eights. Garrett Bischoff and Briscoe then turn on Kurt Angle and revealed that they were members of the Aces and Eights all along. The following night, Hulk Hogan was born.
It's because of you, Hulk Hogan!
Garrett hits the grease cutter. Pretty sure EC3 stole this finish from Garrett actually. Wouldn't brag about that if I was him, I'd keep that quiet. Match 17, Samoa Joe vs Garrett Bischoff at Wembley. Match is thrown out because Briscoe runs out for interference. Joe was about to win anyway. Garrett gets an F. Match 18, Garrett Bischoff and Doc vs Magnus and Samoa Joe. Garrett forgot how to do any moves around this time and could only do weak looking punches. The crowd chant, "You can't wrestle." They were right. Garrett was completely useless in this match and his team lost. F. Match 19, Lockdown 2013. The Aces and Eights versus Team TNA. Garrett doesn't start out the match this year, thank God. Bischoff is the third member of the team to enter the cage and he immediately tries to help his team by eye-raking Magnus and Samoa Joe. Sadly it doesn't work and within 20 seconds Garrett is on the floor being battered. During the match, Bischoff gets scared and tries to escape the cage. It ends up with a giant tower spot with Bischoff at the top. Eric Young wins with a top rope elbow because Bischoff did nothing again. F. I have to say he was much better as a face. Match 20, Aces and Eights versus Team TNA again. Garrett literally did nothing. I don't think I ever saw him in the match. Maybe he peed his knickers again and ran off. F. Match 21, Aces and Eights versus Storm, Angle and Eric Young. Garrett Bischoff took a German suplex in this match. Garrett tries to bring a chain into the match, so Briscoe rolls up Angle for the 3. I can't believe I just witnessed Briscoe pinning Angle for the 3. There's no saying Angle didn't try and help these two kids. Bischoff gets a D because at least his team won for a change. Match 22, Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff versus Kurt Angle. Handicap match. Kurt beats on them for ages. The highlight of the match for Garrett is a suplex. I spent the match trying to decide who was worse, Wes or Garrett. There's a really dumb German suplex spot in this match where Wes won't let go of his own partner, so they both end up getting suplexed. Garrett hits Angle in the head with a chain and pins him for the 3. I have not seen a single impressive thing from this guy and I'm really struggling to hang in there. Match 23, Samoa Joe vs Garrett Bischoff. A match that was thrown out almost straight away. Aces and Eights could never win anything, and if they did win, they always did it through cheating. Match 24, Slammiversary 2013. Aces and Eights versus Magnus and Joe and the Jeff Hardy. Before the match, Hogan tells Garrett he's a bitch and so is his old man. He wasn't lying. Joe makes Bischoff look very stupid during this match. Look at this twist of fate as well. Why did Jeff Hardy's finisher become a stunner in TNA? Can anyone let me know down below? Was it just that the TNA wrestlers didn't know how to take it? Surely Jeff would have told them how to take it. Garrett doesn't get a single offensive move in this match again. F. Match 25, Aces and Eights Battle Royal. This isn't really a match. They've been forced to fight each other but they don't want to do it, so Anderson throws them out of the ring in a jokey way. Hilarious. Match 26, the main event Mafia and AJ Styles versus Aces and Eights. The person who gets pinned in this match must leave TNA. Hopefully it's Garrett. Garrett actually hits a move in this match, yes, it's been a while. He hits that flapjack move that we haven't seen in ages. Unfortunately, AJ Styles pins Devon and not Garrett. F. What, you expected me to increase his grade just for hitting one move? You can shove it. Match 27, Gunner and Storm versus Briscoe and Bischoff. Garrett Bischoff hits one move in this match, a steel chain shot to the back of Gunner, and it's over. Somehow they won this match. I don't know why they gave them the win at this time. The Aces and Eights was basically finished at this point. Match 28, the main event Mafia versus Nux, Garrett and Briscoe. Loser leaves TNA, again. Briscoe taps out to Joe, and he's gone. Garrett never did a thing. F. Match 29, Nux and Garrett Bischoff versus AJ Styles. Handicap match. This is a main event match. This is Garrett's final televised match. Praise the Lord, I've made it. Garrett hasn't actually been very botchy. I was quite surprised. I thought we'd be seeing a load of bad stuff, but he sure was bad in this match. Now everyone watch closely. You're about to see the most impressive move of Garrett's wrestling time. It's a double underhook suplex, and even the commentary team seems shocked about it. AJ then throws Garrett Bischoff into a pin for the 3. Not long after this, the Aces and Eights would disband and Bischoff and his dad would sue TNA over unpaid salary. If you ask me, TNA were right not to pay them because they sucked. Do I have anything positive to say about Garrett then? Well, yes I do actually. Believe it or not, this might completely shock you all, but his hairstyle greatly improved by the end of his time in TNA. It was such a mess at the start and now it's a bit slicker. So Garrett, maybe if you'd spent as much time practicing your wrestling ability as you did in the barbershop, you might have gone further in TNA. So the bigger question is, does Garrett belong in Ring of the Hawk? The answer is a resounding no! We don't do jobbers with no finishers or good matches here, brother! Get back to the indies, dude, with Wes Briscoe, you talentless hack! And if you don't agree with that, I'll break your back! Ugh, watching this back, Garrett does need a brick to the jaw, like today, but I don't think it was the worst run that I've ever seen. The grease cutter was a helpful addition to his arsenal, and he had a little bit of charisma and not a terrible look. The main issue was he was pushed well above his station. Why was he associated with people like Hulk Hogan and Perk Angle? He shouldn't have even been lacing up their boots. This scrub really didn't belong on the show, and ultimately that is what he'll be remembered for. Nepotism. He was the most overpushed, unbearable character on a wrestling program in wrestling history. Oh no. Next up, we've got Demon Dale Torborg. 3 terrible gimmicks in just one video. Lucky you. Alright, Demon Dale. Will he fail? Find out later on the Shove It scale. Match 1, WCW Nitro, Dale Torborg versus Kendall Windham. No intro here, he's just shoved in the ring. Dale is dressed like a complete moron and couldn't look any more out of place in 1998. Windham knocks him down and then scores another takedown with a running clothesline. The reason that he's dressed like a complete moron is this was his early gimmick as a member of the WCW pit crew. It's hard to find any footage of the matches, but I'm pleased to tell you it didn't last long. But I'm not here to talk about that, so shove it. Windham takes him out the ring and the good old boy dives off the ring apron with a nice elbow drop. Back in the ring, Windham hits a backdrop but only gets a 2. The crowd start messing around and they sound bored. I don't know what the aim of this match is. Windham scores a weak looking boot for another 2 count. I don't think Torborg's nailed a single move. He tries to mount a comeback, but Windham knees him in the gut, and then he hits a leg drop that the Hawk wouldn't be proud of. Torborg hits a clothesline and a drop kick to come back. His offense doesn't last long though, because Windham scores a spinning neckbreaker. Kendall tries to go for a bulldog, but Dale pushes him off and nails him with a bicycle kick. Oh, he's fallen over. He still makes the cover and it's just about over. It seemed that he screwed his knee up doing this kick. Windham seems annoyed, the crowd don't care. I can't say that I ever want to see him again after this one. It's an S. I guess he really did do himself in there because his next WCW match is almost an entire year later. Jesus Christ, I hope he's improved by now. Match 2, WCW Thunder, Dale Torborg, the MVP, who's now truly embracing his primary school baseball playing past. It's so stupid, it's like if I went around dressing like a burger because I was good at making them when I was younger. Oh, by the way, Mike Tenay informs us that MVP actually stands for Most Violent Player. Great. He's taken on the Maestro, who looks like a depressed version of Ric Flair. They have a bad looking brawl on the ground. The Maestro then outsmarts Dale and locks on an armbar. Dale makes the ropes though. This is not a good start. Maestro quickly takes him down again and puts on another armbar, and again Dale makes the ropes. Dale finally does hit a move with a snap mirror and a boot in the back. He tries to batter Dick Flair, but he hits a backdrop and follows up with an elbow drop. Seconds later, Del thumbs the Maestro in the eyes and then he hits a rock bottom, and it's over. Not impressive at all. He's Garrett Bischoff levels of green. I think we need to start talking about what we can do to make him avoid the shove-it zone.
Oh, man!
Well, I'm accepting these matches aren't going to be good, but maybe he can cut a promo or really engage the audience. If he does these things, I'll allow him a D. Can he do it? Wait and see. Match 3, Thunder, Del Torborg, now known only as MVP. Do you know what? I don't get why they've given him a baseball gimmick but they don't give him a bat. I guess Sting wouldn't have liked it. They should have made it like that film The Warriors. Have him do creepy faces and swing a bat around as he walks. He's taken on Horace Hogan. Let's get this over and done with. MVP looks like he's about to fall over on the ropes and then Hogan knocks him down. They then start running everywhere and MVP hits a bad looking hip drop. MVP lugs Horace into the guardrail and then lugs him back into the ring. He can't make it though because Horace knocks him off the apron. Horace gets a 2 count on some basic offense. Back in the ring, MVP tries to score a sunset flip, but it looked really bad. Horace suplexes him across the ring and follows it up with a backbreaker and gets a 2 count. MVP finally hits a move then as he scores a running crossbody that the boy would be proud of. Next up, MVP hits a running knee, but he can't even knock Horace Hogan down. Horace has enough of him and hits a release German suplex. It's not looking good. Horace then wins with a Samoan drop. You know, I hate it when some wrestlers use the Samoan drop. It should just be safe for Samoans and fat guys, and Horace Hogan is neither. The match is over, just awful, it's an F. Well, guess what happened next? He's taken off TV for 3 months, and you thought those last 2 gimmicks were bad? We're about to change the game. Next up we get a Kiss concert, which is one of the worst rated segments on WCW. Nobody liked Kiss anymore apart from Eric Bischoff. Hell, I barely even knew who they were, so I don't want to see anything relating to them again after this. Little did I know that I was about to be watching 18 matches that paid tribute to them. The Kiss Demon gimmick was originally given to Bryan Adams, who's on stage here with Kiss, but he didn't like the gimmick, so Del Torborg ended up with it. Match 4, Thunder. Del Torborg is now the Demon. Now, I can't remember Kiss being big here in God's County at all growing up, so I guess these matches are going to be forming my first opinions on the band Kiss. The entrance music is their real song and it's pretty good, but it sounds a bit old-fashioned. It sounds like the 80s. He's taking on Terry Funk. At least they're putting him with a veteran now. God, the Demon looks so stupid in those leather trousers. The Demon hits some punches on Funk, who then fires back with some of his own. Funk then headbutts and knocks the Demon down. Funk decides to get on all fours and starts charging at him with his head. Randomly, Funk gets stuck on the ring ropes and the Demon pushes him out the ring. Outside, the Demon gets lobbed into the guardrail. Back in the ring, Funk hits a neck breaker. Then he follows it up with another neck breaker for a 2 count. Funk starts pushing the referee and takes a swing at him. The Demon uses it as an opportunity to take a shot at Funk's nutsack. The Demon hits the most impressive move he's done so far as he hits a butterfly suplex. I really thought it was going to go wrong. It doesn't matter though because both men start doing the Kiwi roll and just like that it's over. The Demon has lost again. I mean, I liked it because of Funk. I'll take pity on the Demon and give it a D for him hitting a suplex and not screwing anything up on this one. Before the next match, Norman Smiley got himself trapped in a coffin which is apparently belonging to the Demon. It closes very slowly whilst Norman screams. Match 5, Thunder. Norman Smiley, he's dressed as the Demon, versus our guy the Demon. I feel like I need to wash my mouth out with soap and smack myself one for saying our guy. Oh, I see. He's in the coffin for his entrance now. He sprints to the ring, so I guess there was no point having that Kiss song playing because I only heard it for about 5 seconds. The Demon tries to strip Norman of his Kiss outfit. What are they, divas? The Demon eventually gets all his gear back and he hits a suplex. He follows it up with a clothesline in the corner. Suddenly, Norman locks in the crossface chicken wing submission and the Demon taps out. Wow, what a joke he is. He was involved in a comedy match and he still got beat. There's already no coming back from this. I just don't know what the point has been so far. It's an S. Match 6, Billy Kidman with Torrie Wilson versus the Demon. They keep talking about what an entrance he has. I mean, it's alright. All he's doing is walking out of a coffin to a good song. It's hardly Gangrel, is it? Kidman takes the Demon down with a drop kick, but then the Demon throws him across the ring. Demon Dale clotheslines Kidman out of the ring and he launches him into the guardrail. Back in the ring, Demon Dale hits a leg drop. He then hits that butterfly suplex again that looked better than last time. The Demon then comes off the middle rope, but he misses an elbow drop. Kidman hits him with a Bulldog for a 2 count. Demon then gets back on his feet and hits a DDT for a 2 count. Double D carries on doing well and hits a side slam. He then tries to go to the top, but Kidman crowbar runs out and starts bowing to him because he loves the Demon. Well, I certainly don't. I can't stand him. It's a D. Had the potential to be his best match so far, but it still could have been better, so shut up. Match 7, Thunder. Match 8, Nitro, the Demon versus Booker, who is without the T because his brother took it away. The Demon takes Booker down with a reverse elbow. Don't get too excited, Booker kicks his face off. Booker then hits the scissors kick and a spinneroonie and a spine buster, and it's over. S.
Oh man!
Match 9, WCW Super Brawl 2000. How the hell did this guy get on pay-per-view? Well, I think it's time I gave some of you who don't know an explanation. In order to have the Kiss song as the Demon's entrance music, and in order for the Demon to portray a member of the Kiss rock band, Eric Bischoff had to agree to some terms. The main one being that the Demon would feature in main events. This is actually the 4th match on the show, but they got around it by calling it a special main event match. During the Demon's entrance, the commentary team explained how it's not real blood in his mouth, it's actually food colouring. Way to make him look creepy. He's taken on the Wall, who jumps him at the top of the ramp. Wall throws him into the ring and boots Del Boy in the head. The Wall presses the Demon overhead and drops him on the mat. It looks like it'll all be over in a moment. Out of nowhere, Demon Del climbs up the turnbuckle and dives out of the corner with a clothesline to take the Wall down. Pretty impressive, to be fair. Demon follows that up, taking the Wall down again with a back elbow and again with a drop kick. We're spoilt for moves here as the Demon hits a suplex. He charges at the Wall in the corner, but he gets caught and dropped on the top rope. The crowd chant boring. Wall hits a backbreak and tries to stretch the Demon out. The Demon actually manages to fight back by throwing Wall from the top rope. The Demon tries to dive from the top, but Wall catches him and hits a choke slam for the 3. It's over. I mean, it was another 3-minute match and another loss, but this was his best match so far, so it wasn't actually that bad. You hear that, Shove It squad? It didn't completely suck. It's a D. Match 10, Thunder, the Demon. God, this guy's entrances are longer than his matches. He's taken on Parker. The Demon jumps him when he stood on his chair and knocks him down with a clothesline. Demon manages another move as he hits a back body drop and gets a 2 count. Random observation, but this guy's body really reminds me of Lance Hoyt. Demon Del hits the double underhook suplex and then climbs to the top rope. That hasn't exactly proved successful for him so far, but he catches Parker at the top and suddenly he turns it into a success and throws Parker onto the chair. Demon then hits the goofiest elbow in the history of the world. Then it's over as Parker hits a top rope corkscrew moonsault.
Oh man!
It's an S. Match 11, Thunder. The Demon takes on Lodi, who's accompanied by Lenny Lane. Demon starts out bashing Lodi in the head with his knee. Demon Del hits an Enziguri next. They trade off suplexes and then Lodi gets a 2 count on power slam. Lodi continues to dominate as he hits a DDT. Suddenly Stacy Keibler appears on the ring apron and she kisses Lodi. He's completely distracted and the Demon hits a full Nelson slam and oh my god, it's over, the Demon has won. He gets beaten up after the match until he's saved by Norman Smiley. So I guess they're going to be an odd couple tag team now. WCW Thunder in 2000. Could it get any worse? Well, yes it could, because it's a D. Match 12, Thunder. The Demon teams up with screaming Norman Smiley, who has a Kiss t-shirt on. What a lovely couple of friends we've got here. They're taking on... What the f*** is that? Oh my god, kill it! What am I watching? It's Brian Knobbs and a man just simply called The Dog. I have no words. The Demon takes down The Dog with a back elbow. The Dog then gets clotheslined out the ring, but he comes straight back in and hits a spine buster for a 2 count. This guy legit thinks that he's a dog. How has this not been talked about more? This is one of the worst gimmicks I've ever seen. Demon takes Brian Knobbs down. He then climbs to the top, but Lodi and Lenny then appear out of nowhere and trip him off the top. Knobbs then hits a big suplex from the top on the Demon. Then, the Dog hits a power slam from the top, and it's over. It can't really get much worse than this, can it? Rick Steiner, this man is not. It's a D. I'm in complete shock about what I've just seen. At least I was entertained. Match 13, WCW Uncensored. Lenny and Lodi versus the Screaming Demons. Oh, I wanted it to be the Dog again. The Demons try to do a dance, but they get jumped. Demon Del Torborg hits the double underhook on Lodi for a 2 count. On the outside, Lodi shoves him into the commentary desk. Demon starts doing the weird leg thing again, so Lenny and Lodi take him out. Lodi gets a 2 count on a vertical suplex. Then all 3 men just randomly crash into each other. It's like the most boring car crash you've ever seen. Call it 2 Kias and a Citroen Cactus smashing together. Norman Smiley is really loved by the crowd, and he fights the 2 goons on his own. Lenny takes the Demon out of the ring, but it's happy days because Norman takes Lodi out. The Screaming Demons win. I sort of like this. What? I sort of like this. I don't know if I'm just confusing this for liking Norman Smiley, but this match had a feel-good vibe to it. It's a C. The Demon celebrate with Stacy Keibler after the match, but the Demon doesn't do the big wiggle. Maybe he should have just done it. He was already a joke at this point, especially with that leg thing he keeps trying to do. Match 14, Thunder. The Demon versus Hugh Morris, aka Humorous. The Demon can't knock Morris down, but he does finally manage it with an enziguri kick. He then gets a 2 count on a back elbow. Suddenly Hugh Morris hits a spine buster and then he nails the moonsault from the top and it's over. It's an S. I just don't get it. What was the point? Where's Norman Smiley? Match 15, 3 months later. Nitro, Vampiro versus the Demon. The Demon hits a good clothesline on Vampiro. Then the 2 face-painted fools fight on the outside. They fight and they keep fighting until the match is counted out. Vampiro climbs up the Titantron and then he jumps off the top with an axe handle. The crowd don't react and it doesn't look very good. I have no words for that one. In fact, actually I do. Bring back Norman Smiley. Asia is now apparently with the Demon, but she gets exploded. Then the Demon is shown without costume, but Vampiro appears and hands him the Demon outfit. There's another hooded man stood behind the Demon. What did I just watch? Match 16, Nitro, Vampiro versus the Demon. Basically, Del Toro tries to stop being the Demon, but for some reason Vampiro wants him to continue being the Demon. Why can't Vampiro just piss off? I want this video to end. Vampiro misses a top rope leg drop. Suddenly a bunch of minions come out. Vampiro has the match won, but he gets scared of the minions. The Demon hits a full Nelson slam, and it's over. The Demon wins, his biggest win to date. It was still a terrible short match though. It's an F.
Man!
Vampiro teleports out the ring after the match. Match 7 up a board by throwing Vito through it, and it made a cool noise. The Demon hits a double underhook suplex. He then does something remarkable and hits a second rope elbow drop. He only gets a 2 count though. Vampiro decides to come out and watch. Demon Dale drop kicks a steel chair into Vito's face. Unfortunately, match 18, Bash at the Beach. More like Bash in the Graveyard. The Demon with Asia versus Vampiro. This is a graveyard match and it's basically a casket match, but it takes place in an actual graveyard. They have to get back to the arena afterwards to win the match. Vampiro leaps out of a tree, but he misses. It's so dark that I can barely see anything. I think the Demon hits the rock bottom. Can you believe this was actually on pay-per-view? You would get more amusement staring at the ceiling. At least you would be able to see it. Asia kicks Vampiro and Vampiro ends up in the grave. Unfortunately, Vamp fights back and sweeps out the Demon's legs. Vamp then grabs Asia and takes her away to a lighter area, thank God. The referee is doing bad humour. The Demon crawls after them and then he finds Asia sitting by the Lake of Reincarnation. Suddenly Vampiro appears and throws the Demon into it. They brawl in the lake and Vampiro then drags Asia away again. The referee saves the Demon from drowning. Everyone keeps running around in the graveyard. The Demon finds Asia lying on the ground. Vampiro then suddenly rises out the coffin next to her and spits in his face. Vampiro keeps saying, "You need to join me." He then breaks a cheap looking rock over the Demon's head. He puts the Demon in the casket, he flips it into the hole in the ground and spits into the hole. I think it's over. Asia has disappeared. I feel a bit sick. It's a D. At least they tried to be different. It looks like the sort of thing that influenced Matt Hardy. Match 19, Thunder, the Demon with Vampiro. He's now sort of possessed by Vampiro. He's taking on Major Stash. Stash hits a big boot to take the Demon down. They just keep giving him this intimidating monster backstory, but then he gets beaten up by everyone. I don't get it. He doesn't wrestle like a big man. Stash throws the Demon from the top and he gets a 2 count. Demon fights back with a clothesline for a 2. Stash hits a spine buster, but he's unable to follow up from the top. The Demon hits a rock bottom and it's over. Wow, another win. I'm in shock. He sure didn't wrestle like a winner though. All these 2-minute matches, it's another S. Match 20, Thunder, main event. Oh my god, a true main event. 8-man elimination tag. Booker T, Sting and Chronic versus Vampiro, the Great Muta, the Demon and Slapnuts. What an unfitting partner, Slapnuts. Can I ever get through a video without having to see him?
The Great Muta is put away almost straight away with a chronic chokeslam. Chronic tries to hit a double chokeslam through a table on the Demon, but believe it or not, Slapnuts makes the save. Chronic gets disqualified for chokeslamming a small ginger referee through a table. I don't blame them. Booker hits the scissors kick on the Demon. Booker tries to bookend Garrett, but the Demon makes the save. Slapnuts then runs away because he's ungrateful and scared of Booker. Sting and Booker then hit their finishers at the same time and the match is over. What was the point? D. Match 21, Nitro, 6-man tag. Already in the ring, the Young Dragons versus Vampiro, the Great Muta and the Demon. The Demon set Sting on fire in a casket recently. The match starts with Jamie Noble somersaulting onto the Demon and Vampiro on the outside. Then we get one of the worst botches I've seen in a while. Look at the size of that ladder. Kaz Hayashi completely misses his dive. Ouch. Demon throws Yang out of the ring to the mat. The Demon hits his full Nelson slam on Kaz. Great Muta wins the match with a moonsault. What a strange match. It's a D. Sting appears in the ring after the match and takes out the Dark Carnival with his bat. Match 22, New Blood Rising. The Demon, who is no longer using his Kiss music. He's just got a generic guitar instead. And he's taking on the Stinger, who comes down from the rafters on a rope. Alright, the Demon has a chance to impress against the legit main eventer. It's on. They fight on the entrance ramp. Sting throws the Demon into the barrier and then he gets him in the ring. The Stinger gives the Demon a splash in the corner. He then hits the Scorpion Death Drop. And it's over. 53 seconds. Right, I think it's time I answered some of the questions that I've been asking myself in this video. So, this whole Kiss Demon thing, it was Eric Bischoff's idea. Just after he signed off on everything with Kiss, Bischoff lost his power in WCW. It's been suggested they continue to book the Demon in a bad way to make Eric look stupid. Standard WCW being petty. Oh, it's an S if you didn't guess. Match 23, Nitro, Fatal 4-Way. Sting versus Vampiro versus the Great Muta versus the Demon. Sting beats up the Demon with ease. Vampiro yells at him for being so bad. He's then literally down for minutes, and all that happened was that he got punched a few times. Vampiro wants to hit Sting with a kendo stick, but the Demon stops him and says that he wants to do it. He then turns on Vampiro and hits him with the stick. Sting makes Muta tap out while that's going on. I don't really need to say it, do I? S. Match 24, final match, Thunder. The Demon versus the Great Muta. Muta pounds on Demon Dale in the corner. In the other corner, the Demon finally fights back. He also hits a back elbow. Demon seems to be doing okay as he hits a running drop kick and follows it up by booting Muta in the back. His dominance doesn't last much longer and Muta starts working on the Demon's leg. Muta puts on a half Boston Crab. Vampiro then strolls out to watch the match. Muta hits Double D with a kendo stick whilst the commentary team say that the ref didn't see it. Oh come on, of course he saw it. That's one of the most ridiculous calls I've ever seen. And if he didn't see it, what's he lecturing him about then? His bad haircut? The Demon hits an enziguri kick and hits a couple of clotheslines. Demon Dale hits the double underhook suplex. He then tries to hit the half Nelson, but Muta sprays him in the face with the mist. Muta hits a backbreaker and he follows it up with a moonsault, and it's over. Vampiro sprints into the ring immediately and starts battering the Demon with a stick. It wasn't that bad a match, but it was hard to enjoy it knowing just how pointless it was. I'll try and end on a positive note and give it a C. So ultimately, none of this was Del Torborg's fault, so I'm not going to go too hard on him. He wound up in TNA for a couple of matches too, but that didn't really go anywhere. But let's be honest, none of it was very good. No good promos, no good matches. The crowd were bored for most of the matches, and the only thing that showed any potential was the Screaming Demon team, and then it randomly ended. I have no choice but to tell him to shove it and drop him in the zone.
Shove it, man!
Don't whine, don't complain, and I'll smack you one if you moan.
Wow, where to begin with that one? WCW managed to show their complete insanity in this video with just giving him 3 terrible gimmicks. How did they come up with 3 at the same time? He lost all his matches, they were all short and pointless. Other than the Screaming Demon team, I couldn't care less for this video. You know when the highlight of your run is that Norman Smiley is in love with you, you're in trouble. Up next, it's the Maestro, a man who's hardly ever discussed today, for good reason. Alright, it's the Maestro. Was he the worst on the show? The Maestro did some JOBs in WCW before he was the Maestro. Instead, at the time, he was Robert Eagle. Not as good as the Hawk. He did get to wrestle Sting, so he's got that going for him. Fast forward to 1999, and every time I saw this man appear on WCW telly, I was stunned that he was getting this TV time. He didn't feel like he fit. It was a jarring gimmick and he looked like a gone-off version of Ric Flair. Turns out that the Maestro is the great nephew of Gorgeous George, so that probably tells you all you need to know and explains my confusion. Bear with me as I explain how this came about. So he owned the rights to the Gorgeous George name, and Randy Savage asked him if his brother Lanny Poffo could be Gorgeous George on WCW. The Maestro agreed to this, only for Poffo to decide that he preferred sitting on his ass getting paid. He would not be Gorgeous George. Instead, the name was given to Randy Savage's girlfriend. Allegedly, the Maestro was livid, so Bischoff gave him a job, and the Maestro was born. He would be half Gorgeous George and half a musical moron. He debuts being lowered from the ceiling playing a piano in a tent. What was it with Russo wanting to lower people from ceilings? Right, have we got all that out of the way? Good, now shove it. Match 1, Thunder. Dale Torborg, before he was the Demon, he is the MVP, versus the Maestro. There's something I find really slick. He knows he's screwed. Life is unfair. They lock up. Torborg quickly falls over in the corner and it's already a mess just 10 seconds in. They try another lock up and the Maestro is able to hit some arm drags and a drop toe hold. A third lock up and the Maestro with a go behind takedown. The fake crowd noise is hurting my ears. Torborg finally does something with a snapmare and a boot to the back. Maestro battles back to his feet and drops him with a back suplex. They get up quickly, but Maestro drops him again quickly with a back elbow and a wacky elbow drop. Torborg slows him down with an eyelash rake, and there's the rock bottom for the 3. 2 debuts in this match, and I can't ever imagine wanting to see either of them ever again. It's an S. Match 2, Thunder, the Maestro versus Norman Smiley. Maestro does a forward roll and celebrates that. They trade standing holds over and over again. Smiley eventually takes him down and dodges a monkey flip attempt. Not sure what happens next, it looks clunky, but Maestro also manages a knockdown. He quickly hits the backdrop suplex special for a 2. Smiley almost manages a sunset flip, but Dick Flair hits him with an ass drop. Now a back body drop. Smiley fires up with a headbutt and a bunch of arm ringers. He's feeling this and hits the wind up slam. The Maestro drags him outside the ring and tries to throw him into the ring pole, but he can't even manage that. Smiley manages to reverse a DDT into the Norman Conquest and Maestro taps out. Why even bother? This sucks on Ishiaki's ass, it's an S. Match 3, Thunder, the Maestro. Why are his entrances so expensive and then he gets in the ring and he's nothing? Versus Prince Ikea. I wrote IKEA. I'd rather be there, and that's saying something. Maestro does a taunt and pays for it with a dropkick. Maestro waves his fingers in the Prince's face and again pays for it. The pace increases with a bunch of chain wrestling. Maestro manages to back him into the corner and starts smacking him one. That fires up Ikea, who returns to the corner battering. Maestro plays possum and throws him into the corner. The Prince hits a drop kick and a back body drop. Maestro comes back with a knee lift and the Maestro puts on an STF. And he gets a tap out win. But he's a bad winner and he continues the attack after the bell. Well, it's a win, but it's not very exciting or interesting. It's a D. Match 4, Thunder, hardcore match. The Maestro versus Brian Knobbs with Jimmy Hart. Maestro celebrates too soon and pays the trash can to the head. The Maestro's getting mashed with weapons over and over again. Knobbs takes the Maestro to Pity City. Maestro manages to block a chair shot with his feet. He seems a bit unsure with the chair in his hands, but he does figure it out eventually. Randomly, Maestro tries a cradle pin for a 2. Jimmy Hart then causes a distraction so Knobbs can smash him with a trash can. Now it's worth noting, WCW weren't very good at doing hardcore matches. It was always just mindless weapon shots with no interesting spots. Knobbs climbs the ropes with a trash can. Norman Smiley appears and takes out Jimmy Hart with a violin case which distracts Knobbs. Smiley also hits him with a pipe. Maestro then finds the pile of bodies and makes a jackknife cover for the 3. He isn't gonna do anything cool, is he? It's just not good, it's an S. Match 5, Thunder, the Maestro versus Evan Courageous with Medusa. Maestro attacks from behind. He frantically scrambles around the ring but can't do anything and gets hip tossed. Maestro dumps his nappy of fear and hides on the outside of the ring. Courageous dives on him and almost overshoots him. In the ring, the Maestro scrambles around more, but he's snap slammed. Maestro responds with back suplex for a 2 count. He can't hit a powerbomb and he's almost rolled up. Courageous comes close with another roll up. Maestro boots him in the ribs with anger. Evan Courageous then slips out of another back suplex and lands a diving forearm. He can't keep going as the Maestro crushes him with a cab driver slam. The commentary laugh at his weird choking instead of making a pin. Medusa on the ring apron kisses the Maestro. Courageous also gets a kiss and the Maestro gets a roll-up pin. Why would Courageous want a kiss just after she kissed somebody else? He looked really into it too. Well, he might be, but I sure wasn't. It's an S. Check out this hilarious Wacky Nitro segment. Symphony, who is Ryan Shamrock, thinks that she's got a date with the Maestro, but it's actually David Flair in a wig and he's hogtied the Maestro inside the piano. Hilarious. Match 6, Thunder, the Maestro vs Kaz Hayashi. Maestro quickly delivers a clunky small package for a 2. Kaz reverses an arm drag into a fireman's carry and a dropkick. Maestro plays possum and throws Hayashi into the corner. He drops some elbows with happiness. A simple stomp gets him a 2 count. The Maestro starts dominating until David Flair marches down with a crowbar. Kaz starts using his speed to hit a dropkick. Then there's a ref bump. Kaz puts on a sleeper. David Flair climbs into the ring and tries to hit the Maestro, but misses. Flair chases the Maestro up the ramp just as the referee wakes up to count the Maestro out. Why is this still going on? It's terrible. It would be an achievement to do something even remotely interesting at this point. Match 7, Nitro. Backstage open challenge. The Maestro, who's looking for a fight, but bites off more than he can chew when he finds Jerry Flynn, who knocks him out with a kick. David Flair has kidnapped Symphony. What a feud we have going here. Match 8, Nitro. The artist formerly known as Prince Ikea with Paisley versus the Maestro with Symphony. At least WCW put a lot of effort into these entrances. If Maestro was wearing Ikea's shirt, he'd look like Gangrel. Maestro hits a spinebuster and starts trying to conduct the crowd. That allows the Prince to wake up. He double legs Maestro and headbutts him in the nutsack. The ladies climb onto the ring apron. They slap the men. Prince rolls up the Maestro and it's over. And a wild slapnut appears.
Jeff Jarrett.
He decks them both with a guitar. Now, then, and forever. I have to say, I think he did the Hawk a favour here. The entrances were 3 times longer than the match. Match 9, Nitro, the Maestro versus Evan Courageous. I guess he's ditched the side chick. Evan drop toe holds him and hits a springboard crossbody. Then he scores a float over into the corner into 9 punches before getting a stun gun. Maestro desperately contemplates what he can do next to avoid going in the zone. Unfortunately, he thinks it's another back suplex. There's a jawbreaker though, that's new. Courageous almost beats him with a sunset flip before being smacked back down. Courageous then blocks his next move in the corner and nails a snap slam for a 2. Followed by a power bomb. Evan Courageous, the powerhouse. Symphony tries to distract him on the apron. She goes down, which distracts Evan. The Maestro hits a running knee from behind and surprisingly that's the 3. Symphony was faking it, she's fine, it's an S. Match 10, Thunder, the Maestro versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Surely the Maestro is screwed here. Maestro can't knock him down. He tries once, twice, 3 times, but the 3rd is turned into a side slam. Maestro stops his next move with a kick to the head, but Bigelow counters this dive. Big body slam with authority now. How does he make that look so good? Bigelow looks to dive. Symphony climbs into the ring trying to stop his dive. Bam Bam just says screw it and hits diving headbutt to Maestro. Suddenly, loads of people are in the ring. The ref is rightfully distracted. Bigelow smashes a bottle. Canyon hits Bigelow from behind with a belt. And the Maestro has beaten Bigelow in 1 minute. Horrendous. Match 11, Nitro, shoot fight. The Maestro. This piano music and his sad face. I just can't take this much longer. This is the most depressing day of my life and I watched every single Jeff Jarrett ref bump in TNA. He takes on Tank Abbott. Maestro is busy conducting the audience when Abbott smacks him down. The bell rings and the Maestro has been knocked out in 10 seconds. You couldn't make it up. Oh well, on to the next match. Match 12, Thunder, hardcore match. The Maestro will once again take on Norman Smiley with many side chicks. Apparently the Maestro is upset that Norman has outshowed him. How about he actually wins a proper match definitively? Maestro jumps Norman whilst he dances with the girls. Norman decks him in the head of a chair. Maestro reverses an Irish whip and lightly sends screaming Norman into a ladder. He starts chasing Norman up the ramp, who casually walks away. Maestro kicks the chair into his face. Norman keeps walking and finds a trash can to use. They head backstage and Maestro sends him into a bunch of trash. Out of nowhere, Norman hits a wind-up slam through the table. It's like it didn't even happen. Maestro's up again, so Norman drops him again. A coffin appears. Norman almost crawls in there and then he faints in terror and the Maestro is... It's the demon. It's also an S. Match 13, Nitro. Buff Bagwell versus the Maestro. He's in a bad mood. He storms to the ring, but immediately Bagwell neckbreakers him. Maestro headbutts him in the gut and hits the atomic drop. Bagwell blocks his next move in the corner and hits a splash from the middle rope. Bagwell is hitting on Symphony. Maestro tries to charge Bagwell from behind, but instead, he takes out his girl. It looks kind of brutal, to be fair. Bagwell celebrates that in the ring whilst the Maestro jumps him from behind. The Maestro has gone insane. It's the most intensity we've seen all video. But then some music hits. It's the Cat. He screams a bunch of nonsense as the camera cuts back to the ring to see Bagwell hitting the blockbuster. And it's over. The Cat says he lost the bet, and by losing this, as a punishment, he will have to listen to some new music. Not sure what the music was because of the WWE Network, but it sure angered the Maestro, who kills the referee. I guess it's a D for character work. A little bit more interesting, at least. I guess something happened. Well, a feud started up because the Cat said he's friends with James Brown. Nobody believed it's true, but then James Brown literally turned up on the pay-per-view. But because it seemed so silly and unbelievable, nobody watched it. The Maestro was one of the many disbelievers. Match 14, Nitro. The Cat versus the Maestro, who has a wacky new hair job. The Cat quickly hits him with a DDT. The Maestro looks done already as a dancing elbow drop connects. The Cat starts playing music on a stereo, which is 3 counts music for some reason. The Cat double chops him in the throat. The Maestro starts flipping out at the disgusting music. The ref gets distracted by literally nothing, as the Maestro smashes the CD player into his face. That's the 3. This is unbearable! Why is any of this happening? I can't explain it. Match 14, Thunder. Oh my god, final match. Finally! The Maestro. He actually cuts a promo before his final match. It seems he's trying to reinvent himself and calling himself the Stro. Yeah, great reinvention. Versus the Cat once again. He misses a punch and gets a Cat clothesline. Cat hurls him across the ring by his haircut. 20 seconds are now wasted as the Cat's shoes have come off, and 20 seconds is a long time in a Maestro match. That's like 10% of the match. Anyway, the Cat hits a scoop slam but misses a wacky elbow drop. It doesn't help the Maestro, who falls headfirst after a flapjack. The Cat and Symphony start arguing over the CD player again. Maestro shoves the referee, which costs him as he gets kicked in the gut and hit with the CD player. Your winner is the Cat. Game over. 1 minute and 30 seconds in case you were wondering. It's hard to describe the emotions I have during this video. I've never seen a wrestler so dead on arrival. They put 0 effort into helping him. It seemed like even booking him on the show was a waste of time. I felt immense sorrow hearing that sad piano music. The dark, gloomy arena, his little red face, the dying company. It was almost like this run summed up the sad end to WCW. On top of that, the Maestro is apparently a super nice dude in real life. I'm sure he could have done a lot more. He wasn't new to this business, he was in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Well, I guess at least he accomplished more than any of us ever will, so I hope he's happy. But I'm sure not happy. This run was appalling. Possibly the worst I've ever seen. The longest match went 5 minutes, and most were only 1 minute. He had no direction and could hardly hit a move. It's a real head scratch that WCW put so much effort into his entrances. Some of them must have cost them a fortune. You don't do that for a nobody, so why did they? Who knows? But what I do know is that the Maestro is going in the zone because his piano playing made me groan. He looked like a rip-off wrestler like he was the Stone, and if you don't agree with that, I'll take you to a desert and leave you all alone. Yeah, this whole thing was just a bit weird, wasn't it? He looked weird. The amount of money they spent on his entrance was weird. The amount he was pushed down our throats was weird. The amount of TV time he got was weird. He came out of nowhere and the whole thing was weird. He felt like a terrible fit in WCW at this time, a real head scratcher. For the fact that he wrestled so many matches, I had to sit through this long ass run, and it amounted to 0. This run makes the list. Knock knock. Who's there? Braden Walker. And I'm gonna knock your teeth in. Okay, it's Braden Walker. A joke telling gimmick's bad if you're a wooden talker. Yes, let's all laugh at Chris Harris. Look, I like Chris Harris for all his TNA stuff. This video is not a knock on any of that. But let's be honest, there's only one place this run is going, and that's in the shove it zone. There's no need to moan. But the big question is, will he be worse than our current biggest shover, Wade Barrett, for his core run? Because that thing was embarrassingly bad. Just to drag this video out a little bit longer, we're going to have to wait for Braden Walker. Let the Hawk take you back to 1996 instead. At the time, a young Chris Harris was a jobber, and the 2 following matches just about qualify for the Ring of the Hawk. Because Superstars was a B-show in 1996, I think. I don't know, what else would be the B-show in 1996? But let's just hit this with a brick and get it underway. Match 1, Superstars. Justin Hawk Bradshaw with Dutch Mantel versus Chris Harris.
He's just shoved in the ring like a nobody, and that'd be right because he is one. Bradshaw pounds on Harris in the corner until the ref distracts him. Harris fires back with a drop kick, which Bradshaw swats away and hits him in the gut. Bradshaw takes him down with a kick now. He follows that with a pump handle slam and punctuates it with an elbow. Bradshaw's having a really easy time and he celebrates happily after hitting a scoop slam. Bradshaw looks like Harris's future partner, the Cowboy, here. Chris Harris is almost dead, but Bradshaw keeps going and hits a backdrop. Now he locks on the abdominal stretch for like a second. Why does he give up so easily? Bradshaw now hits the big boot, which is the setup for the clothesline from hell. That's over. After the match, Bradshaw stamps his initials on young Chris Harris. He wanted to use a branding iron, but Harris had such a bright future in the WWE that they didn't want to spoil him. There's not much to say about this, except he made Bradshaw look really good, which was his job, so it's a C. The Hawk's always looking for people to do the JOB any night, any day to the HAWK. Enjoyable squash match. Match 2 Superstars. Farouk with Sonny. Farouk has a dumb gladiator gimmick and a stupid blue helmet, and of course he faces Chris Harris. Farouk throws him straight away with a big hip toss. Once again, Harris tries a dropkick. The first has no effect, so he does it again. Also no effect. Farouk clotheslines him down. He sends Harris running and hits a power slam. It only lasts a couple of more seconds as Farouk finishes him off with the Dominator. The quality of this footage hurts my eyes, but at least I don't have to clearly see Farouk dressed like this. Not as good as the last squash match, it's a D. So that's it for now. Harris would spend the next 5 years busting his ass on the Independents, just starting to get his foot in the door at WCW when they went down. Back on the Independents again, Harris would have a match against Storm which got them hired by TNA because it was so good. They were shoved together as a makeshift team which turned into a mainstay in TNA, America's Most Wanted. TNA management saw Harris as a future main eventer, but he stayed in this tag team for the next 4 years. When he and Storm eventually split, they had an excellent feud, but there was only one problem. At this point, Harris was now being overshadowed by his former partner James Storm. Harris had no direction, he had a moaning gimmick and he was on his own and his popularity dwindled. His face started to swell with anger and lard, and so did his belly. It just wasn't working out, and nor was Harris. At the start of 2008, TNA released Chris Harris, and just 2 weeks later it was announced that he was knocking at the door of the WWE. Except he would no longer be the Wildcat Chris Harris, he was now Braden Walker. It all started when Armando Estrada stormed into manager Teddy Long's office, who complained that he didn't knock before entering. Harris marches into the office and he's introduced by Teddy Long as ECW's newest superstar. Harris looks old and out of shape as he stands with his hands on his hips trying to look threatening. He squares up to Estrada and tries to tell a knock-knock joke. The answer to who's there is Braden Walker, and I'm gonna knock your teeth down your throat. This is now a legendary line that is adored by the internet of how bad it was. Was it that he delivered the line in such a wooden way, or possibly how it was in such a random way to debut? Or was it just that his name Braden Walker is the most generic sounding name possible? Either way, I noticed that he got zero reaction from the crowd as he walked into the camera shot. Not a peep. Match 3, 12 years later from the last one. Armando Estrada versus Braden Walker. Walker has country music and he looks like Bret Hart ate Mike Awesome. His Titantron is nothing. His music is nothing. He looks around at the crowd expectantly, but not a noise leaves their mouths. Walker starts out of a fireman's carry takeover. Braden Walker now throws Estrada again as he has a think in the corner. Estrada comes back by smacking him and shoving him in the corner. That doesn't last long as Harris turns it around to zero fan reaction. Braden Walker now runs into Estrada's elbow and he's clotheslined down for a 1 count. Walker gets beaten up for a bit longer before getting a lucky sunset flip for a 2 count. He's immediately smacked back down though. Armando Estrada is now smacking me in the face and smiling with happiness. Estrada gets Braden Walker in a bear hug. He fights back to his feet, but then he's sort of pushed down. No idea what happened here. Armando Estrada goes back to the bear hug. The silence is deafening. Taz on commentary is more interested in why Estrada's pocket is hanging out. Braden Walker makes it back to his feet again, and this time he hits a suplex. That's quickly followed with a diving clothesline. He gives Estrada an atomic drop and another clothesline. Taz keeps calling Walker an impressive kid. Walker hits a full Nelson slam. It should be over, but it's just a 2. Taz now calls him Adam Walker. Moments later, Adam Walker makes a block in the corner and flies from the top with a crossbody. That's the 3. Well, it was slow, and there was a random spot where he just fell over. He got zero reaction from the crowd, and I've honestly never heard such a quiet crowd. It's a D though, because I like the full Nelson slam, and he won. So things aren't exactly going well. It's about to get worse though. He didn't get a match on ECW for the next 3 shows. What he did get though, was one segment. And it's been cut out from the network for some reason. Apparently, Braden Walker meeting Matt Hardy and shaking hands is deemed too risky to put on the network. Can't you give Braden Walker this, WWE? What about his fans? We deserve to be able to see his full WWE career highlights. Matt Hardy acknowledges Braden Walker's past as the Wildcat Chris Harris. Nothing else happens. But the crowning moment of this Warrior's dramatic WWE career was still to come. I've left no stone unturned to find additional footage not included in the 3-disc definitive Braden Walker set, and I never let the squad down. Here it is, it's Braden Walker walking down the corridor gritting his teeth because he's holding in a dump. I bet you all feel like your lives are complete now. Match 4 ECW, final match. Braden Walker, who's obviously still holding in that dump because he stands on the ramp for ages with his hands on his hips trying to force it back in. And he takes on some guy. Walker's now standing in the ring with his hands on his hips. They trade arm drags whilst Walker screams and strains. Harris can't keep the hold on because he gets a punch to the face. The guy he's facing can't do anything to him as he runs into Walker's hip toss. Braden Walker now hits a vertical suplex. He looks like he really struggled with that one. I've seen him hold people up in the air for like a minute in TNA. The commentary team talk about how Walker is a quiet man who wants to do his talking in the ring. The crowd chant boring as Walker tries a submission. The guy gets a rope break and then he smacks Braden Walker for not letting him go. Walker now ducks the following clothesline. He hits an atomic drop. He impressively hits 2 clotheslines as the crowd come unhinged. No, I'm joking, they don't make a noise. Walker dodges an attack in the corner and he hits, guess what, a diving clothesline. The guy's still okay though and keeps smacking Walker. Braden Walker is now revealed to be a massive fan of clotheslines as he hits yet another. And moments later, he hits a fisherman suplex and that's the 3 for game over. This match sucked Sonny Siaki's ass. I can't believe so many people asked me to watch this. What was the big reason for making me watch this? This match belongs in the turd zone, isn't it?
Shove it!
And that's it, guys. The highlight of this run was probably the dump he pushed out after his final match. Unfortunately, we didn't get a segment of that one. Braden Walker was released and he was very upset because he'd been promised a match at WrestleMania. And they didn't try and help him with a name or a gimmick or anything to get him over. It was almost like the WWE wanted Braden Walker to fail. He did say that Matt Hardy was his best friend in the WWE, so it's good to know that they shook hands in that incredible segment and they meant it. And it was pretty cool that Walker got to meet Matt Hardy in the first place. Well, their friendship would continue because 3 years later Walker would be brought back into TNA by Matt Hardy for a tag match featuring James Storm. And as soon as Chris Harris returned to TNA, the crowd started chanting "Knock knock, who's there, Braden Walker?" as Storm struggles to contain his laughter.
Now, I mean, that's his old partner there, his ex-partner.
Also, I think part of the mind games. Bust out the old AMW gear.
Harris battled health problems for the next few years with his weight continuing to balloon and he had diabetes. He returned to Impact last year to see his former partner James Storm's 1000th TNA match. Harris was arrested 7 months after this for drink driving. So on a serious note, I hope Harris is doing okay now because he was honestly great for the first 6 years of TNA. And who can forget that time he held in a dump on ECW TV? Now all that's left to do is shove Braden Walker a final grade for the ring of the... It's an S. I don't even know why I'm saying this. And it's the worst run of the season. 4 pointless matches, 1 promo that was probably so bad that it's good, and who can forget that time he talked to Matt Hardy backstage? Sorry Braden Walker, I know you like to tell jokes, but your WWE run was no joke. It was fucking terrible. And if you don't agree with that, I don't care at all. Yeah, I feel sorry for Chris Harris having to do this run. But unfortunately, Harris, you're on the list. Harris is a lovely bloke in real life, but he regrets this run really badly. It turned him into a meme. It made fans forget that he had been a successful wrestler in TNA prior to this, and it pretty much ended his wrestling career. So it's a terrible run in that case. Ring of the Hawk Season 2 had some of the worst competitors of all time. Orlando Jordan was in that series, and whilst he didn't finish bottom of the table in that series, I just had to include him for what this amounted to. Okay, Orlando Jordan, if he slept with EY, would you use protection like Norton? I shouldn't really have to say it because I have a pretty mature audience. At the same time, we all go around threatening to bash each other's brains in with bricks. But homophobic comments will be deleted. Today we're here to judge his wrestling character skills and star power, nothing else. Jordan debuted on the 3-hour Impact special where TNA tried to go head to head with Raw for the very first time in 2010. People were randomly turning up left, right and centre, and Jordan would be one of those random people. During a backstage interview with the Pope, Jordan marched up cutting a rambling promo. He said he was invited here by Hogan but he can't find him. Pope's unhappy that his interview time was interrupted. Match 1, Orlando Jordan, who seems very normal. No wacky gimmicks here, he's just dancing around. And he takes on the Pope D'Angelo De Niro, who has a bad leg. The fans are definitely cheering the Pope here. We start with a lockup, but Jordan throws him off with an arm drag. He seems confused now. They trade holds for a while now before Jordan grabs onto Pope's leg and sweeps out the other. Pope talks some smack now before Jordan says shut up or I'll slap you one. This fires the Pope up and he pimp slaps Jordan. De Niro then crashes on the back of Jordan as he goes out the ring. But when he comes back in the ring, Jordan zones in on his bad leg. Jordan follows that with a dragon screw on the bad leg. Then out of nowhere, OJ wins it with a flatliner. This match did little to help us understand what we're going to be in for this run, but what it did tell us is to expect some anger as TNA talents are beaten up by Hogan's boys. That's not Jordan's fault, I'm just preparing you all. It's a D, not really much to say. Match 2, Orlando Jordan. Nothing's changed with him except a bass line has been added to his music, and he once again takes on the Pope. This is happening because the Pope wasn't 100% for their last match and it should be more even this time. This one's starting to get heated, they don't seem to like each other. Pope hits a bunch of arm drags and a pimp slap. Jordan gets back in it with a thumb to the eyelid and a chop block. Jordan tries the flatliner, but the Pope fights it off. When he turns around, Jordan hits a nice drop kick. Pope desperately tries to get back in it. He's quickly closed down for Jordan's swinging net breaker. Moments later, Jordan hits a big wind-up back breaker. The crowd chant, "You still suck." Jordan tries his punch combination from the WWE, but that doesn't work and Pope mounts a comeback. He floors Jordan with a flying shoulder block. Pope does the coronation on the ropes now, which gets him a 2 count. The match has yet another turn now. Jordan hits the Pope with a spine buster. Jordan takes time to box the Pope in the corner, but the Pope turns it around with his own strikes. And there it is, the D'Angelo De Niro Express, DDE, and that's the 3. The match was better than expected, and we definitely got to see a bit more of what Jordan's capable of. This one was a C, no complaints whatsoever. So after that somewhat low-key run, Jordan disappeared from TNA for the next 8 episodes. Match 3, this one's gonna hurt. You might want to skip the next 2 minutes of this video. It's Orlando Jordan who now has a random man and a woman with him, and he will take on Samoa Joe who looks to be in a foul mood. Jordan jumps Joe during his entrance but he misses. Joe gives him rapid fire punches and stomps. Joe hits the kick in the corner and this one might not last long. Moments later Joe hits a big leg lariat for a 2 count. The crowd chant Joe's gonna kill you. Samoa Joe tries a charge but is countered by a Jordan spinebuster. Jordan also hits the spinning net breaker. He hits a boring knee for a 1 count. Joe looks like he's constipated. Joe gets back in this again with a bunch of clotheslines and a back body drop. Samoa Joe seems a bit hesitant, possibly due to his constipation. Joe starts beating up Jordan in the corner and then puts him on the top rope. He then takes his eye off Jordan for a moment, and when he turns around he gets a spinning inverted DDT. And Orlando Jordan has now pinned Samoa Joe. It doesn't help that he did almost nothing in this match, then won with 1 move against a former world champion. This made Samoa Joe and TNA fans resent him. People were confused by why someone who was treated as a joke in WWE was now beating top TNA talent. Well, the answer is that Joe was a top TNA talent to the fans only. Management did not view him that way. I'm getting off subject, and this match annoyed me and made me feel like smashing a brick. It's an S. No match for 8 episodes of Impact now, but we do get some character work whilst he's not having matches. But I'd rather we had nothing. Orlando Jordan used this time to fall in love with the Welsh roider Rob Terry. He tried to impress him by squirting cream all over himself. He also started his own talk show, The Ozone. Orlando Jordan interviewed a life-size cutout of the Welsh roider. Jordan lusted over this life-size cutout until the real Rob Terry made his way out to beat Jordan up. Jordan then choked Terry out and then dropped a pot on him. Hopefully I never have to watch The Ozone ever again. This feud will go on for a bit, unfortunately. Match 4, Orlando Jordan versus Tyson Tomko, who looks like the master of the cab driver slam with a beard. Tomko powers him into the corner and then quickly hits a cab driver slam, the cab driver slam. Jordan no-sells it and he's back up and he takes Tomko down with a double leg. Jordan misses his follow-up dive, which allows Tomko to hit a press into the Scott Hall special, the sack of shit. Tomko's dominating, but Jordan stops his next move and nails a dropkick. Now we get the worst snapmare of all time. Why is this match still going? Jordan does a better snapmare now and puts on a chin lock. Tomko fights out of it and hits a clothesline for a 2 count. Tyson Tomko tries a choke bomb, which Orlando counters with a jab to the gut and he hits a backstabber. That's just a 2. Seconds later it ends when Jordan puts on a guillotine submission and referee Earl Hebner stops the match. Hated it, it's an S. Match 5, Sacrifice 2010, Global title. The challenger, Orlando Jordan, who is lowered to the ring by ropes, versus the champion, the Welsh roider Rob Terry. It's 8 minutes, you've got to be kidding me, I don't want to do it. Terry is in a bad mood just like me and he attacks straight away and powers Jordan into the corner. He throws Orlando Jordan across the ring to complete silence. Terry is hitting every basic move in the Year 1 wrestling playbook. The side slam gets a 2 for Terry. Orlando attempts to fight back but he gets hit with a spin kick. Terry sends him out to the ramp whilst he poses for the crowd. Jordan slowly crawls away from the ring, he's had enough. Terry retrieves him and throws him back in the ring. Rob Terry hits a power slam now, but there's hesitancy with the pin count, just a 2 eventually. Jordan then manages to grab Rob's leg on the top rope and he kicks it a few times. Rob is apparently too stupid to move his leg from the rope. Jordan hits a dragon screw to follow that. The match has now turned in our guy's favour. It hurts me to say that. Jordan wraps his leg around the ring pole. I'm so bored I started ripping out my eyelashes. Terry counters a spinning toe hold, but Jordan stamps on him to calm him down. Rob Terry is now being dominated and he's crying on the floor. We get the OJ knee drop now and he mounts Terry for a 2 count. Why is this still going on? I just want to turn it off. Jordan tries a second rope knee drop, but he misses it by a country mile. Orlando Jordan then slowly picks him up and out of nowhere Rob Terry hits a choke slam for the 3. No need to waste any more time on this one. 2 idiots smashed together for 8 minutes and suck Sonny Siaki's ass. Oh no, Jordan attacks him on the ramp, so this awful feud is probably still going.
Oh, that was bad, bro. Bad.
I'm done with both of these guys. I am totally done.
Match 6, Orlando Jordan versus Rob fucking Terry again. Terry wins for a bit until Jordan starts attacking the bad leg again. This one goes on for a while whilst Rob Terry grits his teeth in anger as pus and juice pours out of his roid holes. Jordan puts on a leg bar and the ref calls for the bell because he's worried about Rob's health. From Jordan's perspective, this whole segment went okay. He looked dangerous, he needed to come out of the joke zone. This post-match attack goes on longer than the match itself, it's a D. Match 7, Orlando Jordan, who's starting to look stranger and stranger. Actually, he's got the face of the Monster Abyss on his nipples, and he takes on that very man, the Nipple Abyss, with Chelsea. Jordan is more interested staring at Chelsea than his opponent. Abyss tries to work on Jordan's arm, but he rolls out of it. Orlando Jordan doesn't have the strength to keep the monster down, and he starts smacking Jordan around. Abyss rips off the nipple tassels, he isn't a fan. Big back body drop by the monster now. Jordan almost catches the ropes with his feet. Abyss lumbers into the corner and he misses whatever it was supposed to be. Jordan zones in on the monster's bad arm. Jordan then dives off the top with an elbow to Abyss's arm. That gets him a 2 count. OJ then misses an elbow and Abyss is back up. He hits a big boot but he can't manage a choke slam because Jordan attacks the arm. Moments later, Abyss drops Jordan on his face. The match spills out the ring now where Jordan pushes the idiot into Chelsea. Abyss starts whimpering and crying. He's no longer interested in the match. Probably a good thing because Desmond Wolfe appears and he hits Abyss with the pipe. The match is thrown out. Wolfe and Jordan beat up Abyss, but the Welsh roider Rob Terry makes the save. He hits the Freak Buster to Jordan. Why I'm spending so much time on these details is beyond me. The match was really boring. It's an S. Match 8 tag match. Desmond Wolfe and Orlando Jordan, who has a sex toy, and Rob Terry nipple tassels. Can we please just end this pointless feud? They take on Rob Terry and Abyss with Chelsea. Orlando doesn't start the match. He stands on the ring apron shaking his shaker device. He gets the tag from Wolfe and does a double axe from the top to Abyss. Abyss shuts him down with an elbow and crushes him in the corner. Jordan is sent out the ring now. He lands at the feet of Chelsea and he stares up her dress. Chelsea slaps him. Wolfe is upset that his own partner is hitting on his piece. Abyss beats them up on the outside. Meanwhile in the ring, Terry brings Jordan into the ring and hits a Freak Buster chokeslam for the 3. I'll give Jordan this, he's trying to do what he can with the minuscule amounts of TV wrestling time he has. It's a D for character work, but there isn't really much I can say. No match for a couple of months now, so his feud with Rob Terry just seems to have ended abruptly. Abruptly is usually a bad thing, but this time it was appreciated. You thought the last gimmick was annoying? Stay tuned. Match 9, the men with mohawks, Jesse Neal and Jeff Hardy's stoner friend versus Orlando Jordan, who gets his chewed up bubblegum and puts it into SoCal Val's mouth. That is disgusting. And he teams with Eric Young and a sex doll. I'm really struggling to find anything to say about this one. Orlando Jordan does a neck breaker. What happens next for the finish of the match is hard to describe. Orlando Jordan wants to tag out, but he tags the sex doll's arm, which snaps off. Eric Young throws the sex doll off the top rope, but he misses the stoner friend. Everyone pauses and looks bemused. The men with mohawks dropkick Jordan into Eric Young and then they hit the Morgasm for the 3. A D because it made me laugh, it still sucked though. Match 10, Orlando Jordan, who rubs his lolly on his nipple and gives it to SoCal Val versus the Pope D'Angelo De Niro. The match starts with Orlando trying to swallow his own hand. This goes on for a while. Pope isn't impressed and nor am I and he shoves him down. They trade waist locks as the commentary team joke that you don't want Orlando behind you. He grinds on Pope, which leads to a pimp slap. Pope's now screaming at him, let's wrestle. This seems to throw Pope off his game and Jordan gets the advantage. Eric Young appears on the ramp and he's swimming in the Pope's dollars and eating them. This distracts Orlando Jordan as it would most people. The Pope hits a back body drop and moments later he wins with the D'Angelo De Niro Express with 3 S's.
Shove this grade up your ass!
Match 11, Orlando Jordan, who's now groping SoCal Val versus the Samoan straining machine Samoa Joe. No time for shenanigans here, Joe just beats the shit out of him in the corner. Joe drills Jordan with a kick. He tries to put on the Kikita clutch, but Jordan backs him into the corner and tries the grind. He also punches Joe a few times. It's not the most incredible match you will ever have seen. Jordan elbows Joe in the head as the crowd cry in their sleep. Jordan goes for 10 punches in the corner, but then he gets distracted and starts making out with a wrestling doll. Couldn't make out whose doll it was. Joe kicks him and hits the back senton. That's like a small camper van falling on you. Joe does a T-bone suplex and the muscle buster, and it's over. These matches suck both Sonny and Solo's asses. There's no time for Samoa Joe to celebrate this victory though, because a wild Slapnuts appears.
Hello, Jay. Jeff Jarrett.
He's just here to take Joe for a trip down memory lane. After a few months off the main show, Jordan returns and he now has long hair and he also has Eric Young. The joke here is that Jordan wants to fuck him and Eric wants to be a tag team and he's crazy. Match 12, tag team match. Jeff Hardy, Stoner Friend and Jesse Neal, the men with mohawks, versus Eric Young and Orlando Jordan. Eric wants to lock up with the referee. It's actually true that Eric Young is worse than Orlando during this part of the run. The match finally starts. Jesse Neal slaps Orlando in the gut and hits a hip toss. Orlando fights back. He has Jesse backed into the corner and he does a slow grind on him, followed by a kiss. Neal is angry, so Orlando clotheslines him to calm him down. We get a new move from Jordan now. It's a shoulder breaker. The crowd chant, "We want Eric." Jesse Neal tries to mount a comeback again, but he gets dropped with the spinebuster. Jordan mounts in for a 0 count. Jordan doesn't want to tag Eric in, and it allows the Stoner Friend to get into the match. He hits a spin kick followed by an atomic drop and a head scissors. This match is now improving. Shannon hits a kick and then he gets really high to the top rope and he hits a moonsault for a 2. Eric Young thinks him and Shannon are partners and they start fighting Orlando together. What an idiot. Jordan tries to use this as an advantage to cheat and he makes a pin with his feet on the ropes. Eric Young points it out to the referee. More shenanigans are going on now. Orlando smacks the Stoner Friend in the nutsack and that's the 3. After the match, Eric Young tells the ref they'd like to forfeit the match, which pisses Jordan off. Orlando actually feels tolerable compared to Eric Young at this point. He did okay, it's a C. Before the next match, Eric reveals that Orlando's family disowned him because he's bipolar.
Eric, look, I have something to tell you. You know, I'm bi.
Polar! Yes! I diagnosed you with that months ago.
Match 13, Bound for Glory 2010 tag. The men with mohawks versus Eric Young and Orlando Jordan. What a wacky bunch of characters we have here. Eric thinks he's teaming with the mohawks, but he doesn't have one. Now he wants to be the referee and he counts a pin for Jesse Neal. Orlando takes advantage with the referee distracted. Not for long though, as Jesse Neal hits a crossbody. Jeff's Stoner Friend is in now with a kick. Jordan punches him and tags Eric in. Young is an idiot and he doesn't want to wrestle the match and he forces Jordan into the ring. Shannon hits a big head scissors. The Mohawks double team now. Eric wants to join in but OJ dodges him. Both Young and Jordan end up straddling the top rope, nutsack first. Why is this still going? Jordan is now grinding on the Stoner Friend. Shannon shoves him off but he eats a spinebuster. Eric is still refusing to take part in the match properly. Jordan will have to continue this one on his own as he hits a suplex. Orlando tries to cheat again now, so Eric kicks his hand off the ropes, which almost causes Orlando to be rolled up. Then there's a double down. Nobody gets the tag. Eric is still being wacky and he thinks he's Shannon's teammate. The Stoner Friend hits an Intiguri kick, and Eric Young tags himself in from Shannon. Orlando asks him what the hell he's doing now, and now the two partners will fight. Eric Young is busy celebrating, which allows the men with mohawks to give Johnson a morgasm for the 3. I hated this match so much, it was one of the most irritating, annoying 10 minutes of my life, and I've spent time with your girlfriend. It's a D because it wasn't Jordan's fault, but it doesn't stop me from hating it. Luckily for me, the world's most annoying tag team don't wrestle much, but they do constantly waste airtime with backstage skits. The gimmick here is that Eric Young wants to be with him as a tag team. He loves tag teaming, but Jordan wants to be a couple in the sexual sense. Match 14 tag match. Eric Young with Hooters Girls teamed up with Orlando Jordan, who also wants to be a Hooters Girl, to take on the Young Bucks. Yet again, it's a really annoying match with Eric Young's antics turned up to 1,000. He throws the Bucks out of the ring, but then he starts to attack Jordan too. Eric Young is busy flirting with the Hooters Girls, so his Bucks get the jump on him. The Bucks then try to flirt with the Hooters Girl, but they're too skinny and slimy and the girls are disgusted. Orlando's back in the ring now and he hits a big back body drop and a spinebuster. He mounts Matt Jackson for the 2 count. The blonde-haired Buck then gets a 2 on a leg drop. The Bucks do manage to land a few moves on Jordan now, but they keep getting distracted by the Hooters Girls. You would have thought that they'd never been out of their mum's basements before. Eric Young takes them both out of a suicide dive. Orlando's back in now and he hits a spinebuster and puts on a submission. I have no idea what it's called, but that's the tap out win in 2 minutes. I hate this match so much, it's an S. Match 15. It gets even worse now with the next match because it's Gunner and a man called Murphy taking on Young and Jordan. No one gets an entrance. The highlight of the match is Jordan thrusting on the man called Murphy's face. Eric Young gets beaten by Gunner and Murphy whilst Jordan lies on the floor doing nothing. Simply terrible, and I wasn't exactly expecting anything. It's an S. Match 16, Fatal 4-Way, Jesse Neal with Shannon versus Douglas Williams with Magnus versus Orlando Jordan with Eric versus Crimson with Steiner. Orlando randomly comes into the match and he hits a side slam on Jesse Neal. Neal fires back with a flying strike. Orlando then disappears again. Steiner goes into a roid rage and it leads to everyone fighting on the outside of the ring. The focus of the match is definitely not the match itself. Eventually, only Orlando and Williams are left in the ring. Jordan almost wins with a running clothesline. Eric Young then starts attacking the referee, so the British Invasion starts to cheat. Eric suddenly stops being a clown and he takes Magnus out. Orlando Jordan wins with the gender bender. I'm not joking, that's what they called it. This match can shove it.
No!
The team continue to stay backstage making jokes and not much wrestling at all. Eric Young is the larger-than-life character who's a complete idiot and Orlando just wants to fuck him. I don't know what else to say, it's not really amazing character work. Goldust is an example of this sort of gimmick done right. He groped his opponents and lusted after them, but he cut good promos and got heat. Orlando is just a guy, nothing remarkable about him. The gimmick is now officially We Love Tag Teaming. Match 17, Lockdown 2011, Fatal 4-Way Tag Match. The Men with Mohawks versus the British Invasion versus Eric Young and Orlando Jordan versus the main event Mafia 1.5. I think it's supposed to be a serious match, but Eric Young is ruining the match again. I've had enough of him. Jordan gets in against Douglas. He has to fight the British Invasion on his own because his partner's an idiot. He grinds on Magnus and clotheslines Williams. Jesse Neal tags himself in. The crowd don't care about the match and chant, "We want Steiner." The commentary team don't care about the match and they agree, they just want to see Steiner. He does get in after a while and he beats up the British Invasion for like 5 minutes. Orlando Jordan has done virtually nothing but stand on the ring apron. Towards the end of the match, Jordan randomly runs in and hits the gender bender on the Stoner friend. Jesse Neal spears him down straight away, and that's his involvement done in this one completely. The Stoner friend wins with the Morgasm on Douglas Williams. Is it time to turn this off yet? This is appalling. It's the most nailed on S since, the last match. Oh, thank God. Match 18, final match. 25-man Battle Royal. Does it ever feel like we always finish with a Battle Royal on these Ring of the Hawk shows, or is it just me? Jordan doesn't go out first, but instead, he goes out third. He decides to grind on Matt Boring, who gets angry and launches him out the ring. Yet another S, there's no need to guess. I couldn't care less who ends up winning this match. All that's left to do is grade him. It's one of the easiest grades of all time. He's going in the shove it zone. He's not going in last though. At least he was trying to get his character over, which is more than I can say for some of the miserable sacks of shit in the shove it zone. There's no need to moan. I think he probably had more backstage segments than matches, which all follow the same formula of Eric Young being confused over their relationship. He was also a better wrestler than he got to show in TNA. Well, that's it for another week on the Hulk Hogan show. Let me know any other wrestlers who blow. Yeah, it wasn't that Jordan was bad in the ring. It was that they were shoving this thing down our throats. It was disgusting. The whole thing was appalling. Whoever came up with it needed to be smacked one. I didn't want to watch any of this, and nor did you. And it doesn't help that he was one of Hogan's cronies he was brought in at that time, so he was kind of soiled by that legacy. And yeah, just because he's bisexual, why does he have to be so sexual? Can't he just be a normal bloke who's bisexual? There's several parts of this video which are just painful to watch back, and for that he needs a smack. Rhaka Khan, an extremely attractive lady who unfortunately had no idea how to wrestle. She was in TNA, but we won't be focusing on her time there for this video. Instead, it's the wacky Lucha Libre USA. Let's go. Alright, it's Lucha Libre Rhaka Khan. If she sees this, she'll sue me and your gran. Yes, it's the lady Rhaka Khan who has somehow managed to maintain some coverage in the wrestling world despite not actually wrestling for years. This isn't for the right reasons, of course, and we're going to get into that at the end. This is Lucha Libre USA Masked Warriors, a show that only ran for 2 seasons in 2010. They had a decent budget and decent production. It was a bit like a precursor to Lucha Underground. Khan had been fired from TNA and she had all this stuff going on with her ex-boyfriend Perk Angle. She was clearly crazy, but she also had a really, really good look, which I guess helped her to keep getting bookings for a while after TNA. Oh, and her name in this company is Tigresa Caliente. Her time in this company starts with an extremely bizarre storyline and promo. She rants on for ages about a man called Mini Park who's been stalking her at the gym, and she almost smashed him with a dumbbell. She attacks him on the show while sounding like a complete nutcase.
Oh, and she's also paired up with Alan Funk. This place is like a graveyard for TNA. They give her lots of mic time, but whenever she's on the screen, it just feels like a low-budget porno.
I was just curling my hair. What?
Mini Park seems to have
my gosh, not Mini Park again. Are you kidding me? He is so annoying. I can't stand Mini Park. Oh! He actually came up to confront me. I have no idea what he was saying. My ears almost started bleeding, so I had to take his face and bash it in to the bench. And I really wanted to grab that weight, but I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted to hurt him. Or I will make you walk out the door.
Oh, no, señorita.
No? I said to shut up! I said to shut up! So what's up, my ninja? Is it you that's teaming up with that skeleton freak tonight, huh?
Match 1, mixed tag, Rhaka Khan and Alan Funk, who is Chi-Chi on this show. How did this guy always end up with feminine gimmicks? They enter to Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, so I guess the budget couldn't be that high for this show. Or they just don't mind being sued because everyone has licensed music. Not sure they got around that. They take on the team of Mini Park and... Wait, no, the action starts straight away as Funk and Khan miss a clothesline and Park runs and hides under the ring. They surround the ring, but somehow, Mini Park teleports behind Alan Funk. Complete silence from the crowd. Then, Awesome Kong emerges from under the ring. The match is on. Funk is scared of Kong, so Rhaka has to start. Kong says just bring it. They lock up and argue in the corner. It's a straight up slap now from Khan, which anchors Kong, who shoves her and she flies back like the hawk. Alan Funk grabs her eyelashes to stop her, and I think that's the tag. What am I even watching here? She rejoins the match against Mini Park. She just sort of hoovers around and doesn't do anything. This isn't going well. Funk tries to have a normal wrestling match with the Mini and Khan is just standing around, sort of doing nothing. The ref tells her to leave if she hasn't got anything better to do. She tries to come back into the ring, but she's drop kicked by Mini Park, and Awesome Kong has the tag. Kong smacks her down and scoop slams her. Khan tries to retaliate with a slow motion kick, but she's spun around and backfisted. Now she's hit with a missile drop kick from Mini Park. Rhaka Khan bails to the outside of the ring where she gets splashed. Awesome Kong beats Alan Funk with an awesome bomb. Simply horrible. She did less in the ring than her time in TNA. And at the end of the day, who the hawk is this even appealing to? It's an S. Match 2, mixed tag, Rhaka Khan and Alan Funk. Somehow his outfit is even worse. And they take on the exact same two people. Why? They were beaten convincingly last time. And Khan didn't manage to do Berta. She's useless. She doesn't start this one either. She instead randomly attacks Mini Park from behind and tries to set up a double team. But she's too weak to hold the Mini. Khan does a couple of leapfrogs and then awkwardly dodges a springboard but runs into a dropkick. She collapses like a tree with Dutch elm disease. She's also scared of Awesome Kong. She can't knock down Kong and hides on the outside like a coward. On the outside she jumps Mini Park and launches him into the ring pole, which is honestly the most she's done in 2 matches. She betters that now though with a slow motion bicycle kick for a 2. She decides to channel her inner Gail Kim and does eat the feet and tags out. They repeat the same spot from earlier. Once again she's too weak to hold on to the Mini Park, and Alan Funk turns around and kisses her thinking it's the Mini Park. Wouldn't he notice the size difference? Why does he keep kissing her? What am I even watching here? The Mini tries to drop kick her and she awkwardly slips backwards and kicks at him from the floor. Kong has the tag again. Alan Funk breaks up an awesome bomb attempt, but moments later Kong smashes them both down. Alan Funk is killed with the Implant Buster, and Funk eats a moonsault from Mini Park for the 3. Completely horrible, and even her punches look terrible. It all looks so fake and stupid. It looks like children pretending to wrestle. Why does she keep awkwardly falling over? It's an S. Her next involvement on the show is spiking Rebby Hardy's drink, which leads to her getting married against her own will. Not sure why. Match 3, mixed tag. Pequena Halloween teams with Rhaka Khan to take on Octagon Cito and Masquerita Dorada. Why is Khan in a minis match? This match is famous for being rated as -5 stars, and based on the competitors in this match, I'm not surprised. She seductively crawls towards Octagon Cito, sadly the highlight of this run so far. The Mini looks tempted by her. She starts shoving him and blocking his path. This is awkward. He runs between her legs, and she starts slapping him. The first one misses. The Mini reverses her slam. They're still squaring off. Khan roughly grabs him and throws a slow motion kick. He spins her around and slaps her ass. Khan just simply punts him across the ring in anger. Octagon Cito responds with a slow motion head scissors. Her own partner Halloween also kicks her over by mistake. The Minis fight each other for a bit now. Dorada's dominating, so Khan sneaks into the ring, and from her knees she drills him with her fist into the face. It doesn't make any sense. If you had a height advantage, why would you take away your own advantage? Rhaka Khan starts rocking him like a baby. He rolls out of it. She boots him in the face, which dumps him on his nappy. Dorado picks her up on his shoulders. It's a really strange visual, and he slams her. We next see her attacking Octagoncito in the ring. She stomps him and mounts him with punches. She moves on to lick and kiss him. Khan viciously knee drops him. Rebby Hardy runs out, the woman who was date raped. Everyone's screaming. Khan rips her top off. Halloween tries to cover his wife up. Everyone is stood around looking confused. Octagoncito is behind her for ages. Eventually Rebby pushes Khan over like something for the school playground, and that's the 3. Simply horrible. And why was she even in this match with the Minis? Everything she does looks horrible. How can you not do a single impressive slam with that size advantage? Her kicks and punches look completely out of control. It's an S. Match 4, final match that I can find. This stuff ain't easy. 6 women's tag. Rhaka Khan, Nurse Chrissy, billed from Intercourse, Pennsylvania, and Jackie Moore. They take on Roxy Laveau, Rebby Hardy, she looks like she's going for a Mickey James gimmick, and one dirty bitch ODB. For some reason, Rhaka Khan is handed a captain's armband and they make a massive deal out of that. Why would she be the captain when Jackie's on her team? Khan shoves over Rebby hard and tags out. All but one of these women has wrestled matches for TNA. After a while, Jackie tags her back in with Rebby isolated. Her skirt keeps riding up, maybe she needs a longer one. Khan axe kicks Rebby in the back and then follows it with an ass drop. No pin is made and Khan tags out. ODB has the hot tag, but nobody runs in to stop her. Khan eventually tags the nurses back and kicks ODB in the ass. Khan does eat defeat and ODB sells her arm for some reason. She tags out. Good. Back in later against ODB, she does a cartwheel elbow in the corner. She tries a big boot in the opposite corner, which misses. Roxy runs wild for a while now, until she runs into a Khan knee to the head, which makes her look like she's crying. Rebby jumps on Khan's back, but nothing happens and she's smashed into the corner. ODB grabs her and throws her into a tornado DDT, and Roxy beats Khan for crossbody. Best match, but Khan still didn't manage to do bird turd. Let's give the skirt a D. Now, from what I can tell, that was the second to last match Rhaka Khan ever wrestled. There was one more for this company afterwards, but I'll be damned if I can find that one. Khan pretty much disappeared from the wrestling spotlight until 2019, when she made the most wanted list in Texas for interfering with child custody. That would not be the end of the matter, however, and this would drag on for a while. She failed to show up to any of the court hearings, and this went on for several years. She then returned to the news this year when it was announced she was filing a lawsuit, and the judge was allowing it, because he must have been doing it for a laugh or some other reason like that. This lawsuit was ridiculous. The lawsuit was for $3 billion, and she accused the following people of being part of a conspiracy to send her to jail by kidnapping her. The accused were The Rock, The Miz, Maurice, Heath, Nikki Bella, Chris Benoit, who's dead by the way, Mark Jindrak, Billy Corgan, Jim Cornette and Mick Foley. She claims she was taken to Rikers Island whilst her children were kidnapped. The lawsuit has since been thrown out and Rhaka Khan still awaits sentencing from her original charges in 2019. Can you imagine having a legal battle for over 3 years? So she's clearly nuts and doing everything in her power to derail the case against her. It's all a complete mess. And if you were wondering, it's an S by the way, a horrible Ring of the Hawk run, and if you don't agree with that, I'll smack you till I'm done. Right, so that barely resembled pro wrestling. It's definitely in the shove it zone for the worst of all time. I think everybody involved with this one was high. The British Droid Dog. This is one of the most recent inclusions on this list, and it sucks. Alright, it's the British Bulldog. Will it be a massive turd log? Now, first of all, I know this isn't going to be good. I've not heard a single positive thing about the Bulldog's final run in wrestling, so it's my mission to try and find something nice to say. As far as I'm aware of this video, be ready for a main event start and a gradual slip down the card as the video goes on. We start out with the Bulldog being released from WCW in 1998 due to being too injured to perform. He'd been slammed on the Ultimate Warrior's trapdoor, which screwed his back up. He's not on telly for a year, before randomly joining the WWF after a year off wrestling. More on that at the end of the video. Match 1, SmackDown, hardcore title match. The champion is the Big Boss Man, and he issues an open challenge for his belt, the only condition being that they are a dog lover. So of course it's answered by the British Bulldog. He enters to horrible music, covered in sweat and looking miserable.
He immediately batters the Boss Man and fights him into the crowd, where nothing happens. Boss Man sends him into the stairs and tries to use a steel chair, which Bulldog blocks and hits on the Boss Man's giant head. One simple nightstick shot and the British Bulldog pins the Boss Man. Wow, a title win on his debut, but the match was literally nothing and it's very hard to grade this one. It didn't tell us anything about it. So what I will say is, he looks intimidating and he's changed his attire to try and fit into the Attitude Era better. Then the Bulldog just hands the title over to Al Snow because he feels sorry for him. It's a D. Match 2, Unforgiven 99. 6-pack challenge match for the vacant world title. The challengers are The Big Show, the British Bulldog, who has now changed his music again to rock music, but he has gone back to his old attire, Mankind, Kane, Triple H, and The Rock. Those are some big names to be associated with. Bulldog's only in this match because he's taken the Undertaker's spot. The Bulldog starts this one with Rocky. He hits one clothesline and tags Triple H. After a very long time standing around doing nothing, the Bulldog tags in against Kane. It doesn't go well and he eats one big boot before leaving again. He comes back soon after with The Rock. He smacks him in the slash zone and hits a delayed vertical suplex, and he's off again. The match starts to drag as everyone fights on a dark ramp. I get the feeling this match isn't going to tell us much about the Bulldog's capabilities. It's been a long period of nothing before Mankind starts whipping him around the ring. Mick wants The Rock to smack the Bulldog one, but Rocky isn't paying attention and Bulldog is waiting to take a smack for a while. He's gone again for like 10 minutes before rushing the ring to hit a power slam on Kane. Don't get too excited though, the game hits him with a pedigree as soon as he turns around. It continues going badly for the Bulldog as the Big Show slams him and boots him out the ring like a piece of trash. The referees all have a little fallout, so they leave the ring. Bulldog uses that as an op to hit The Rock with a chair. Stone Cold stops another one and lays out the Bulldog. Triple H wins with a pedigree. Yeah, I'm still not sure what the Bulldog is capable of, but he didn't feel like a good fit with these guys. He looked small in there, not just in build but also personality. It's a stage which I don't feel like he earned here. Another D. Match 3, SmackDown, World Title match. The challenger is the British Bulldog, who unwisely decides to try and fight The Rock, who isn't even part of this match. The champion Triple H enters and takes advantage. He sends Bulldog into the stairs and into the ring. The game hits a high knee, but the special referee The Rock isn't in a hurry to count the pin. Bulldog smacks him in the slash zone and they head out the ring. Bulldog hits a slam on the ramp and we're back in the ring again. Bulldog can't connect with his power slam and the game hits the pedigree. It should be over again, but The Rock is refusing to count. The Rock hits him with a rock bottom. Bulldog makes the cover, but again The Rock is up to his usual shenanigans. Bulldog slips into a roid rage and grabs the title. He swings for The Rock but misses and The Rock decks it. The Rock hits him with a sliding people's elbow, which I've heard people refer to as the greatest people's elbow of all time, and then the match just sort of ends without a winner. The Bulldog looked completely useless here. If you aren't going to at least make him look credible, why use him in the main events? Can he still go? I don't know. It's an S. Going into the next match, to further his main event storyline, the Bulldog accidentally throws a trash can at Stephanie McMahon, which knocks her out and gives her memory loss. Match 4, Rebellion 99, X-Pac versus the British Bulldog. Okay, this match should give us the answers that we need. No hometown welcome for Davey Boy here. The dog starts out with a big old shove. Pac responds with an arm drag and tells him to suck it. It's an inoffensive start. He seems to be moving quite well here. He catches an X-Pac kick and slams it. Now it's a vertical suplex. Bulldog seems a bit less robotic here, maybe being at home has snapped him out of his daze. Davey almost wins off a sleeper before the comeback is on. X-Pac hits him with a spinning heel kick for a double down. They make it back to their feet when Pac hits another one. It's now Bronco Buster time. Bulldog stops his next move and press slam onto the ropes, and he transitions that straight into a power slam for the 3. Well, that, my little friends, was a much needed win. I thought he was going to lose. The match was too short, but he did actually seem like he was trying, and that finish was actually really cool. It's a C. Match 5, Raw. The British Bulldog. Man, this crowd are in silence for him, and he takes on Chyna. She awkwardly drags him straight out the ring and throws him into the stairs. In the ring now, Chyna keeps going low and hits a DDT. She hits an Irish whip of authority as Davey Boy ends up upside down. Chyna looks like she's about to win when a wild slapnuts appears.
Jeff Jarrett.
He smacks out Chyna with a coffee tank and the match is thrown out. Bulldog grabs a mic and says there's no place for women in wrestling. He's about to power slam Chyna when he demands a world title shot. He doesn't get one, so the Bulldog power slams her and he leaves. Not so bad. He almost feels like a main eventer at this point. He's just not quite got the energy and personality for it. Not much of a match, but I like the stuff afterwards. It's a D. Match 6, SmackDown, the British Bulldog versus Mankind. Foley makes short work of the Bulldog and squashes him in the corner. On the outside, the Bulldog blocks a suplex and does one to Foley. Foley takes quite a brutal looking fall into the steps. This ref just doesn't care and he lets the Bulldog hit Foley with a chair. The match slows to a snail's pace for a while, but Bulldog can't make Foley tap out. After a very, very long time, Foley hits him with a DDT. Bulldog blocks the mandible claw by throwing the ref in the way. The ref gets smashed in the corner, and this is a ref bump. The bell rings, but the attack continues. The Bulldog is obsessed with becoming the WWF champion. Really nothing to say, the crowd just aren't reacting to the Bulldog. It's an S. Match 7, Raw Tag Match. The British Bulldog teams up with a panty man, Val Venis, to take on Mankind, a Tray of Turd, and The Rock. Bulldog gets tagged in against Foley. He doesn't do anything and tags back out. It's not a good start. The Rock and Sock have Venis isolated, but he's eventually turns it over to Davey Boy. He almost instantly regrets it, but Venis breaks up the Rock bottom and he's gone again. It almost feels like he's injured and they're trying to protect him. He does return, but gets beaten up by Foley. Once again, Val Venis saves his ass. They all fight on the outside, with Venis hitting Rock with a steel chair behind the ref's back. Mankind chases away Venis, leaving the other two to fight. The Rock quickly sends Bulldog into the stairs. He brings the Tray of Turds into the ring. Can you imagine the logistics of creating this Tray of Turd? Anyway, the Rock does the Rock bottom into the tray. He refuses to hit the people's elbow because he doesn't want to soil his elbow. The Bulldog feel dead and buried at this point. I'm not even sure why the next match is even necessary after seeing the Bulldog fall into a Tray of Turd. This feels like what happens at the end of a feud. It's an S. Match 8, No Mercy 99, the British Bulldog versus The Rock. Within seconds, The Rock clotheslines Bulldog out the ring. Bulldog responds by hitting The Rock with a chair. Is it me, or weapon shots and brawling all the Bulldog can do at this point? The Rock sends Bulldog into the steps, hip first, and I bet he cursed. Back in the ring, the Bulldog takes over a snapmare into a sleeper. The Rock can't believe we're going to a rest hold already and fights back up. Bulldog knees him in the stomach to slow him down. Now the Rock whips Bulldog across the ring and he takes the big upside down bump into the corner. The Rock gets a 2 off a swinging net breaker, very back and forth here so far, as the Bulldog gets a 2 off a vertical suplex. Now we've got a botched Samoan drop, which I'm just not okay with. I can't remember seeing anybody botch this move. Bulldog has Rock hung up in the ropes, but the Rock somehow dodges him. The DDT gets Rhaka too. Bulldog manages to reverse his next move and he hits the power slam. It should be over, but the Rock's foot is on the ropes. He tries a second one, which of course the Rock slips out of. He instantly hits the Rock bottom and the people's elbow, and it's over in just 6 minutes. I accidentally wrote sex, but this match was far from sex. Shove it zone, this match made me groan. That should be the end of the world title storyline for the Bulldog. Match 9, Raw. The British Bulldog doesn't even get an entrance now and he takes on Test. Test hates the Bulldog for hitting Stephanie with a trash can about 6 matches ago and causing a delay to their wedding. The Bulldog starts us off with a suplex. Test turns around an Irish whip to no avail with Bulldog clotheslines him. The crowd are in silence as Bulldog hits a shoulder in the corner. He misses his next one and Test hits him with a gut wrench powerbomb. The power moves continue with a full Nelson slam. Test slips out of a power slam and picks Bulldog up with a pump handle slam. He's a moron though and doesn't make a cover. Instead, he brings a trash can into the ring when the Mean Street Posse swarm the ring and attack Test. The match is thrown out for DQ. Unfortunately, the Bulldog and the Mean Street Posse are going to be a group. Well, Bulldog's gone from main evented pay-per-views, falling in a tray of turd, getting no crowd reaction, and now he's pretty much just lost to Test. Match 10, SmackDown, 4-on-3 handicap match. Test, who looks like he's been hitting the roids hard, and he teams up with Edge and Christian to take on the Posse and the Bulldog. Not sure how it's fair on the Posse to have such a weak partner. Test beats Rodent with a diving elbow, and I don't think the Bulldog was even tagged into the match. It's an S. Match 11, Raw, cage match, the British Bulldog versus Test. The Roid Dog urgently needs to win this one. Well, about the only interesting thing to happen in this run so far are the Bulldog's upside down bumps, and we get one straight away. Test follows that up with a hard spinning side slam. Bulldog turns that around for clothesline and he hits the big delayed suplex on Test, which is quite impressive. We get a big double down in this 3-minute match. Test misses his big boot and that enables Bulldog to hit the power slam. Randomly, he doesn't make a pin and instead tries to climb the cage. What a moron, I hate it when they make wrestlers look dumb. Test follows him up there and throws him off the top rope. Test climbs to the top of the cage as the Mean Street Posse start cutting the door open. Wow, Test hits a diving elbow off the top of the cage? I literally have no recollection of this ever happening. Poor guy, it's not sold like what he did was a big deal. The Posse beat down Test in the cage. This cage is falling apart like a piece of trash. Shane McMahon also hits a dive onto the posse, which is sold much better than Tess. Bulldog has left the cage, but they barely mention that he's won the match. What a joke this run is. Why even bother having this match? It's an S. Match 12, SmackDown, European title match. The challenger is the Bulldog with the posse. You know, why are the posse even with the Bulldog? It just seems like kind of a random pairing. The champion is D'Lo Brown. D'Lo starts out with a huge dive out of the ring. He also throws Bulldog into the steps, which won't do his bad back any favours. Bulldog manages to fight off a suplex on the outside, and instead D'Lo gets suplexed. The Bulldog mashes D'Lo's meathead with the stairs. Not sure why that's not a DQ. Bulldog tries to do something in the ring, but can't manage it, and he's taken out of there. Rodney sneak attacks the champion. The Bulldog climbs back in and hits the power slam, but shockingly it's just a 2. D'Lo manages to slip out of a powerbomb, but he can't avoid a big back body drop. The belt is thrown in the ring, which D'Lo catches. Bulldog stops him from using it and smacks D'Lo in his head. Shockingly, once again it's just another 2. We get a double down off a double clothesline. When they wake up, D'Lo hits a spinning heel kick and a shaky head leg drop. The posse once again causes a distraction to slow down the Maestro to lowdown. D'Lo looks for a running powerbomb. Has the Bulldog wet himself with fear? The bomb connects. D'Lo wants to finish him with a lowdown, but again the posse stop him. Bulldog hits a top rope superplex and wow, that's the 3. So the power slam didn't do it, the belt shot didn't do it, but a superplex did. Wasn't expecting that. One of the only passable matches so far, and a new champion, is a C. Match 13, SmackDown, European title match. The challenger is Edge and the champion is the British Roid Dogg. I have to say, he is finally getting a heel reaction. That's something hopefully that continues. Bit of a slow start here until Edge hits the Enziguri. Edge follows that with a diving crossbody for a 2. The posse causes a distraction and Bulldog takes over, but doesn't do anything interesting except a delayed suplex. He does a sleeper for ages, almost causing me to become a sleeper. Edge eventually wakes up and hits a heel kick. He hits the Bulldog with a Russian leg sweep into a missile dropkick. Bulldog falls out of the ring where Christian DDTs him into the floor. Edge hits the spear and that should be over, but no, Joey Abs breaks up the pin and the match is thrown out for DQ. Pretty boring and his weak booking isn't helping anything, another S. Match 14, Raw, 8-man tag. Edge, Christian and the Headbangers versus the Roid Posse. A short match where the Bulldog did literally nothing. Pete Gas was killed by a downward spiral and a flapjack which crushed him. It feels like they kind of want the Bulldog to feud with Edge, but they're not really pushing the button on a feud. Shove it. Match 15, SmackDown, non-title match, Val Venus versus the British Bulldog. Oh dear, he appears to have wet himself again. This match is a rip-off because it gave you hope. Bulldog started out with a suplex and DDT before the Mean Street Posse just started destroying Venus for absolutely no reason. It went 1 minute. It's over. This run can kiss Sonny Siaki's ass. Match 16, Survivor Series 99, 8-man tag. Val Venus, Mark Henry, Gangrel and Steve Blackman take on the Pee Your Pants Posse. I really don't want to watch this match. Bulldog starts, but dumps in his nappy of fear when he ends up in the wrong corner and he runs away to his little pissy posse. None of them seem eager to wrestle and the Bulldog is tagged straight back in. It goes better this time and he suplexes Venus and tags the Gas Man. He doesn't last long and Blackman eliminates him. Gangrel eliminates Rodney with the Impaler DDT, and Joey Abs is beaten by a Mark Henry Big Splash. The Bulldog is all alone in this world. Mark Henry quickly throws him through the air. Gangrel has the tag, but takes too long with a dive, and Bulldog superplexes him. He's done. The Bulldog superplex must be the best in the business because he's beaten 2 people in this video with a move I've literally never seen beat anyone. Blackman rushes in and hits a backbreaker. He hits a suplex too, but misses his diving headbutt. Randomly, Steve Blackman loses to a fisherman suplex. It's like everybody in this match has 1 hit point. Bulldog almost beats Venus with a roll-up, but Mark Henry breaks the pin up. The evil Bulldog fights off a double team with a clothesline. He's fighting all on his own. Val Venus almost rolls him up with a cradle pin. His argument with the ref costs him as the Bulldog throws him from the ring. Bulldog shows he isn't scared and starts fighting Henry. Bad choice as he's squashed in the corner and slammed. Henry hits the Big Splash and Val Venus finishes him off with the money shot. This one was almost good. If he would have just come back from those odds, it would have been sweet. Shame he couldn't have got 1 more elimination. It seems a bit silly that he didn't. It's a C. Match 17 Raw, WWF title match. Don't get too excited. The champion is the Big Run Under, except there's nothing to really end. Within seconds, the Big Show hits a big boot and the choke slam to end the match. So much for a world title run, it's an S. Match 18, SmackDown, European title match. The challenger is the Godfather versus the champion, the Bulldog. Wow, no posse. That's a nice change, we might get a proper match here. The Godfather starts out of a clothesline but misses his leg drop. The Bulldog hits a clothesline of his own. He now nails a scoop slam and, oh no, here come the Mean Street Posse. The camera spends most of the time focusing on the Godfather's women. The posse eventually stop bothering them and attack the Godfather on the outside. Bulldog wins with a power slam and it's over in 2 minutes. I guess we didn't get a proper match. It's an S. Match 19 Raw. Tag match. Val Venis tags up with the Bulldog, so I guess they've had enough pointless matches against each other. They take on Too Cool. Venis wrestles Scotty in the opening portion of this match. These matches are all so short, I'm surprised they have opening portions. The Bulldog gets the tag and he works with Venis to throw Scotty to the mat. Bulldog picks Scotty up for a power slam, causing Venis to get knocked off the apron. Val Venis is annoyed and breaks up the pin and deserts the match. The Bulldog is once again left in a handicap situation, but instead of valiantly fighting on looking like a threat, the posse rushed the ring to aid him. This is appalling! All these matches are quicker than a punch to the gut. Match 20, SmackDown, European title match. Oh, never mind, I was wrong. Val Venis challenges for the Bulldog's title yet again. And yet again, it doesn't even go 2 minutes. These matches are all so short and pointless it's impossible to even figure out if the Bulldog can still go. Anyway, Venis clearly misses an elbow drop, but the Bulldog is forced to sell it. Bulldog whips him across the ring and pulls up his piss pants. Bulldog gets a 2 on a suplex when Venis responds with a spinebuster, which is almost the most exciting move of this entire video. Venis tries to dive, but the Bulldog smacks him in the slash zone. The ref calls for DQ. Why are all these matches so bad? The Bulldog is a bad loser and power slams him. What is any of this even leading to? I don't get it. 20 matches, they're probably all terrible. Match 21. SmackDown European title match. The challenger this time is D'Lo Brown. At least it's not Venis. D'Lo cuts a promo saying that he's the only one who's ever brought prestige to the title. Well, at this point, an actual Bulldog holding the title would bring more prestige. Anyway, changing the opponent doesn't seem to help, and it's still a 2-minute match. This one features an almost botched snap slam. I think the Bulldog thought it was a hip toss. D'Lo looks for the running powerbomb. Bulldog tries to hurricanrana his way out of it. It doesn't exactly look great, does it? Bulldog hits the vertical suplex for a 2. D'Lo wakes up and throws the dog out of the ring. Val Venis rushes out and attacks the Bulldog, and the match is thrown out as usual. I guess Val didn't want anyone else taking the title. Tell me though, why are Venis and Bulldog even feuding? They're both heels. It's not a match anyone could possibly want to see. Another clunky mess, it's an S. Match 22, SmackDown, European title. The challenger is Christian. Surely the Bulldog can win this one. Christian wasn't much more than a light heavyweight wrestler at this point in his career. The Bulldog demonstrates his strength, shoving Christian over. They trade hip tosses and arm drags. Wow, suddenly Christian runs into a gorilla press slam, which is genuinely impressive. He doesn't make a pin and instead hits a suplex. Christian gets a foothold back in this match for a Russian leg sweep and a dropkick. Now Christian gets a 2 off a swinging net breaker. He slips out of another press slam and hits the inverted DDT. He tries to finish the Bulldog with the Impredia, but oh, you have got to be kidding me. Why is every single match thrown out? Why couldn't the Bulldog win a match for a change? This title reign is the drizzling turd and it doesn't make any sense. Match 23, Armageddon 99, European title triple threat. Please let the Bulldog lose this one on the belt. This needs to end. The challengers are D'Lo Brown and Val Venis. I'm glad D'Lo Brown has inserted himself into this match, otherwise it'd be unbearable with the two floundering heels fighting. Yay, Teddy Long sends the pissy posse to the back. It's all smacks and clotheslines to start out. The Bulldog is sent for the ring and D'Lo Brown dives out the ring with a double clothesline. Bulldog responds throwing Venis into the steps. It's funny because all the talk about Bulldog's roid physique, but Venis looks far more impressive. I'd much rather have his body than the Bulldog's. I think it's maybe because the Bulldog is quite small to be carrying that much muscle mass. The dog seems to be spending most of his time hiding on the outside. Venis eventually forces him to rejoin the match. Val gives his opponents a meeting of the minds. Bulldog comically watches on now as his opponents smack each other. They notice that he's watching, so they smack him out. How do they botch a double hip toss? It's pretty basic stuff. Fortunately, they don't botch a double suplex on the Bulldog, otherwise that would have been much worse. Val Venis hits a headbutt, which causes Venis and Brown to start fighting. Now Bulldog and Venis work together and they bat body drop D'Lo. Venis quickly turns on him and hits a spinebuster. The pace quickens and Bulldog wakes up and hits a power slam. D'Lo breaks up the pin. Brown destroys Bulldog for a bit. I'm not sure which way this one's going. D'Lo hits another slam now and Bulldog makes it so obvious that he's jumping in the air for the slam. D'Lo nails the lowdown, but Venis steals the pin, and thank God this terrible title reign is finally over. I think Bulldog only successfully defended that belt once. Even that win was only due to the posse interfering and not being caught by the referee. Now that being said, it was still terrible. How does a veteran fall on his head from a hip toss? Match 24, SmackDown. Perk Angle and the British Bulldog, who doesn't get an entrance, and he is looking really ill at this point, versus Head Cheese. This match truly signifies just how low he's sunk. Bulldog lasts about 30 seconds. Blackman escapes his power slam and pump kicks him and hits a diving kick, and that's all she wrote. Bulldog is beaten by 2 moves in 20 seconds. Did I hear a groan? It's going in the zone. Match 25, Royal Rumble 2000 match. Not sure why he's even bothered entering this one, he's got no chance. Going after Big Rikishi who's on a hot streak isn't going to help him either. To his credit, he avoids a bonsai drop by smacking Rikishi in the slash zone. He desperately tries to seize the opportunity by pushing Rikishi out, but I guess he didn't have quite enough juice in his body. He moves on to someone smaller and Edge, but he can't power him out either. Technically, he sort of gets a moment now as he's part of the group to throw out Rikishi. What a moment it was. He has a few more nearly moments against Crash Holly and Edge, but ultimately this dog ran out of bite. The Bulldog is eliminated by the Road Dogg to little to no reaction. Why even bother? Match 26, Raw Tag Match. China teams up with Y2J Chris Jericho to take on Perk Angle and the Bulldog. Kurt starts but gets Sonny Siaki's ass handed to him, so he tags the Bulldog. It doesn't go much better for him with a hip toss and the Jericho backbreaker for a 2. China has the tag and they barge the Bulldog down. Davey blocks the next move and tries to fly, but he's smacked in the slash zone. He does manage to throw Jericho out the ring to get the advantage for his team. It doesn't last though, and Jericho gets the walls locked in. Bulldog taps, but he isn't legal, and the ref is distracted as Angle decks Jericho with the belt. The Olympic Slam gets the 3. It almost feels weird that the Bulldog is on a winning team at this point. Well, he's won a match without really doing anything. Congratulations, I guess. Match 27, Insurrection 2000, hardcore title match. The British Bulldog challenges for Crash Holly's belt. The Bulldog fights him up the ramp and hits a suplex. It feels like forever since we've seen him do one. Crash responds, sending him into the stairs. Crash wastes valuable time in this short match, putting weapons into the ring. He hits Bulldog in the gut with a stick. Bulldog recovers with a drop toe hold into the chair and he smashes the chair into him. Now it's the Bulldog's turn to use the stick. He breaks it over Crash's back. Davey Boy nails the power slam and he wins? He wins a title on match 27? And the match still stunk worse than Sonny Siaki's ass. It's an S. Match 28, final match, SmackDown Hardcore title. The champion British Bulldog versus Hardcore Holly. Hardcore quickly throws him out the ring where he decks him with a tray of drinks. Bulldog turns it around, sending him into the ring pole. He takes too long getting a mop though, and Holly snaps it over him. Hardcore isn't done and hits him in the head with a toolbox. For some reason, Bulldog no-sells this and hits him back with the box. Hardcore panics and sprays Bulldog with a fire extinguisher. Back in the ring, Hardcore hits a dropkick as Crash Holly runs out with his own referee. Crash decks them both with a trash can lid, and somehow, Crash wins this match. How can 2 matches be taking place at the same time? Whatever. Hardcore is a bad, winner or loser, I don't know what he is, and he hits a Falcon Arrow on a chair. Game over. So there we go then. The Bulldog left the WWF and he was completely out of it and was relying on a cocktail of drugs to even function. His final televised match was against Eddie Guerrero in late May. Bulldog took time off wrestling, but was hoping to one day return, but in 2002, the Bulldog passed away from a heart attack at the age of just 39. That run was worthless, and he won 3 titles during this time, but it sure didn't feel like it. The Bulldog's new look made him look a bit generic, but he was roided up to the point where he looked seriously unhealthy. Ultimately, I just don't think he was a good fit during the Attitude Era because promos were his weakest department and he couldn't even rely on his wrestling skill at this point. It's weird that he was pushed hard in the beginning and was in the main event scene. To be honest, I think he looked too small to be in there at times and it felt awkward. Rumours are that the Bulldog was only rehired by the WWF to calm the war and the lawsuit with the Hart family for Owen's death. But the fact is, Davey shouldn't have been anywhere near a ring at this point with his screwed up back, legs, perk addiction and steroid abuse. This is one of the things in wrestling that I'm glad has got better. I did hope to have something nice to say about this run, and what I will say is, Davey clearly loved wrestling and it's a miracle that he even managed 28 matches, a sign of a determined, motivated man. Now for the bad news. I'm sorry, but Davey Boy is going in the zone. Not at the very bottom, because unlike Jackie Gator, he could actually wrestle and hug about for a while. But this wasn't good, man, and it destroyed the Bulldog's reputation. It left most fans only really remembering the rock bottom into the turd tray, and if you don't agree with that, I'll make you spray. For the fact that Davey Boy Smith was an extremely successful wrestler in the past, and we ended up being served up this garbage. Quite a lot of matches that we had to sit through, and it amounted to nothing. He did nothing in the ring, he looked ill. I hate this run with a passion. It's also one of the most boring short runs of all time. EC3 in the WWE is personally offensive to me. Okay, EC3 in the WWE. I doubt this will even get a C. Let's see. Alright, first of all, a bit of backstory, because EC3 has jumped around wrestling promotions a bit in his time. He started out as Derek Bateman in 2011 NXT, but occasionally, good old Derek, what a lame name by the way, he'd occasionally be called up to the main roster for appearances. Honestly, WWE should have added expense fees to his contract for stupid name fees. Bateman hung around in NXT until 2013, and yeah, I'm including his time as Derek Bateman in this video. He went to TNA and completely reinvented himself. Everyone hates on TNA, but EC3 was actually something they did very well. He was a snobby rich punk nephew of TNA owner Dixie Carter, Ethan Carter III. In TNA he was a main eventer, and it looked like he showed WWE what they missed out on. With TNA in trouble financially, all the big stars left. EC3 called it a day in 2018 and went back to the WWE. Strangely, he kept his EC3 name. Maybe Vince McMahon didn't realise that the C stood for Carter, as in his main wrestling rival for the last 10 years. Although in reality, he just probably didn't see TNA as a rival, didn't care about Dixie Carter. They put EC3 back on NXT and he didn't make the main roster until 2019. He still didn't wrestle much though, and continued to mainly appear on WWE C shows like Main Event. He's been in the news recently for his ROH appearances where he's doing this gimmick about controlling his narrative. A lot of people still see EC3 as a missed opportunity as a star main eventer. Some of you probably don't know this, but whilst in TNA he was one of my favourite wrestlers from the last decade. He can talk on the mic, he carries himself like a star, and he actually looks like he could beat the crap out of guys. Wrestlers who look like they dominate in the gym are few and far between today, unfortunately. But then you get some that can actually wrestle and talk on a mic, that's extremely rare. So it seemed like he was a perfect fit for the WWE. So let's find out what went on when he went to the main shows. Enough talking, let's get into it. Minutes into the match, he's just hurled out of the ring by Titus O'Neil. They've been feuding on NXT, but because that isn't the main show, the Hawk doesn't care about that. What an appalling start this is. The Battle Royal is won by Orton. Match 2, SmackDown. Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Derek Bateman with Maxine. They get to introduce themselves before the match in a pre-taped video package as an NXT power couple. Maxine won't kiss him because his breath stinks. It doesn't start well as DiBiase knocks him down and gives him an arm drag. DiBiase also hits a dropkick. Bateman is crashing to the mat every few seconds. Maxine eventually distracts the referee, which allows Bateman to cut a DiBiase across the ropes. Why did the ref need to be distracted for that one? Bateman hits a clothesline for a 1 count. He also hits some sort of net breaker, not sure what that one was. It's not enough to keep DiBiase down and they both exchange kicks in the corner. Bateman whips him across the ring into the corner, but it doesn't have enough impact. DiBiase is now back in this as he does a snapmare, an atomic drop and a running kick. It's not looking good as DiBiase gives him a clothesline. And there it is, Dream Street. It's over in 2 minutes. It's hard to have anything positive to say about such a short match, but the Hawk is a really talented man and I've got some highlights for you. First of all, he didn't lose straight away and he did manage some moves. Second, he hit a move that the Hawk isn't sure the name of, so he must have a deep move pool to out-Hawk the Hawk. And third, as we all know from Lucha Underground, Maxine is extremely hot. It's a D. Match 3, SmackDown, 25-man Battle Royal for a spot in the Elimination Chamber. Ugh, not this turd again. Once again, it's quite hard to see him in the sea of humanity, but he's wearing red trunks here. Within 30 seconds, David Otunga throws him over the top and then slaps his hands off the ropes and he's out. He's the first man eliminated, so it's most definitely an S. The final 2 comes down to David Otunga and Santino Marella. So back in 2012, EC3 was viewed as far less valuable than these 2 morons. Santino wins it anyway. The competition in the Shove It Zone for Season 2 Ring of the Hawk is really heating up. How can there be so many miserable, worthless competitors out there? Match 4, SmackDown, Derek Bateman, who desperately holds his hands above his head, versus Damien Sandow. Wait, scratch that. Sandow cuts a promo refusing to have this match because he doesn't want the crowd to be treated to his match. Bateman also cuts a promo in the ring complaining that he deserves matches, and he demands a match tonight. So instead, out walks Rhaka.
Oh no!
Bateman charges at him with a boot and tries to batter him, but he runs straight into a boot from Ryback. The crowd chant Goldberg. Ryback presses Bateman above his head and it looks like Bateman's managed to fight it off, but Ryback crashes backwards with him. Ryback decapitates Bateman with a clothesline and then he screams, "Finish him." Ryback wins with the shell shot. This Ryback looks like another guy with some potential. He should go far. The match was a complete squash, but I saw personality in that pre-match promo, so it's a D. Ring of the Hawk is not just about in-ring skill, you have to have a bit of everything to make it as a star on the Ring of the Hawk show. Match 5, SmackDown, Brodus Clay with the Funkadactyls, Quack Quack versus Derek Bateman who looks clinically depressed. The fat boy shunts Bateman into the corner and he beats on him. Then he throws Bateman out of the ring like a McDonald's wrapper from his car window. On the outside of the ring, Brodus charges at him as his boobs shake left, right and centre and he headbutts Bateman down. Brodus throws Bateman to the timekeeper's area and then he puts him in the ring. Brodus continues throwing his weight around and there's a lot of it to throw. He hits a corner splash and a fall-away slam. Brodus wins the match with a big splash. I don't think Bateman landed a single move. Brodus dances with a bunch of little kids after the match. It makes me want to swallow my puke, isn't it?
Ow!
Bateman lost a bunch of matches after this on NXT and then he was done. So when he signed for TNA, no one was exactly impressed with their signing. They had signed jobber Derek Bateman. Someone in TNA must have had great foresight for his potential, because to be honest, there wasn't much to see here. Match 6, Raw, 5 years later. Wait a moment guys. On this episode of Raw just before the EC3 match, a wild slapnuts appeared.
Come on, Jay.
Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, that one was a stretch, but it's been a while. Anyway, back to the Shove It show. Alexa Bliss, a petrified rat, is hosting some sort of talk show. EC3 is just randomly sat there looking bored. Dean Ambrose says he doesn't know who he is and he doesn't let EC3 speak. Some of the crowd seem to know who he is, but lots of them don't also. Ambrose completely destroys his gimmick and asks him who EC1 and EC2 are. This gets turned into a match.
Who is this? Who are you?
That's EC3.
Who are you? What does EC3 mean? Where are EC1 and 2? Why do you hang around backstage like some kind of mute Chippendale dancer?
Oh! I don't understand why he didn't let him speak. Match 6, Raw, EC3 versus Dean Ambrose. Bateman charges straight at Ambrose and takes him down with a double leg. He starts trying to throw Ambrose into all the corners but only makes it through 2 of them. Ambrose tries to do something but he gets an EC3 flying clothesline. Carter hits the Carter elbow, which doesn't hurt Ambrose at all. He gets straight up and he throws EC3 into the corner, shoulder first. Ambrose is now on top, but nothing remarkable is happening. Ambrose gets a 1 count off a clothesline. Dean Ambrose then starts trying to get him to tap, but he can't, and EC3 fights back. He scores a couple of knockdowns and the crowd are in complete silence. In fact, some of them are booing. EC3 throws Ambrose on his back and tries to fire up the crowd, but it doesn't work. Ethan Carter charges into the corner, missing Ambrose, who looks to put him in a way of a powerbomb, but EC3 reverses it into a jackknife pin for the 3. Look, a win's a win, but this was horrible. This crowd completely hated this. EC3 wants to celebrate with the crowd, but only one moron in the crowd cares to engage with him. Well, this match made me want to engage my ass into the toilet bowl. It's a D, and only because he won it. It's kind of a decent start because a win over Ambrose ain't to be sniffed at, but the crowd sucked the life out of this one. Match 7, Raw rematch, Dean Ambrose versus EC3. He surprisingly gets a full entrance. It's surprising that not only his EC3 name is carried over from TNA, but also the 1% are part of his gimmick. He gets quite a big time entrance, but I'm not sure how I feel about all the ass shaking. The crowd are all sat down in silence. No one cares apart from VM Fuso Jr. in the crowd who's drunk or high again. Ambrose is determined to avenge his loss and he charges and attacks EC3 in the corner. EC3 ducks an Ambrose swing and takes a chill pill on the outside. Dean Ambrose is an idiot and chases him to the outside, which allows EC3 to cut him off as he comes back into the ring. Ethan Carter doesn't do very well and he gets an Ambrose flying reverse back elbow. EC3 gets straight back to his feet and dodges an attack which allows him to hit a big clothesline. EC3 then gives him another in the corner and follows it with a second rope dropkick. EC3 goes to his power game now with a big time vertical suplex, holding Ambrose up for a while. I can't tell if EC3 is supposed to be heel or face. EC3 is really trying hard and he hits a scoop slam and a Carter elbow, which is definitely not over in the slightest. EC3 then misses an attack in the corner and crashes into the ring pole. Ambrose is now back in the match and he hits a sidewalk slam for a 2 count. Dean Ambrose then heads up to the top, but EC3 crashes against the ropes, knocking him off. Then out of nowhere, Ambrose wins with a small package. Oh. So much for the push. I thought EC3 was going on a run here. What the hell happened? This was actually a good match, but it was just too short. It's a C. Match 8, SmackDown, 18-person over the top rope mixed tag match. What? So many people in this match. Nobody could possibly care about any of these guys. EC3 actually gets into this one pretty early against Hardy, and the commentary team actually acknowledge their past history, which is strange. He then brings his brother Matt in straight away, and Matt Hardy jumps down with an elbow across EC3's arm. Matt looks like he's trying to break EC3's arm. Hardy follows it with the side effect for a 2 count. Matt Hardy sends him into his team's corner as the crowd chant delete. Heavy machinery in now and EC3 gets a splash in the corner. The fat guys start joining in with Matt Hardy's gimmick and then EC3 collapses on the mat like a goofball. He gets hit with the caterpillar, then we go to an advert break. When we come back, EC3 is back out of the match, but at least he didn't get pinned. The match breaks down later on, but nothing interesting happens. He still seems to be brawling with Matt Hardy. He does manage to fight him off, but now he's in the ring alone with Jeff. Jeff gives him the TNA twist of fate, which for some reason in TNA this move became a stunner. Asuka also kicks him in the face, so he's starting to look like a joke in this match. She also throws Hardy out the ring to win the match. EC3 did literally nothing in this match and was beaten up by everyone, it's an F.
Oh, no!
Unfortunately, EC3 was just shoved in the WrestleMania 35 pre-show Battle Royal. Well, at least we don't have to watch EC3 losing another Battle Royal. I did watch it out of interest, and you can see him trying to get out the camera shot at the start, I don't know why that is. As usual, he's out in the first 20 seconds. I think it was Shelton Benjamin who eliminated him, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Match 9, Raw, scramble match for the 24/7 title. Titus O'Neil, Cedric Alexander, Drake Maverick, EC3, Eric Young, Gallows Anderson, Mojo Rawley and No Way Jose, all just shoved in the match. Lots of TNA links in this one. Speaking of TNA, is it just me or does this match bear a resemblance to the reverse Battle Royal? All these morons are fighting on the outside and they need to pick up the belt in the middle of the ring to win the match. People do start making it into the ring eventually, but they're too stupid to pick up the belt. EC3 knocks Gallows and Anderson over, but he's unable to pick up the title because No Way Jose takes him out of the ring. Rockstar Spud has a chance to win, but he's too scared and he gets thrown out of the ring onto a bunch of morons. Wow, how did this match from 2019 not get more hate? WWE copying the ideas of TNA and Vince Russo? Titus O'Neil wins the match, but then Bobby Roode appears at the ramp and immediately rolls him up to take the title to him. The easiest S I've ever given in a completely dumb concept. It's funny that as time went on, the ex-TNA guys seem to gravitate together again. Guys who were a big part of the TNA show are a joke in WWE. Match 10, WWE Super Showdown 2019, 50-man Battle Royal. The fact that they had 50 jobbers who they had nothing better to do signed for this company is enough evidence their monopoly on the business was beyond ridiculous. Oh god, out of 50 men, EC3 is literally the first one to be thrown out by Matthew Hardy. Someone behind the scenes actually hates him, I'm 100% certain of that. I'm actually offended that he was rated worse than all the guys in the ring. We've got fat boys, luchadors, midgets and people who look like they haven't washed in a year. Yet EC3 is the first man eliminated. This match can shove it. I don't give a shit who won in the end, I'm turning it off. On a side note, this WWE pay-per-view is rated 1.6 out of 10. Not a good one then. I'm sure it's just because everyone was offended as I am about EC3's performance in the Battle Royal. After this, it seemed like WWE were toying with the idea of putting EC3 back with Drake Maverick aka Rockstar Spud. They were a great team in TNA. They had Spud saying EC3 is going to be the best man at his wedding. It's all good, but EC3 can speak for himself. He was booked as a damn mute for the first few months. Why wasn't he given a chance? Match 11, Raw, final match, Rusev vs EC3. I've noticed that as this video goes on, EC3 is overacting more and more. He's doing it deliberately. EC3 charges straight at Rusev with a punch. He keeps outspeeding Rusev, but eventually his crossbody gets caught and he gets nailed with a Chris Harris catatonic. Rusev suplexes him with ease a couple of times. This one isn't going to be going much longer. Rusev sprints at EC3 and boots him in the face. Seconds later, Rusev gets a tap-out victory with the camel clutch. This is just appalling. I'm thankful that all these matches are so quick, but I genuinely feel bad for the guy. He never had a chance. He wrestled one last match for WWE on their C-Show main event. It was almost like the comedy team were confused by the lack of his push. They were always saying what an amazing shape he had. The answer is, his fucking shape put 95% of guys on the roster to shame. It just didn't help him. Just to go off on a little bit of a tangent and give you some extra content, EC3 revealed he got in a lot of trouble for something he did back in NXT the first time when he was Derek Bateman. Back then the show was more of a reality type show and him and Daniel Bryan conspired together to cheat and get the answers right.
I think Daniel thought the great city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Steve Blackman?
Isn't that still within sports?
Steve Blackman's not even a real person. You can't answer that.
Chicks and America.
So you can improve on Chicks in America. I don't trust you at all. Byron.
This seems rigged.
You think?
As you can see, it was a hilarious segment, but it also landed him a lot of hot water and it would have caused a lot of problems for him going forward. Maybe some people in WWE management remembered this, even 8 years after on his second run. Anyway, this truly sucked, and although it's not his fault, I'm here to grade what I saw on telly, and what I saw wasn't much. I can see why wrestling fans who only ever watched the WWE would call him a jobber. They never got to see the EC3 that I got to see. Into the Shove It's Only Goes, one of the all-time lows. This run was the definition of blows, and if you don't agree with that, I'll give you a smack to the nose.
Ugh, I can't believe I just had to watch that back. I hate this run with all of my ass. How can you take someone who's a main eventer and turn them into complete laughingstock? One of his strongest skills was his mic work, and you made him a mute. This whole thing was an agenda, and you wanted to stick it to TNA. Stick it up Dixie Carter's ass. They destroyed a man's career just to further their own agenda. They must have been on a bender. Loch Ness in WCW was horrible. Alright, it's Loch Ness. How he ended up in WCW is anyone's guess. Now, Loch Ness / giant haystacks may not look like much in the ring. But over in England, this guy was legendary, and his feud with Big Daddy main evented shows up and down the country. They mostly just kind of slopped into each other, but at the same time, this stuff was the thing of dreams. It was helped by the fact that there was a clear face and a clear heel dynamic. Haystacks was of course the heel. Standing at 6'11" and billed at £685, everyone in the UK in the 70s and 80s knew who Giant Haystacks was. He was actually born in England and was of Irish descent, but he became Scottish somehow in WCW. By 1996, he had retired from wrestling with dodgy knees. He was actually working as a debt collector to pay his bills, which is why it was really strange when in 1996 WCW decided to sign the way past it Giant Haystacks and rename him Loch Ness, after the famous Scottish lake and monster. Match 1, WCW main event. So we're not even debuting him on the main show? Well, that's not a very good start, is it? Out walks the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan and Jimmy Hart. They are the Dungeon of Doom, a wacky bunch of people. Taskmaster starts fighting with Jim Duggan, who is already in the ring. We finally see Loch Ness casually strolling down the ramp. The bell rings, Duggan versus Loch Ness is officially in the history books. They stop Duggan from hitting Loch Ness with his little stick, and he lands a smack. Loch Ness now lands a devastating elbow drop. Sergeant Craig Pittman rushes the ring, and Loch Ness takes care of him easily. The ref throws the match out. Now it's Buddy Lee Parker's turn, and random jobbers just keep rushing the ring, and Loch Ness just keeps knocking them down. After hitting 6 or so elbow drops, it looks like Loch Ness is struggling to get up. Ugh, his teeth are all rotten. Not doing much good for British stereotypes, are we? This was a pretty good debut. He looked like a major threat and his shortcomings weren't too obvious. The debut gets a C. Would be higher, but he didn't really beat up anyone of note. Loch Ness is next seen at the Super Brawl pay-per-view. Hogan is busy killing 8 men all on his own when Loch Ness rushes to his faction's aid. His faction, the Dungeon of Gloom, hold him back for some reason, and it looks like we can expect to see Hogan vs Loch Ness really soon. Match 2, WCW Nitro. Scott Riggs, the American male, taking on Loch Ness Monster with Jimmy Hart. It feels like the walk to the ring lasts for quite a while. The lighting's really interesting here too. As you look around, you have to acknowledge what a lovely show this was to look at. This Loch Ness is really big. The other day I went shopping in Asda and the bill came to £200, which is a lot. Anyway, Scotty Riggs starts punching at him. A running dropkick has no effect on the Loch Ness Monster. Riggs quickly climbs to the top rope and he throws another dropkick to zero effect. The Rig Man decides to do it again from the top, but Loch Ness is supposed to catch him. Instead he drops him and falls on top of him. How embarrassing. Loch Ness looks to drop the elbow, but he hesitates for some reason. Now he does hit his elbow drop. Nothing's happening. Another elbow drop and it's over. Wow, that has to be one of the most embarrassingly bad matches I've seen of all time. It was only a minute long and the whole thing was terrible. Is he actually capable of doing any other moves other than an elbow drop? Poor Scotty Riggs. Shove this one in the zone. Match 3, WCW Saturday Night. American male Buff Bagwell vs Loch Ness with Jimmy Hart. Bagwell dodges him straight away and starts desperately punching. He takes a run up, but he can't take Loch Ness down. He switches to a punch to the gut, which seems to be working well for Bagwell. Works well for me anyway. He does get Loch Ness stunned in the corner and he hits a dropkick. The gut punches are super effective. Bagwell connects with 10 smacks in the corner, almost falling over in the process. Loch Ness pushes him to the mat, and then he drops the elbow, and that's the entire match. You've got to be kidding me. Is this the most limited competitor of all time? He makes Giant Gonzalez look like Ric Flair. It's going in the zone again. Match 4, Nitro. Just Wonder Kid, Alex Wright, and he takes on the Loch Ness Monster, again with Jimmy Hart. This is a European matchup if you didn't know. It's pretty exciting. Loch Ness also has new music, which sounds like it's from a 70s horror film. This Wonder Kid executes a forward roll. He grabs Ness's arm and he shoves him away. Wright is ducking and weaving like a professional boxer. He makes the bad decision though to go behind Loch Ness, who legitimately struggles to follow the action. Alex Wright drop kicks him in the head to get his attention. Wright starts charging at him. Be careful. Ness puts him on the top rope, where Wright puts him in a sleeper. After 10 seconds or so, Loch Ness shoves him away. Now Alex Wright runs into a bear hug. Surprisingly, Loch Ness can't make him tap out, and he boxes Loch Ness on the ears to get him off. This Wonder Kid just won't quit as he smacks the monster time and time again. Wright hits a strike in the corner, but then he runs straight into a boot to the nutsack, and Loch Ness drops the elbow for the free. Pretty sure that's how he used to finish his matches in his prime. Loch Ness screams into the camera, "I'm coming for you, Hogan." This one was actually watchable. Don't get me wrong, it was nothing good, but it certainly wasn't offensive. And nothing went wrong, so I give this one a D. Match 5, WCW Saturday Night. What is going on with this? He now has Rey Mysterio's music, and he takes on jobber Kenny Shaw and the Shadow from Parts Unknown. This guy must be more than a jobber with a name like that. Shadow is dumped on his ass within seconds. He tries a run-up instead, but once again he ends up on his ass. It did introduce me to perhaps my favourite jobber of all time. So for that reason, I'm giving it a D. Meanwhile on Nitro, the show opens up with the Big Show jumping Loch Ness on the ramp. He's screaming and going nuts, yelling, "I told you." What did you tell him? Lex Luger enters the arena with his full entrance, ignoring them both. Match 6, Nitro, WCW television title match, Lex Luger versus Loch Ness. Loch Ness is counted out straight away. He never makes it to the ring. What a match, isn't it? Wait, hang on, how did the match start when Loch Ness never got in the ring? How's that fair? And by the way, no explanation is given to why the Dungeon of Doom beat up Loch Ness. I think they used some flimsy reason that the Big Show is jealous. Match 7, final match. Wait, what? What happened? Well, I'll get to it. Shut up or I'll smack you one. At Uncensored 1996, we got a promo from our hero. He calls Hart a weasel face and says Hart promised him a shot at the Hulkster. Mean Gene says he knows a good dentist and Loch Ness looks ready to kill him. Wow. So it's Giant versus Giant. Loch Ness versus the Big Show with Jimmy Hart. The two big men have a stare-off. Big Show aggressively knees him and chops him in the corner. A boot choke follows. Loch Ness fights back with a headbutt, of which the commentary describe as tremendous. Big Show isn't too hurt and he starts slamming Nessie's meathead into the corner. Unfortunately for the Big Show, he misses his charging splash in the corner and he goes flying out of the ring. It's actually a pretty nice spot for this match. For some reason, Jimmy Hart forces him straight back into the ring. Let him rest, Jimmy, for God's sake. Nessie grabs the Big Show's haircut and chops him down to the mat. The Loch Ness Monster does land his elbow drop finisher, but no cover is made. He instead attempts a second one. He misses the second one. The Giant gets back up. He tries to clothesline Loch Ness out of the ring, but he's not having any of that. Instead, the Big Show kicks him in the throat and the Loch Ness collapses. The Giant hits a leg drop, and that's the 3. What? Just like that? The crowd barely react to the 3. Loch Ness did nothing again and could barely move. Why was he beaten so easily? So disappointing. It's an S for game over. Well, as it turned out, it was back to England for Loch Ness because he was very unwell and was diagnosed with lymphoma. Haystacks would pass away just 2 years after his final match at the age of 52. Very sad, and even sadder when you think about how Giant Haystacks would only ever really be remembered in the US as a complete joke. Bischoff has since said he had no idea who Haystacks even was. God, I want to smack the leader of the Grey Crew so badly. Well, that entire run was incredibly strange and bad. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but that was honestly one of the worst runs in Ring of the Hawk history. Let's keep this brief or you'll knock out my teeth. Shove this entire run in the zone. It's the worst so far. Loch Ness is possibly WCW's most forgettable star, and if you don't agree with that, I'll run you down in my car.
Suck Sonny Siaki's ass!
We're gonna do the Loch Ness Monster in WCW. Gotta make sure we get 10 minutes out of it somehow, even though the longest match is 2 minutes long. And that's how long it takes to take off your girl's thong. WCW should never have hired this man. They had Big Show anyway, so what was the damn point? He botched almost every move that he did. He looked seriously ill and I just felt a bit sorry for him. This is how a wrestling legend from Britain went out. It's a damn shame, but it's an appalling run. Okay, here comes another diarrhea drizzle in the dump station. It's Wade Barrett and the Corre.
Alright, Wade Barrett in the Corre. I had to Google if birds can snore. The answer's yes, apparently. Although I probably didn't need to Google it, I'll find that out very shortly, I expect. So the Corre was a thing that happened around the time I tuned out of the WWE for good. I'm not saying it was the Corre's fault, I'm saying I hated the whole product. It started with Nexus, but Wade Barrett was kicked out by CM Punk. So now he was all alone like a punch to the gut when nobody's home. Match 1, SmackDown, The Big Show. Why does he have a jacket on? Versus Wade Barrett. He does a little punching thing during his entrance, but no firework is given. Show charges straight at Barrett and boots him in the gut. Big Show is in a foul mood as he hits a chop and a punch to the gut. Show decides to send him running, but Barrett actually turns it around for a drop kick to the legs. He keeps kicking the Big Show, trying to frantically keep him down. Barrett makes a cover, but I'm not sure it was even a 1 count. Barrett then puts on a leg lock, but Show boots him off. Wade Barrett tries to kick him down again, but Show blocks it. Wade Barrett keeps charging it, but he's taken down time and time again. The Big Show is now back to his feet and he signals that he's going for a chokeslam. Wade Barrett fights it off, but seconds later Big Show tries another one. Barrett jabs him in the eye. Show tries a third one, but suddenly 2 small men rush the ring. This is Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater, former members of the Nexus. Then Ezekiel Jackson comes to the ring apron and they have a stare down. This new group continues struggling to have any effect against the Big Show and he takes out all 3 of them. Jackson then decides to come in the ring and his clothesline is enough to take the show down. They all beat down the Big Show with Jackson hitting a very impressive slam. He looks like a real threat. Justin Gabriel also gives him a 450 and then the 4 men celebrate together. It's a shame the debut of the group came against the Big Show of all people. Jackson came off the best out of the 4, but Barrett is the leader, I think. Wade Barrett barely did a thing. It's a D for his debut with this group. Okay, I looked into it a bit more and apparently each member of the Corre is supposed to be an equal, so Barrett isn't actually the leader, he just comes off like he is. Match 2, Raw main event, CM Punk with the new Nexus versus Wade Barrett with the Corre. What kind of name is the Corre anyway? I hate Corres, it's the part of the food that I can't eat. Oh, Wiener is the special referee. He seems to be the only man here that the crowd care about, and he's not even wrestling in the damn match. All the wrestlers clear the ring because they're scared of Cena. The losing person here will not be allowed in the Royal Rumble, and that goes for their respective factions too. Cena sends all the faction members to the back. Wheeler then immediately shoves Punk over and slaps Barrett because neither of them can retaliate. Punk blasts Barrett from behind and he stamps on him. CM Punk launches Barrett out of the ring and continues arguing with referee Cena. This causes Cena to also throw him out of the ring. Punk scrambles straight back in and wants to hit Cena, but he's not allowed. Wade Barrett comes in and hits a big back body drop, but Cena won't count the pin and he leaves to sign autographs. Then we get a double down. Cena rings the bell and says both wrestlers are disqualified for use of profanities and this is a PG show. This was fucking terrible. All the memories are coming back from why I stopped watching in the first place. The anonymous Raw general manager sends a message and Michael Cole announces that Barrett and Punk's teams will be in the Royal Rumble. Cena's also told he has to apologise to them. If he doesn't do it, he'll be out of the Royal Rumble. Cena says he's sorry and then beats them both up. He's run off by 9 men. Cena's still not scared and he fights them anyway. A bunch of jobbers run out to even up the odds. This whole thing was shocking, it's the most nailed on S I've ever seen. I couldn't find a single positive thing to say about this. Well, this isn't a very good start at all, hopefully things get better at the Rumble. Match 3, Royal Rumble 2011. The Rumble starts with a giant brawl between the Nexus and the Corre. Only Punk's meant to be here at this point and the general manager sends them all back to the locker room. They have to wait for their turn. It's a pointless build-up anyway because the two groups don't even interact with each other in the Royal Rumble. The new Nexus are completely destroyed and eliminated by John Cena. But before Punk can go out, it gets worse because Hornswoggle is here. Cena throws Punk out and then spends the next 2 minutes being cringy with Hornswoggle. The Corre start entering the match, but Slater is beaten up by Hornswoggle and then thrown out by Wiener. Barrett enters at number 30. This is a 40-man Royal Rumble match, so it's not as good as it sounds. Everyone is down, so Barrett stamps on them all. Kofi tries a crossbody, but he gets caught. Barrett can't throw him out because Mysterio drop kicks him in the knee. Wade Barrett's still fresh and he gives Wiener a sidewalk slam. Everyone struts trying to get Barrett out, but Dolph Ziggler saves him. Diesel then enters the Rumble and Barrett tries to get the jump on him but fails. Diesel smacks him down again. Later, Barrett tries to throw Mysterio out, but instead he bounces off the ropes and gives Diesel a 619. Diesel tries to give Barrett a big boot, but he gets hung up on the ropes. Wow! Then Barrett eliminates Diesel. I'm in shock, he actually did something. The crowd are livid about this. They wanted Diesel to win. The Big Show is now in and he headbutts Barrett. Show also hits our guy with a choke slam, so it's not exactly looking good. Ezekiel Jackson enters the Rumble now, so I expect Barrett is happy as he's pretty much dead at this point. Jackson eliminates the Big Show, so he continues to be pushed harder than the leader, or not the leader, who cares. They have a little celebration together. Sheamus and Kingston almost get Barrett out, but he fights it off. Barrett then comes sort of close to eliminating Cena, but come on, let's be serious, that was never happening. Kane then manages to eliminate Jackson, so Barrett's all on his own again. He's still here, but he's not exactly doing anything. Wait, suddenly Barrett knees Ray off the ring apron to eliminate him. That's pretty big, and I'm definitely not talking about Ray's height. Barrett is now in the final 4. He has Cena on the apron, but Cena shoulders him in the gut and gets back in. John Cena hits him with a gut wrench slam. John Cena's distracted by Orton, and Barrett's allowed to recover, and he suplexes Cena. The Miz eliminates Cena, and he's not even in the match. Probably my favourite moment of this one. Final 3 now. Barrett and Del Rio work together on Orton. He's too strong and he power slams Barrett. Then Orton throws out Barrett. Del Rio surprisingly wins the match seconds later. Wade Barrett had a pretty good spot in this one, making the final 3, and he made 2 big eliminations, so I have to grade him accordingly. It's a C. Match 4, SmackDown, Elimination Chamber Qualifier, The Big Show in his stupid jacket versus Wade Barrett with the Corre. Barrett immediately cowers in the corner. Show has no sympathy and he chops him in the corners. Barrett fights back with a cheap shot. He hits a low drop kick which doesn't take Show down. Big Show keeps shoving him away. Then there's a ref bump. All the Corre members start getting involved. Jackson hits a clothesline and the ref wakes up to count the pin, but Show kicks out too. Barrett gives him a DDT and covers him again, and that is a 3. The commentary team say how impressive this was, but I don't see how anything about this was impressive. What is impressive is Jackson again slamming the Big Show. It's an S, this one sucks Sonny Siaki's ass. Match 5, SmackDown. Wade Barrett, who cuts a promo reminding us that the Corre are actually all equal, and he keeps talking about some sort of plan, and he takes on Rey Mysterio. Barrett starts out booting Rey in the gut and beating him down like a goon. Mysterio tries to speed it up, but he gets a Barrett knee to the gut. He gets a 2 count after throwing Rey into the corner. He then gets overzealous and Rey drops him on his face in the corner and gives him a basement dropkick to the face. Rey wants to land a moonsault, but Barrett yanks him off the top and gets Rey in the Tree of Woe. Barrett's now in full control and he lands a suplex. He tries a backdrop, but Rey counters and looks for the 619. Wade Barrett boots him in the gut to stop that. Barrett then has too much momentum and sends himself out of the ring. Rey dives off the ring apron on top of him, but Wade Barrett isn't affected. He slams Rey Mysterio across the crowd barrier. Later in the match, Rey Mysterio is able to hit a springboard crossbody for a 2 count. He tries to follow it up for dive, but he gets caught. Barrett stacks him back on the top rope, but it doesn't work and Rey fights it off. Rey dives on top of him again. Mysterio is now fully in this one and he hits a head scissors. Mysterio kicks him a couple of times in the face for a 2 count on Barrett. Rey now tries to put him away, but Barrett hits the sidewalk slam. Booker T on commentary says shade to Bubba Rogers, and the other commentators say who? Wade Barrett goes for a gut wrench, but Rey again reverses it and looks to dial up. Justin Gabriel causes a distraction, and when Rey Mysterio turns around he gets a big boot. Barrett puts him away with his finisher, which is called Wasteland. It's certainly not as good as Graceland. The Corre all beat down Rey until the stupid Big Show makes a save. I'm already sick of seeing both him and Cena. Show chokeslams Barrett. This was a good match, but I'm surprised how little Barrett dominated the smaller man. I thought we might see some nice power moves, but we barely did, minus his finisher. I'll give him a C. There's hope for this run if he can just get away from Cena and the Big Show. The story here is that Barrett keeps saying they're all equals, but he lets his boys do all the dirty work whilst relaxing. Jackson's impressive again. I feel like we should be watching him instead. On reflection, probably not. Match 6, SmackDown, 12-man tag. Edge, Randy Orton, John Morrison, R-Truth, Rey Mysterio and Wiener versus CM Punk, Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Drew McIntyre, Kane and Dolph Ziggler. Everyone gets a chance to show what they can do in this one, but Barrett is left until last. He gets in against Mysterio with a side slam, and that's it, he literally tags out. Most of his flurry must have been during the advert break. Later on, Sheamus takes mercy and lets him come in again against Mysterio. He isn't allowed to pin Rey though because Barrett's too lanky. Barrett does manage to get a 2 count off a headbutt. Unfortunately for Wade Barrett, he crashes into the turnbuckle when he's hit with a Mysterio moonsault. Barrett tags out. Later on, everyone starts hitting their big moves. Barrett hits his sidewalk slam, but then he gets hit with a diving hurricanrana by Mysterio. Rey hits both him and Ziggler with a double 619. Edge then pins Ziggler with the spear. Barrett was a completely pointless entry in this match. He needn't have bothered turning up, it's a D. Match 7, Elimination Chamber 2011. Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight title. The challengers are the Big Red Machine Kane, Drew McDonald, the man who was unfortunately our guy Wade Barrett, the Big Show, who was still allowed in this match despite losing his qualifying match, Rey Mysterio, and the World Heavyweight Champion Edge. Barrett doesn't start this match, which is probably a good thing, because judged by what I've seen so far in this video, it wouldn't have lasted more than 2 minutes. Barrett is the next man in anyway. He stomps on Mysterio frantically. Edge beats him down with ease and then works with Mysterio to take Barrett out. Edge is distracted eventually and Barrett smashes him down for a 2 on the champion. Wade turns back to Mysterio now and he gives him a pump handle for a 2. He then turns his attention back to Edge and sends him into the steel. He gets Edge back in the ring, but Edge dodges his attack and Barrett crashes to the steel outside. Later on, Barrett tries to hit Wasteland on Rey, but Mysterio grabs the chains and starts climbing. Wade tries to powerbomb him, but instead he gets a head scissors into the ring. No West Coast pop though, as Edge takes out Mysterio. The next man joins the match now, it's Kane, so Barrett is probably best off begging for mercy. Kane immediately turns his attention to Barrett and he gives him a basement dropkick for a 2. Kane then looks to put Barrett away again with a side slam, but he can't do it because Ray kicks him in the face. Barrett then scores a lucky kick to Kane's head and he gets a 2. Now 3 men take themselves out of a clothesline at the same time. Later on, Barrett starts looking like Kane's bitch, he's getting dominated. Kane throws him into the steel chains. Drew McDonald is now in the match, but I can't believe that Barrett is still in this one. Barrett and McIntyre work together to try and eliminate Kane. Their friendship doesn't last 2 shakes of a lamb's tail because Drew McDonald kicks the ropes into Barrett's nutsack. McDonald then completely smashes Barrett through one of the pods. Wade Barrett's out of this match now, but when he finally does get to his feet, McIntyre's dropped down on top of him. Big Show now enters the match. Barrett cowers in the corner. What a pussy. This run is a joke. There's no escape for him and he gets choked and shoved through a pod. Show slaps the shit out of Barrett and sends him into the chains. Big Show then lands the knockout punch in the centre of the ring and Barrett is the first man eliminated. No surprises there. What was the point in having him in this match? Everyone else had far bigger moments and spots. In case you wanted to know, Edge wound up winning this one to retain his belt last by pinning Mysterio. It's an S, this episode is definitely a Shove It Show special. Match 8, SmackDown. Wade Barrett, who doesn't have his teammates as they're banned from ringside, and he faces... oh, no, not again. The fucking Big Show with his stupid jacket and his stupid fucking grin on his face. I hope Barrett chokes him with the jacket. Well, that doesn't happen, at least not to begin with, and Show beats him all around the ring. Barrett manages to stop him by getting his boots up in the corner. Wade Barrett then jumps on his back and tries to put him to sleep. Big Show's face swells up with anger and lard and he makes the ropes. Barrett stomps him down and doesn't want to let him recover. Big Show does recover though for a brief time before he gets a low Barrett dropkick. Wade Barrett then hits the DDT, but it's just a 2. That move beat Show before. Big Show kicks out with real authority, which sends Barrett out the ring. Wade tries to come back in, but he gets sent straight back out again. The Big Show then tries to beat Barrett up and he gets shoved into the ring pole. Show continues fighting back and he scrambles into the ring. The Big Show beats the 10 count and wins the match. Absolute trash. Show wins the post-match battle too. The Corre are currently sitting in the Shove It zone. I'm sorry, it's another S. The Corre decide that because they're getting beaten up by everyone, they should try and get Kane to join their group, but it doesn't work because the Big Red Machine doesn't want to associate with losers. Match 9, SmackDown. Kane versus Wade Barrett. Barrett starts out with fire. He knows he has a point to prove here. Kane quickly turns it around for a corner clothesline. The Corre then all rush the ring and the match is thrown out after less than a minute. Another Shove It showing. Big Show runs them all off as usual, and this gets turned into an impromptu match. Match 10. Big Show and Kane versus Wade Barrett and Heath Slater. Big Show continues his dominance over Barrett and he beats the life out of him in the corner. He gives Barrett a corner clothesline. Big Show tries a choke slam, but Barrett is able to fight it off with a chop block and a drop kick. He now has Show down and he tags Heath Slater in. It doesn't go well for him and Kane gets in. Kane beats Barrett up on the outside and knocks him off the apron. Kane then goes for the choke slam, but just like every match today, the Corre then rush the ring. This match is also thrown out. Big Show has a chair and he throws it at Barrett and punches it in his face. Something really has to change here. This is literally the worst run I've ever seen so far on Ring of the Hawk. Another S. It would help if it was entertaining, but it's not. Match 11, SmackDown, Intercontinental title match. Not sure what he did to win a shot, but never mind. The challenger Wade Barrett with the Corre versus the champion Kofi Kingston. The referee is Fit Finlay. Kofi kicks him several times and then rolls Barrett up for a 1 count. The dopey Barrett then gets straight back up and walks into a Kingston kick. Wade Barrett tries to throw Kofi away, who does a cartwheel and knocks Barrett down for a 2. Eventually Barrett does manage to ground Kofi with a kick to the back. Wade Barrett then stretches Kingston out across the ropes and he charges at him with a boot, by far the most impressive moment of this episode. Back in the ring, Kofi tries to mount a comeback, but he gets the Barrett sidewalk slam for a 2. Barrett hits a big scoop slam and strangely decides he can suddenly fly. He tries a second rope elbow drop but misses it. Wade Barrett then misses a big boot and Kofi is back in with a drop kick. Kofi tries a leaping clothesline but gets booted in the gut. Kofi keeps reversing Barrett then and he gets hit with a big time crossbody from the top for a 2. Kofi follows it up with a big leg drop and looks for the Trouble in Paradise. The Corre then distract Kofi and Barrett hits him with Wasteland. Wade Barrett is now the Intercontinental Champion. It wasn't exactly convincing in any way, but it's an improvement and I'll take it. The Corre seem to be collecting some gold here despite their weak booking. It's a C. Match 12, SmackDown rematch for the IC title. The champion Wade Barrett versus Kofi Kingston. Barrett misses a clothesline straight away and Kofi boots him all over the ring. Kofi then misses a kick, but he tries a springboard that doesn't go well either as he's met with a Barrett big boot. Wade drives him into the ring apron and the crowd barrier. Wade Barrett then gets him back in the ring and seems very confident. Wade Barrett hits a pump handle slam, first time that one hasn't been reversed in this entire video, so that's a good sign for him. Kofi Kingston starts a brief comeback before Barrett shoves him in the corner. That doesn't stop Kingston, who boots him and hits a big crossbody. It's just a 2 count. Kofi hits the boom boom leg drop and then hypes up for his Trouble in Paradise. As he flies through the air, he gets hit with the Barrett big boot instead. That doesn't end the match somehow. The match continues and Barrett ducks Kofi's dive, but he has no time to celebrate this achievement as he's met with the Trouble in Paradise. The Corre rushed the ring before the pin can be made. The Corre couldn't make it up. They're run off and destroyed by who else? The Big Show and Kane. Isn't it about time the Corre could get one up on these guys? Well, Barrett's still the champion, but he couldn't have come closer to losing. This didn't help convince the Hawk. It's a D because he managed to boot Kofi a couple of times. Match 13, WrestleMania 27, 8-man tag. The Corre versus the Big Show and Kane. But no, that's not enough. We also apparently need to add the team of Santino Marella and Kofi Kingston to that side. Warning, what you're about to see is enough to make you tear your hair out. Those with weak stomachs, look away now. Barrett hits the grand total of 1 big boot to Kane before Kofi Kingston hits him with the Trouble in Paradise. 10 seconds later, the Big Show wins with a knockout punch on Heath Slater. The match literally went a minute. What was the point in doing this at WrestleMania? Just to remind you that 3 of the 4 Corre members are actually champions. Of course you wouldn't know it because you haven't seen any proof of that. These guys are anything but useful. It's an S. Before the next match, the Corre decide to interrupt a segment with The Rock and Cena. The 4 men get beaten up by the 2 men. Why did they think they even had a chance? They can't beat the Big Show and Kane, they're not going to beat The Rock and Cena. This is complete humiliation. Match 14, SmackDown 8-man tag. With 2 out of 3 falls. What? Oh no. No. It's the Big Show and Kane. They also once again team up with Santino and Kofi. The Rotten Apple Corre will try to put up a fight once more. They try to isolate Santino Marella, which is the only intelligent thing in this entire video. Unfortunately for them, they're only able to isolate him for 30 seconds because they suck. Heath Slater is about to lose, so his team pull him out the ring. When we come back for the advert break, they have somehow managed to isolate the Big Red Machine. They of course screw that up eventually. Kofi wins the first fall with a crossbody on Justin Gabriel. Later on, Santino is setting up for the Cobra, but as he turns around he gets a Wade Barrett big boot and the Wasteland. Barrett pins Santino for the second fall. Congratulations to Wade Barrett, you beat Santino Marella. He doesn't let Santino tag out for fall 3, so we'll continue isolating Marella. They fail with that as usual and Kane gets in. He gives Wade Barrett the side slam for a 2 count. Kane also hits the top rope clothesline and Jackson has to break the pin up. The match then breaks down and Barrett is about to lose to a choke slam, so the Corre will rush the ring. For some reason the match is thrown out, despite all these guys actually being a part of the match. The Corre get absolutely annihilated after the match. In fact, I doubt this team will carry on after this one. They've been buried so deep that there's no coming back. The Corre then come out to hype up WrestleMania 28, a show that I'm sure they won't be a part of. Barrett then starts running down the team, telling them that they can't hold up their end of the bargain anymore. They're on the verge of a breakup, thank God, but annoyingly they're interrupted. Santino is also annihilating them on the mic. He introduces his new team. Match 15, Raw, Team Apple versus the Corre. Cole keeps saying this matches the pits on commentary. There really isn't anything to say. Barrett gets smashed by 2 cruiserweight moves. Wait, hold your hawks. Heath Slater wins this one with an inverted DDT. A 2-minute match where Barrett did the sum total of nothing. It's still an S despite the win. Match 16, SmackDown, 20-man Battle Royal. The Corre just shoved in the ring. On a side note, this may be the worst Intercontinental Champion of all time. Poor Heath Slater, he's been smacked by the Big Show 6 times already in this video. Barrett does seem to last for a while without really doing anything. Then he manages to get Kofi Kingston out of the match. As he turns around, he realises that Kane is in the match and he sprays blood into his panties. Barrett and Justin Gabriel eliminate Kane with a double clothesline. That is the most anyone's gotten over on Kane in this entire episode of Ring of the Hawk. Barrett follows up booting Chris Masters out of the match. Then he's eliminated by his own guy, Justin Gabriel. It doesn't help Gabriel though, and he's sent out next by Mysterio. It's a D because they did something different for a change. Christian is the winner of this match, and a pretty cool moment for him seeing as Edge just retired. Match 17, SmackDown, IC title match. The challenger Kofi Kingston versus the so-called champion Wade Barrett of Ezekiel Jackson. Kofi seems to be on top until Wade clotheslines him from behind. He starts wasting time on the outside and Kingston does a back roll kick to him. He also hits a huge crossbody to the outside of the ring. Wade Barrett shuts him down by launching Kingston into the steps. Then, like a complete idiot, Jackson smacks his own partner. Barrett is annoyed about this and tells Jackson to get out of it. Kingston almost scores the roll up, but it's just a 2. Kofi's feeling himself and he hits the boom boom drop. Unfortunately, he misses the Trouble in Paradise. Barrett stacks him on the top rope and he kicks him. Then he sits on him for the 3. That was a horrible looking pin cover if I've ever seen one. This may be the first match in this video that Barrett won without interference, so it's a D, but it was still horrible and Kingston dominated him. Match 18, Raw, 20-man Battle Royal. Raw versus SmackDown. If your team win, your brand gets the first draft pick. So there's literally no incentive for anyone to win this match. Why would you want to bring more competition to your brand, especially if you're a member at the core and you already suck? Barrett is randomly eliminated by Ted DiBiase Jr., a man who is completely irrelevant in the middle of 2011. The fucking Big Show and Kofi Kingston win the match for their teams. Congratulations to these two idiots, because John Cena has been drafted to your show. Everyone on SmackDown celebrates, despite this meaning that they will now all be moved down a spot because Big Match John is here. It just doesn't make any sense. Why are they so happy about this? Oh, by the way, the match sucked. Sonny Siaki's ass is there. Later that night, match 19, Wade Barrett versus Rey Mysterio in a non-title match. Barrett kicks Rey in the gut and tries to beat him up in the corner. Wade Barrett then delivers the sidewalk slam, but it's just a 2. Barrett is screaming at the referee. He's distracted and he gets hit with a springboard crossbody from Rey. They brawl on the top rope like some kind of epic matchup. Rey knocks him off the top and gives him a diving head scissors. Barrett falls on the ropes and Rey hits the 619 and the West Coast pop for the 3. Rey beat Wade Barrett in 2 minutes. This episode has been dumped in the shove it zone since the first few matches. It's never even come close to leaving it. Match 20, Extreme Rules, WWE Tag Title Lumberjack match. Why is it a Lumberjack match? The challengers are Wade Barrett and Ezekiel Jackson versus... Oh no. I walked straight into this one, didn't I? Right, that's it. Be right back. I've got to punch some kittens or something. The champions, Kane and the Big Show. Because someone fucking hates me. Big Show punches Wade in the gut straight away. That's exactly how I felt when I saw the Big Show and Kane again. Kane comes in and hits a low drop kick to the face. The Big Red Machine then hits the side slam, but he can't hit the choke slam as Barrett boots Kane in the gut. The Big Red Machine goes out of the ring so he gets stomped on by the Lumberjacks. Ezekiel Jackson does well against Kane, but for some reason he tags out and Barrett will now try and do something again. He can't do it, so he tags out again. Never have I ever seen so many jobbers all in one place, surrounding the ring here. Remember when the wrestlers on TV were stars? I honestly have no idea who half these guys are. No wonder no one's watching. Big Show also gets beaten up on the outside by the Lumberjacks. Ezekiel Jackson seems like he's winning, but Barrett tags himself in. Wade Barrett tries his finisher, but he's too weak and he gets hit with a Big Show chokeslam to end the match. The story here is that Ezekiel Jackson is annoyed that his partner tagged himself in. Another S for the worst IC champion of all time. Match 21, SmackDown, Wade Barrett of Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel. Wade Barrett cuts a promo saying he expects his opponent is scared tonight. I doubt it, because his opponent is Kane. Is it any surprise that I turned this product off? It's the same rubbish every week. This is the definition of torture. Kane starts out with an arm drag and a headlock takeover. He also scores a basement dropkick. Kane is having a very easy match as expected and he scores a big time uppercut. Wade Barrett bails to the outside, which is one of the more intelligent parts of this video. The dumb part is that he actually comes back to the ring. He gets a Kane suplex. Wade Barrett decides to actually work a body part, which is actually a first in this episode as he zones in on Kane's shoulder. The Red Machine fights him off with throat thrusts. It's just a short bit of offense as Barrett gives him the sidewalk slam. What happened next was strange. Kane hits a Samoan drop. You know, I hate it when some guys use the Samoan drop. It should be safe for Samoans and fat guys. And at this point, Kane isn't really either. Barrett attempts his finisher, but Kane fights it off and gives Barrett the boot. Kane then heads outside the ring and he beats up all the jobbers. Then he comes back into the ring with the top rope clothesline. Kane goes for the chokeslam, but the Corre rush the ring as usual. The match is thrown out like 80% of the matches on this episode. Kane is saved by Ezekiel Jackson, who is no longer part of the Corre. He struggles to throw Heath Slater out the ring. I couldn't care less. It's a D because he actually managed to hang on in this match for 10 minutes somehow. Match 22, 6-man tag. Ezekiel Jackson, Kane, and the Big Show, because of course it is, versus Barrett, Gabriel, and Slater. Jackson begs to come into the match against Barrett. Wade gets overpowered and clotheslined out of the ring. That's all of Barrett's dealings in this match for now. Barrett does get in later against Jackson again, but he's overpowered once again and tags out in fear. Wade Barrett does manage to do something later on and he helps his team here as he pulls down the rope, sending Kane out the ring. The Corre have the advantage now as Barrett drives Kane into the ring apron. Then we get a double down as both Kane and Barrett hit big boots. Kane gets out the match now and Jackson's in, who looks tiny next to his partners. The match breaks down and Jackson wins by submission with a torture rack. His partners look confused that it was him that got the win. A D, and that's being generous. Match 23, Over the Limit 2011, IC title match. Wade Barrett the champion versus the challenger Ezekiel Jackson. Pardon me while I do a line of I'll need it to stay sane. A match that no person could possibly care about, and that includes Hawks. Wade tries some strikes but Jackson overpowers him and throws him through the air. Then he throws him out the ring. Barrett tries to outsmart him and he kicks Jackson in the face, but he catches the boot and clotheslines him down. Jackson then gets a 2 with the crowd in silence. Ezekiel Jackson hits him with an elbow whilst Barrett cries in the corner. He's playing possum though and charges with a weak clothesline. He then sends Jackson into the corner pole, twice. Then he quickly kicks Jackson's head into the ring pole, although it sounds a lot cooler when I say it. Barrett gets a 2 count from that exchange. Next up, Barrett actually managed to hit the second rope elbow drop, which is a new move for him. Surprised he nailed it. Barrett tries wasteland, but Ezekiel fights it off. Wade Barrett gives him the pump handle slam instead, it's just a 2. Now Big Zeke really does start his comeback. He hits a scoop slam. Not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4, but 5. Barrett isn't going to survive. Jackson puts on the torture rack so the remaining members of the Corre run into the ring and cause a DQ. Surprise, surprise. Look, it wasn't terrible for 2 relatively unknown heels that were screwed from the start. They did the best with what they could. Possibly his best performance on this episode, just to see. Match 24, SmackDown rematch for the IC title. The challenger Ezekiel Jackson versus the champion Wade Barrett, because we all want to see this match again. Jackson pushes Wade into the corner and smiles at him. Barrett doesn't smile back, and nor do I. Jackson kind of just hurls Barrett across the ring. Barrett's really struggling and hits some sort of desperation knees to the head whilst lying down. Ezekiel Jackson tries to charge, but Barrett counters with the sidewalk slam. The commentary team are so bored they start debating on why Jackson's head is so wrinkly. Jackson lugs Barrett out the ring, but nothing happens. He comes back in and gets a clothesline and he's beaten all over the ring. Jackson hits the free slam special and applies the torture rack. Wade Barrett wriggles out of it and makes the ropes, but he gets kicked out of the ring. The Corre come out as usual, but nobody cares. Whilst that's going on, Barrett gets counted out of the match and keeps the title. An S if you didn't guess. Barrett doesn't help his boys who get beaten up by Jackson, he just strolls off. Match 25, final match, 6-man tag. Wade Barrett, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel versus Ezekiel Jackson and the Usos for some reason. It would have made more sense if it was the Big Show and Kane, just to finish me off, you know. Jackson doesn't want to fight Heath Slater and he wants Barrett, but he's too scared. Barrett manages the sidewalk slam later in this match on an Uso. He tags out before he can achieve anything else. Wade Barrett eventually loses his team's advantage and he gets an Uso kick to the face. Jackson gets the tag, so Barrett runs away. He leaves the match and his team are left in a handicap situation. It doesn't really matter because Jackson beats them all up on his own. It's an S. After this match, the Angel Gabriel and Heath Slater have a girt him for his actions and they declare that the Corre is over. Thank God! Best thing I've heard all day. I don't know why it couldn't end a lot sooner. As you can't tell, I absolutely hated this run. It was one of the most pointless factions ever. Barrett was the most pointless IC champion ever. If you haven't guessed by now, he'd also lose the IC title to Jackson at the next pay-per-view. All that's left to do is tell him to shove it and chuck him in the zone. There's no need to moan and groan, or I'll give your girl a bone.
What a rage-inducing video that was. The Big Show buried this faction so hard. Why did they do them like that? Something about this run just fills the Hawk with anger, and I snap my mouse in half. I hate this run, I hate the Corre, and if I had an apple core right now, I'd chew it in half and spit it in the bath. Why even waste the people's time having to watch this, WWE? It was insulting. The only other entry from Ring of the Hawks Season 5 is Aron Rex, Damien Sandow, when he went from WWE to TNA. Alright, it's Damien Sandow. His TNA run was bad, and all I want to know is how. Damien Sandow was an internet darling who many said was the next big thing in wrestling. He was especially popular as the Miz's stunt double, Mizdow. But he had grown to hate his time in the WWE and wanted to leave. When they released him, it came as a major surprise in the wrestling world. Sandow debuted for TNA halfway through 2016. There's a lot of hype for this debut and the crowd act like he's a big deal. The comedy team are practically creaming in their knickers over him, saying his WWE release must have been a mistake. The Pope says he's one of the biggest stars in wrestling history. Sandow cuts a promo and he says he's not going to dump on the WWE, and then he proceeds to moan about how he was held back by them. He says he was only released by the WWE because he was deemed to be too entertaining. Oh, and he's no longer Damien Sandow, he's now Aron Rex. He has a face down with world champion Lashley, so seemingly they had plans, but man, it just doesn't go down like that. He also starts a feud with Drew Galloway. He gets shoved in the grand title tournament to crown the first champion, and this is instantly where the problems begin. Because the grand title and its rules suck Sonny Siaki's ass. I should probably explain how these matches work, because we're going to see a few of them. There's 3 3-minute rounds, and at the end of each round, the judges are going to decide who won each round. Then at the end, whoever has the most points, or something like that, wins. But you can win before the 3 rounds by pinfall or submission. Someone's got to win here, because I'm sure not going to be the winner today. Match 1, Grand Title Tournament first round. Trevor Lee, who makes the girls pee, versus Aron Rex. The Corre team can't stop talking about how the final will probably be Drew Galloway versus Aron Rex. Good luck with that one. Rex immediately makes desperate pinning attempts as Trevor Lee starts to dump in his nappy of fear. He scores a knockdown and gets a 1 count. Rex gets tired of being in a headlock and says, "Shut up or I'll smack you one." It doesn't help and Lee sends him out of the ring. Trevor Lee hits a big knee on the apron and back in the ring, Lee aggressively whips him around the ring for a 2 count. Trevor works a sleeper hold for a while as the clock ticks down. Rex quickly clears Lee away and he hits 2 clotheslines. The bell rings to end the first round and Rex wins it. He barely did a thing. The second round begins and it's Lee hitting a big smack this time. Rex recovers with an inside cradle for a 2. He hits a Russian leg sweep now and drops the elbow. Lee saves himself on the ropes and makes a recovery with a knee to the jaw for a 2. Trevor Lee fails on his fisherman's buster and gets smashed in the corner, and Rex puts him away with a discus punch. There was just nothing to really like about this. It didn't impress me and it didn't make me want to see more of him. But it could just be this irritating match stipulation. It's a D from the Hawk. Match 2, Grand Title Tournament Semi-Final. Eli Drake versus Aron Rex. I honestly hate these rules so much. They do have a fun verbal duel on the mic, which we should be expecting from Aron Rex. We'll see if that continues. The match starts and it's really boring. Drake keeps working a headlock. It just doesn't work for these rules. It's supposed to encourage wrestlers to get a move on. They should just be having a normal match if they want to do this. The first 3-minute round almost passes without incident. Rex does 1 Russian leg sweep. He also hits something between a spine buster and an atomic drop. I'm not sure if it was a botch. The first round ends and the crowd are in silence. Rex wins round 1. Eli cutters him across the ropes and smacks him out from behind. One more and in the crowd chants, "This is awesome." I'm pretty sure someone else in the crowd chants, "This is awful." Drake sends him into the corner and hits a net breaker for a 2. Rex then reverses a suplex into a pin for a 2. It doesn't help him and Drake DDTs him back down for another 2. Rex seems to be really struggling here as Drake hits a power slam and the Eli Drake elbow for another 2. That ends the second round, which Drake wins. Round 3 starts with Drake desperately trying to wake the crowd up. He shouldn't have bothered because he turns around into a discus clothesline for the 3 count. God, this is horrible. It's killing Rex, because why would you be so excited to see him when you know he's competing in these horrible, boring matches? Another D. Match 3, Lethal Lockdown match, Team EC3 versus Team Lashley. Rex is the second entry for his team on Team EC3. Rex enters with lots of anger and aggression. He smashes Mike Bennett's gut in with his knee and Russian leg sweeps him. He ain't done and he drops the elbow. Rex fights with his upcoming Bound for Glory opponent Drew Galloway. He works with EC3 to send Galloway into Bennett. Lashley enters next, so they're pretty much screwed. He hits a swing net breaker on Aron Rex. It's just a slow stomp down for the next couple of minutes. The match trundles along with nothing else to say except why the hell is Maria and Gail Kim part of this match? It's crap and everybody knows it. Eventually, the weapons come into play and the good guys gang up on Lashley with weapons. Bennett calms down Rex with a super kick to a trash can into his face. Rex eventually wakes up and smashes a chair into Galloway's face, but he's immediately speared down by Lashley. Lashley beats EC3 with a spear and a submission. It's an F. Match 4, Bound for Glory 2016 Grand Title Tournament Final. It's supposed to be Drew McIntyre, but he's got injured, so instead they sub in Eddie Slapnut Edwards to take on Aron Rex. Oh great, for the final, the rounds have been extended from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. May as well not bothered because the first 2.5 minutes contain nothing at all. Eddie finally hits Hurricane and Rex responds with a Russian leg sweep. Rex is desperate to do some damage, but instead he gets an enziguri kick. He falls to the outside and stops a slapnut dive. It's irrelevant because Eddie throws him out on the other side of the ring and dives down on him. Back in the ring, Eddie clotheslines him out once again, and he hits another dive, but this time he comes off worse. They arrive back in the ring with Eddie hitting a missile dropkick. Unfortunately, it's just a 2. I never thought I'd be cheering on Edwards. Round 1 ends, that's 5 minutes of my life I will never get back. Edwards wins round 1. The highlight of round 2 is that TNA have clearly struggled to pay their electric bill around this time. It's a match that you can't even see. I'd normally be annoyed, but this is perfect. They desperately shine a spotlight on them. Edwards kicks him from the apron as the lights come back on to the loudest cheer of the night. His dive fails and Rex locks him in an executor, but then gives up with 20 seconds left on the clock. Why would you give up at that point? Rex looks like he's going to go for it again as the time expires for round 2. Rex wins round 2? They're really going to make me watch 15 minutes of this, aren't they? Edwards almost wins with a diving codebreaker. With 2 minutes left, they're on the top rope. Rex pushes him down and proceeds to do absolutely nothing. Instead, he hits a simple net breaker. Eddie gets a 2 off the Blue Thunder Bomb. He tries a moonsault, but misses it. Edwards is still able to counter Rex's finishing smack. The Boston Knee Party connects, but he's too tired to make the pin, and the time limit expires with both guys smacking each other. The judges will have the final say in the winner, even though they want to keep fighting, and the crowd scream let them fight, but they won't get their wish. The judges eventually make the controversial decision to give Rex the win. It seemed like Edwards had more of the match to me. Now to be fair, this was the only grand title match where it felt like the crowd cared. It still wasn't good, but I'll give it a C. Rex says he just made history and it's only the beginning, stay tuned. Match 5, grand title match. The champion Aron Rex, who doesn't even get an entrance, and he takes on Jesse Goddard, who does get one. Goddard makes the more impressive start as he keeps double-legging Rex, who's looking slightly out of shape here. Although, even the Hawk would look out of shape next to Jesse Goddard. All these matches are the same, with wrestlers working side headlocks for way too long. It's Goddard who keeps getting 2 counts, but it's nothing exciting. The first round ends, and somehow it's even more boring than the other matches so far. Goddard wins round 1. This feels like a failed submission match, there's just no urgency. If you were rushing against the clock, you would not be trying headlocks and armbars, you'd try to crack your opponent's skull open as quickly as possible. Round 2 ends with Rex cowering on the floor from a punch. Goddard has also won round 2. Rex looks how I feel. Goddard quickly dropkicks Rex out of the ring for round 3, which causes Rex to dump in his nappy of anger. If Jesse can just hold on for another minute or so, he'll be the new champion, so why wouldn't he just hide on the outside? Well, Rex unwisely smacks him out of the ring, and like a moron, Goddard allows Rex to help him back into the ring. Rex immediately knees him in the head and hits the discus clothesline for the 3. Horrible. Worst match so far, isn't it? This is the blandest of bland, not something you would normally associate with Damien Sandow. Match 6, grand title match. The challenger is Baron Dax. This guy really sucks. Baron Dax isn't exactly great either. Dax lands the first big move with a net breaker. This guy's pretty limited, so he follows that with 2 more net breakers. It's probably safe to say that Dax has already got round 1 in the bag. Dax does a Brossman chokeslam for a 2 count whilst his face grows in size like he's gurning out. This is the most one-sided grand title match ever. Dax almost wins again with a Northern Lariat. Round 1 ends and the crowd is in silence. I'm not sure how Rex got any points considering he did literally nothing. Round 2 starts and Rex finally does something interesting as he pushes Dax into the ropes and trips him up on the rebound. Rex locks on the educator and he gets the tap out win. Jesus Christ, what did Dax have, 1 HP or something? These matches suck Sonny Siaki's ass. Rex gets to talk and he says that this match just changed the game. Can't be serious. The only thing this changed is the toilet paper that I'm going to use when I wipe my ass on this turd fest. Match 7, tag match. Oh, thank God it's not a grand title match. It's EC3 teaming up with Jesse Goddard to take on Eli Drake and Aron Rex. Our guy will start with Jesse. Jesse hits a hip toss and tags EC3. He does nothing and tags Goddard back. Together they hit a double hip toss for a 2. Goddard struggles on a pinning attempt. God, this is as slow as the grand title matchups. Goddard nails a dropkick and tags EC3, who also hits a dropkick, this time from the middle rope. Rex is almost beaten. He desperately scrambles away and tags out. He does return shortly after, but he's sort of given a spinebuster and has to leave again. God, this run sucks so badly. Later, EC3 looks like he's about to win until Goddard saves him by grabbing Ethan's leg. Rex is missing for most of this match. Randomly he gets the tag against Goddard towards the end, he hits an awkward looking smack. Goddard collapses, and that's the 3. So are we saying that Rex is like the Big Show of his knockout punch? Well, apparently not, because it's a knockout because he has rings on his fingers or something. So he's a heel now, I guess. He can be whatever he wants to be. I just don't care. Another S. Match 8, grand title match. Jesse Goddard once again, the challenger for Rex's title. Well, it was rubbish before. I don't see what's going to change. Please get this over in the first round. Just like all the previous matches, Rex sucks in the first round. Goddard catapults him and back suplexes him. Jesse wins the first round. I hate this so much. Rex finally wakes up in round 2. He hits a knee drop and locks on a sleeper for a while. Goddard batters out of it but runs into a kitchen sink. Now he gets a one-off a snap suplex. Goddard small packages him, and I thought that was all he was going to manage in round 2 other than some pinning attempts, but no, he power slams Rex too. The round ends as Goddard almost locks on a Boston Crab, and Goddard has won round 2. Suddenly, Jesse has been blinded by something. Rex grabs his eyelashes to make it even worse. He hits the knockout punch and it's over. This was probably the best grand title match. Rex still didn't do much, but there was a bit more substance in here. It's a D. Match 9. Normal match. Praise the Bird Lords. It's still Jesse Goddard though versus Aron Rex. Jesse slowly beats him up. He drop toe holds Rex. He can't do anything as his eyelashes are pulled out. There isn't really much to say. Goddard beats him with a Boston Crab that he struggled to even apply, and Rex immediately tapped out. It's an S. Match 10, grand title match. Aron Rex. He cuts a promo first and says he's established the grand title as the #1 title in the wrestling industry. In the spirit of competition, he issues an open challenge. Bad choice because it's answered by Moose. Rex screams anyone but him and hit Rhino's music instead. He's not getting Rhino though. He's getting the Moose. Rex tries to meditate or something. He keeps stalling for time. He hides on the outside and does a cartwheel. He returns to the ring but gets shoved down, but kips straight back up with happiness. Rex attempts to blind Moose or something, but it doesn't seem to work because Moose just ducks a clothesline and he hits a discus clothesline for the 3. It lasted 45 seconds. Rex cries about losing his title and the 6 people in attendance mock him, and Rex says he can't do this anymore and he leaves. What a pussy. It's an S. Match 11, grand title. The champion Moose versus the challenger Aron Rex. He moans that he only lost the last match because he was caught off guard. This one starts with Rex hitting a ring punch straight in front of the referee. No mention of the 3 judges who are watching around ringside too. That only gets Rex a close fall. Somehow, the entire round passes without incident. I'm drifting off here. The grand title format is the same as Naito. He even spends the last 10 seconds of round 1 hiding on the outside, and he wins round 1, which is pretty much a first. I think Rex blinds Moose in round 2, but I feel like I'm blinded because my eyes keep closing. Rex seems to win round 2 as well, but he doesn't do anything interesting. He's in full control of round 3, but makes a simple mistake, and Moose drop kicks him on the top rope and nails the game changer for the 3. Hated this one with a passion. It was just like the other matches, another S. After a month off telly, Aron Rex made his TNA return. And what a return. He was now feminine and had a strange little man as his manager. The comedy team said that he's transitioning. He is covered in makeup and has a big fur coat. I think they finally figured out that this is more playing to this guy's strengths and not trying to be a work rate guy. Match 12, tag match. Aron Rex and Rockstar Spud versus Robbie E. He's scared of clowns, but he isn't scared of this clown for some reason. And it gets worse because his tag team partner is Hornswoggle. Anyone but him. You know when this guy turns up that your career is dead and you should give up immediately. Spud slowly beats up Hornswoggle. It's so boring that Rex starts cutting a promo mid-match. He thinks everybody just came to see him. Hornswoggle grabs at his feet, which causes Rex to scream with fear for Spud to help him out. Swoggle hits a go to sleep on Spud, so he has to tag out. Swoggle bites Aron Rex and slides through his legs to tag Robbie E. Robbie batters him and hits a diving knee drop. He flapjacks Rockstar Spud on top of Rex. For some dumb reason he tags Swoggle back. He starts Irish whipping Spud at the heels in the corner and Swoggle gives Spud a stink face. Rockstar Spud can take no more of this and he smacks out Swoggle with a ring. Rex makes the cover whilst blowing kisses and winking into the camera. It's over. For me, this match was unbearable. It's like this match was designed just to annoy me as much as possible. And it sure did. I hate this thing with all my ass and it makes me pass. Match 13. Final match. Oh, thank God, this has been appalling. Aron Rex with Rockstar Spud. I want this over, but they insist on cutting a promo first. Spud keeps singing Aron Rex as the crowd dump in their nappies with anger. God, I never thought I'd be so happy to see Robbie E. Rex is scared of Robbie E, but he eventually slaps him. Robbie blocks a ring punch and chases Rex around the ring. There is a stench of diarrhea floating all around the ring now. Back into the ring and Robbie hits the Thez press. He also hits a couple of atomic drops and a clothesline. He can't pin Aron Rex because Spud tries to drag him out of the ring. The distraction allows Rex to roll up Robbie, but it's a nothing count. Rex throws Robbie out of the ring so Spud can cheat.
Back in the ring, Rex does some things, none of which look very painful. Aron Rex suddenly starts doing a peacock dance, but misses his knee drop. Robbie E fires up with some punches and a middle rope elbow drop. He flies from the top with a crossbody, but yet again, he can't make the pin as there's a tug of war with Rockstar Spud. Robbie has finally had enough of Spud and he forgets all about Aron Rex. Rex reveals his rings and he smacks out Robbie E for the 3. Spud wipes all of his sweat away and it's well and truly game over. I never want to see any of these people again. As it turns out, Rex never had a proper contract with TNA and he was only on a pay-per-appearance deal. Yet, they attempted to build a whole division around him. Standard TNA really, isn't it? His strange comments when he joined TNA really backfired. He said he was going to change wrestling. Instead, this was basically the end of his mainstream career. Well, unless you count being in the NWA, which I don't. Apparently, he left TNA to concentrate on his acting, but that doesn't seem to have worked out. It is said that he didn't have any passion left for wrestling. He turned up slightly out of shape. TNA tried to make him a work rate guy for some reason. Then they tried to move to an entertainment style, but it ended as soon as it started. The Liberace character may have gone somewhere, but we never found out. This has to go down as the biggest WWE to TNA flop in terms of what was expected of him. Based on what was expected of him and what we actually got, I've got no choice but to shove him in the zone. All of his claims were false. He came off as sour towards the WWE. The grand title matches all sucked. And then there was whatever that was supposed to be at the end. Call it what you want, but he was feuding with Hornswoggle. I think it's safe to say it wasn't going to be good. And if you don't agree with that, I won't take your girl, but you need to know that I could.
Well, that was terrible. A shocking run. The reason he's ranking so high on this list is because he came into TNA with all this hype that he was going to turn the company fortunes around. He was supposed to be this massive free agent that was going to be a main eventer. But instead what we got was a bunch of horrible grand title matches, which is a horrible concept by the way. And then whatever the hell that was at the end. And he kept cutting promos saying he wasn't against WWE, but then in the next sentence he'd say he hated them. The whole thing was embarrassing and it was a terrible way to make this guy look. He might be remembered a bit more fondly if he hadn't gone to TNA in the first place. Ahmed Johnson and Harlem Heat 2000 was about the worst you're going to see. Almost, anyway. Alright, Harlem Heat and Ahmed Johnson. Let's see if WCW wants them. Today's video starts out at Sold Out 2000. Stevie Ray is feuding with his younger brother Booker T. It wasn't that bad actually, and it touched on elements of real life about Booker forgetting where he came from. What wasn't good was what happened during the match. An obese Ahmed rushed out to the ring, causing the match to get thrown out. Ahmed looked strong as an ox, but also 100 pounds overweight. He hit the Pearl River Plunge as the crowd chanted Ahmed. Stevie introduces them as the new and improved Harlem Heat. In WCW, Ahmed will be known as Big T. Match 1, Big T with Stevie Ray versus Booker T. The match starts out with Booker T smacking Big T one. Stevie Ray attacks Booker from behind, and that enables Big T to hit the Pearl River Plunge as he falls over. Big T sends him to the corner next, but Booker wakes up. It doesn't really matter because he runs straight into the Big T power slam. That doesn't really hurt Booker, and he gets up and hits a scissors kick and a bookend. Booker's distracted by his brother on the outside, and that enables Big T to hit him with a slapstick for the win. What a horrible debut. He looked extremely immobile and unstable, and he needed help to win. It went 1 minute, and it's an S. Match 2, Lex Luger with Miss Elizabeth teams up with Sid Vicious to take on Big T and Booker T with Midnight. This is one of those matches where the enemies have been teamed up just for the fun of it. Big T starts out against Sid. They tease a test of strength for ages, but Ahmed doesn't want to do it. He tags Booker in without even doing anything. Booker's about to win the match later on with his scissors kick, but then Ahmed smacks him from the apron. Then Ahmed comes into the ring and Sid Vicious hits him with a choke slam, and he only just about gets Ahmed off his feet. Ahmed/Big T chokes and wheezes around the outside of the ring, and whilst that's going on, the total package makes Booker T tap out to the torture rack. This is going to be a bad one, isn't it? I know I'm in for a difficult evening here. I think after we watch the next match, we're going to need to have a serious conversation about what Big T will need to do to avoid the shove-it zone. Match 3, World Tag Team Title match, Triple Threat Tag. Harlem Heat with Mr. J. Biggs versus David Flair and Crowbar with Daphne versus the Mamalukes. All the guys are covered in cake except for our guys. Big Vito smacks Big T, but he no-sells it. I have literally no idea what's going on here. Everyone just does what they want. Stevie has the match won, but his partner doesn't even seem bothered about what's going on. David Flair then hits Stevie with a crowbar, and he still doesn't seem bothered. Vito rolls him up for the 3 just like that. Harlem Heat 2000 beat the Italians up. Stevie does his slapstick finisher, and at the last second Ahmed decides to help by grabbing his feet, but he falls over as he does it. Scary.
Then Ahmed goes for the Pearl River plunge, but he falls over again. This guy just doesn't look stable. Ahmed goes for another one, and luckily Stevie Ray stabilises it. A bad match with a dangerous looking beatdown afterwards. It's an S. I can accept that this isn't going to be an A+ run. In fact, I'm pretty sure it won't even be in the C zone. More like the P zone. I want to see Ahmed hit some crazy power moves and maybe some crazy rambling promos. At least that stuff's entertaining. That'll help him avoid the shove-it zone. Match 4, Super Brawl 2000, rights to the name of Harlem Heat on the line. Big T with Stevie Ray and Jay Biggs versus Booker T, who now has theme music from Bamboo. I think it's Leave It to the Beaver, but we didn't get that in God's County, so shove it. Stevie distracts Booker T and Big T gets the jump straight away. He scores the first knockdown with a clothesline. He follows it up with a scoop slam. Booker quickly fights back with an almost Samoan drop. Booker also manages to get him up with the big time suplex. He boots Big T and sends him to the outside. Booker then beats up Harlem Heat 2000 with a meeting of the minds. Booker T comes back into the ring with a top rope clothesline. Booker's going to win the match, so Stevie distracts him and it allows Big T to get the advantage for about 10 seconds before Booker T hits him with a Russian leg sweep. A wild slapnuts appears.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist a wild slapnuts appearance. He then quickly hits the scissors kick and the Harlem sidekick. Jay Biggs, who is their manager, causes yet another distraction on the outside, but Booker's still in control as he hits Ahmed with the bookend. He kicks his brother on the ring apron and then comes off the top with a drop kick on Big T. He's about to win again, but then the lights go out. When the lights come back on, someone from Booker's past is standing on the outside glaring at him. Big T hits the Pearl River plunge for the 3. This guy's even bigger than Big T, maybe his cheeks. This isn't him though, I'm just messing around. This is Cash, who has a head that isn't in proportion with the rest of his body. Jay Biggs reminds Booker T that he can no longer use his gimmick because he lost. Definitely the best match so far, but Big T still barely did anything, and you've got to remember, he's in there with Booker T, who rarely has a terrible match. I'll just give this a D and move on. Match 5, Billy Kidman with Torrie Wilson, and he takes on Stevie Ray with Jay Biggs and Big T with... This guy looks ridiculous, he can barely move, Cash. Booker's also teaming up with Kidman, but he comes out much too late because he doesn't like Kidman that much. Booker hits Big T with the scissors kick and he follows it up with a Russian leg sweep, and Stevie has to make the save. Booker continues doing well with a double clothesline whilst Clarence Mason, Jay Biggs, starts playing the race card about Harlem Heat on commentary. Booker hits the bookend and then Kidman hits the elbow drop on Big T, but the match isn't over though because Big Cash pulls the referee out of the ring. Stevie simply smacks Kidman one and Big T makes the cover, and just like that it's over. What's the point in having Big T if the other man in the group next to him makes him look small? This match is a D, slightly entertaining I guess, at least they won. Match 6, WCW Tag Team Champions 4 Corners Elimination Tag. The champions Big Vito and Johnny the Bull with Disco Inferno take on the Nazi brothers who come out to complete silence, versus Harlem Heat with Cash and Jay Biggs, versus Booker T and Billy Kidman with Torrie Wilson. Booker hits the scissors kick to Big T for the second match in a row. The match then calms down, but Big T is an idiot and takes his partner out. Booker beats his brother with a Russian leg sweep. Ugh, just like that, it's an S. Thanks for coming guys, what was the point? The winners of the match are the Mamalukes after Disco hits a Nazi with a belt. They keep playing the race card and saying they're being held down. I don't know how I don't remember any of this happening. I mean, most of it's on Thunder, so maybe that's why. It's crazy, people always seem to ask for a Nation of Domination 2.0. Well, this seems to be it. You got your wish. 2 of the guys from the previous group are here. And guess what? It sucks. Poor Jay Biggs. In real life, he asked to leave the Nation of Domination because he was uncomfortable. And now it's all happening to him again. Even Big T's promos are bad because he doesn't have much to say. And Stevie completely outshines him on the mic. I'm really trying to get through this run, but I'm starting to feel sick. Our guy's just not doing anything, and Harlem Heat 2000 isn't a good team. I've decided to take a break and head to the gym and come back to it, because right now, it's just not happening for me. Match 7, back from the gym, WCW Uncensored 2000. Booker T and Billy Kidman with Torrie Wilson versus Harlem Heat with Jay Biggs and Cash. Stevie takes out Kidman and brings in Bigger Than Bigger T. Kidman nails him with a drop kick and he tries to stay on his feet, but he still falls over. Booker comes in, but he nails him with a side kick. Cash tries to come into the ring, but Booker catches him with a scissors kick on his tiny pea head. Booker delivers a Russian leg sweep to Big T, but Kidman's dive gets interrupted. Stevie and Big T then hit a double bicycle kick to Kidman. Nice. Big T then does his own Harlem side kick to Kidman, but Torrie distracts the referee. What happens next was one of the strangest and dumbest things I've seen. Cash takes Kidman to the outside, and then Big T randomly decides to climb into the crowd, and he tries to fly through the crowd over the ring barrier to take out Kidman, but he just sort of slops into him as he clips the barrier. So random, why did he do that? Back in the ring, Big T hits a nice spinebuster, but he can't end the match. Booker gets the hot tag and he hits Big T with a nice bookend, but Stevie breaks up the pin. Harlem Heat continue to hit nice double team moves when they hit a nice double spinebuster on Booker. I've got to give this match credit, it's far better than expected. The match ends with Booker hitting a Harlem sidekick on Big T and Kidman rolls him up for the 3. I actually like this one, Strange Diver side. This is the most involved our guy's been in a match so far. I asked for him to hit some power moves and I got it. It's a B, credit where credit's due. I guess I didn't need to go to the gym after all. Match 8, Harlem Heat with Cash and Jay Biggs versus the Mamalukes, Big Vito and Johnny the Bull. Stevie hits a sidekick and brings his partner in. He hits a lovely bicycle kick that reminded me of Albert and he hits it with authority. Next up he squashes Johnny the Bull with a spinebuster, but he doesn't try to pin him. He pays for it as he gets booted by Johnny the Bull. Big Vito then gets in and takes our guy out with some more kicks. Vito then nails him with the 10 punches in the corner. I thought Big T was going to slam him. Cash interferes for no reason and the match is ended by DQ. It's a D, not much to say. Up next, Harlem Heat meet with Russo and Bischoff. Russo and Big T are happy to meet once again, but Bischoff tells him to get out of his seat, and he does it like a complete pussy. Match 9, no DQ, 3-on-1 handicap match. Sid Vicious, who gets an incredible crowd reaction, versus Harlem Heat with Jay Biggs. Sid takes Harlem Heat out of the ring and then he boots Cash. Sid gets distracted trying to chokeslam Jay Biggs and Harlem Heat get the advantage. The Heat 2000 then hit double bicycle kicks followed by a double spinebuster. Cash drops his belly on Sid but then he somehow kicks out. Booker then runs out and helps Sid and he hits a powerbomb for the 3. This one's an S, it didn't go well for them. They had a 3-on-1 advantage and they still screwed it up. Well, I said they were like a Nation of Domination 2.0, but in reality there's nowhere near enough promo time for these guys. Match 10, Spring Stampede, Harlem Heat with Jay Biggs and Cash versus Shane Douglas and Buff Bagwell. Big T hits a spinebuster of authority on Buff Bagwell. Buff fights back with a splash from the corner. Big T is just exhausted, and then there's a hot tag after only 20 seconds. Douglas gives our guys a meeting at the mines, but they no-sell it and hit the double bicycle kicks. Then Shane Douglas randomly hits the Pittsburgh plunge, and it's just over just like that, whilst Big T watches in the ring like a complete moron. It went about 2 minutes, so they're just complete jobbers at this point. It's an S. Tension is teased amongst the group, but Jay Biggs calms them down. Match 11, number 1 contenders Battle Royal. There's this big over-the-top rope Battle Royal match going on between the New Blood and the Millionaires Club, but during the match Harlem Heat 2000 and Norman Smiley decide to join the match for some reason. There's literally 25 men in the ring. If our guy does anything, I doubt I'll see it. I'm pretty sure Big T punches Hogan a few times, so there's a highlight. The match is so dumb and I hate it, I have no idea what's going on. It's just too many people in there at once. At some point, all of our guys went out, but I have no idea when it happened or how. It was never mentioned or shown. Ric Flair wins the match, and this match can shove it. It can shove it today, it can shove it tomorrow. I was once optimistic, but now I have nothing but sorrow. Match 12, 4-way elimination tag. Most people don't get an entrance, but it's the Mamalukes with Disco Inferno versus the Nazi Twins versus Harlem Heat 2000 versus Chronic. It's basically a handicap match, everyone on Chronic. The highlight of the match is a Big T scoop slam. Brian Adams eliminates Big Vito and the Mamalukes. Brian Clark then eliminates the Nazis. Okay, I sort of lied. T and Stevie hit a double spinebuster. Then completely randomly, Stevie Ray deliberately hits Big T with the slapjack. The commentary team barely mention it. I had to rewind because I didn't even notice it happening. So if that's how our team break up, that's how little they cared about it. Chronic hit the high time on Big T for the 3. It's an S. Match 13, final match. Harlem Heat with Jay Biggs, who seem to have worked out their problems, take on Terry Funk. Big T hits the over-the-top rope dive again, and it looks a lot better this time. Shade to Hernandez. Big T smacks Funk one whilst Cash holds his arms. Harlem Heat hit their double spinebuster and then Cash hits a splash. The 3 men then start arguing over who's going to pin him. They look like they didn't know what they were doing. Big T has a trash can lid but doesn't want to hit Funk and instead he hits Stevie to get revenge for the slapjack on the last match. T then takes out Cash. What a face turn this is turning out to be. Terry Funk hits Cash with the chair and he goes down like a tree in the Forest of Dean on a windy night. It's over, but Harlem Heat fight up the entranceway. It's yet another S. It wasn't entertaining and all of it felt pretty awkward. So it seemed like WCW was setting up a feud here, but nothing happened. The reason the whole Harlem Heat 2000 thing happened in the first place was Stevie Ray getting Ahmed the job in WCW because he felt sorry for him. Stevie has since said that Ahmed didn't know what he was doing and even forgot what was happening in most of the matches. Look, I know it wasn't going to be good. An out of shape, over the hill, lack of promos Ahmed Johnson in late WCW was never going to be good, was it? You have to remember he took like a year out of wrestling in between his WWE run and his WCW run. The final grade is an S, so no, we won't be hiring him or Harlem Heat 2000 for Ring of the Hawk. And if you don't agree with that, I'll beat you until you squawk.
What a mess, wow. Although, to this day, I still have to question what Ahmed Johnson was on about saying, a piece of fish. The Hawks had a fairly varied upbringing. I've never heard this saying before. Someone please tell me, what does a piece of fish mean? Maybe he was trying to describe his wrestling skill, which was fishy. I don't know. But the fact is, he was extremely botchy during this run. He looked like he couldn't even execute the most basic of moves. He couldn't do his damn finisher safely. This was appalling. What a waste of money. And to top all that off, he had a terrible attitude backstage. Probably in the ring too. So for that reason, I would never have him on any roster, let alone Ring of the Hawk roster. And the worst short run in professional wrestling goes to Bastion Booger. I can't believe I have to watch this man again. Kill me.
Okay, it's Bastion Booger. Will he blow like a hooker? Match 1 telling us that he's a monk. He looks wider than he does tall. I guess he's blessing himself by squirting holy water over his face. What is this? Why are the people in the audience looking scared? And he takes on jobber Chris Duffy, who seems to find it as funny as me. Duffy is shoving him, but the Friar doesn't agree with it. Mr. Duffy randomly tries to powerbomb him and Ferguson sort of back body drops him. He hits a leg drop and Duffy heads out the ring. Duffy comes straight back to the ring, so I guess Duffy is back, only for the monk to send him back out again. He hits a clothesline and starts doing a bizarre dance. This is really strange. Ferguson hits a scoop slam, and there it is, a body slam. He doesn't want the free yet, at least. I thought he was letting him back up. This is such a slow match. The Friar puts the jobber on the ropes and rubs his skirt over his face. The monk applies a nerve hold for a bit before he's stabbed in the eyelid. Now he hits a back body drop. Duffy is a very determined jobber and he tries a sunset flip, but the monk stops him and dances and drops his ass on his face. There, that's the free. A terrible match and a terrible gimmick. It was slow, he looked stupid and none of his moves were cool. It's an S. Well, I can't say I ever want to see him again. And the people from the church felt the same way and they made the WWF take this character off TV. They weren't happy with how he was portraying the church, for a number of reasons. Match 2 Superstars a couple of months later. He is now Bastion Booger. He's shaved off the stupid monk haircut, and McMahon on commentary remarks how disgusting he looks. Well, he's not lying, is he? He will take on Virgil. Booger clubs Virgil all over the ring, but Virgil starts using his pace as he slides under Booger and connects with a crossbody. The big man isn't too hurt and he knocks Virgil down with a headbutt. Scoop slam into a leg drop now and that should be over, but Virgil kicks out. Booger hits a power slam now for another 2. He has less teeth than Benoit. Virgil with a float over in the corner, and after a bit of a struggle he takes Booger down with a crucifix, and that's the 3. For some reason in post-production they draw a penis on Booger. So he's already a complete joke, so why bother continuing? Well, the Hawk has sat through some of the worst wrestling of all time, and I don't quit easy. But it's an S. Oh, no! Match 3 Superstars. Bastion Booger, who is billed at £401. Why give him that extra £1? What's the point? Once again he faces Virgil. Virgil tries to strike a move, and now he grabs Booger's leg and kicks out the 3 leg. Virgil plays with the crowd for ages on if he should kick Booger in the nutsack. Instead he delivers a headbutt. Virgil with some dragon screws on the leg now, which doesn't have much effect. Booger's back up and he flattens Virgil. Virgil tries a diving crossbody, but he completely misses it. Straight away Booger dives with a splash, and that is the 3. He screams at the camera, "Who's next? Who's next?" afterwards, so I guess this is where Goldberg got his gimmick from. Appalling, and the commentary team spent the whole match laughing at Booger. Oh, no! It's an S. Why does he have no entrance music, by the way? Match 4, Raw. Bastion Booger, who doesn't get an entrance, but he's now billed at £3 less, so well done on the diet, and he takes on Crush. The commentary team are talking about how bad Booger smells. We start with a jab to the eyelid. Booger slowly beats Crush up in the ring. Crush starts gritting his teeth, but he's unable to lift up Booger. They both smash into each other. Both men are still standing. Crush gets angry and Booger is scared. Crush with the worst back body drop you'll ever see. He realises he can't lift him well enough and he uses the drop kick instead. The match heads outside and Booger shoves him into the ring pole and squashes him. Now the commentary team kindly take time to point out the hump on Booger's neck. His outfit looks like lingerie from Ann Summers. It's funny how fashions change, but I'm a Hawk and I'll never change. This is seriously so bad. Booger's punches look slow and have no impact. Bastion Booger applies a bear hug now. as if this match wasn't slow enough. It does even look like it's a tight bear hug. Crush hits a knee to the gut and nails a half suplex, and there it is, a body slam. Not once, not twice, but thrice, and it sure wasn't nice, and that's the 3 count. A horrible match, it's an S. At this rate, a D would feel like match of the year. Match 5, Raw. Bastion Booger, who is now 408 pounds, so I guess his diet's gone wrong. He takes on Scott Dupree, and that's what he makes the girls do. Booger knocks him into the corner and sends him running to connect with a clothesline. Booger ass drops him. He plays with the crowd for a bit before hitting a leg drop. Seconds later, Booger connects with the power slam to finish off Scott Depressed with the ass drop pin. It went 1 minute, so at least I didn't have time to get annoyed with the slow speed, so thanks for that, it's a D. Match 6, Superstars. Booger, who eats a sandwich on the way to the ring and then dribbles it out to the camera, versus Mike Bell. Booger with a waistlock takedown straight away. Bell gets 2 more clotheslines and he spills out the ring. Booger squashes him against the ring post. In the ring, Mike Bell now seems to be dead. The commentary team explained that the hump on the back of Booger's neck makes it impossible for him to be pinned. Booger now with a scoop slam and he hits the second rope splash. He isn't done and he connects with a power slam. Booger dances and thrusts at the crowd with happiness and hits the ass drop pin. The crowd were actually reacting and booing Booger in this one for the first time, so it's a D for making the crowd actually make a noise. Match 7, Raw. Bastion Booger, who wants to drop his ass on the ring girl, versus Marty Jannetty. Believe it or not, this match will be at least 3 times longer than any match we've seen so far. So what are we about to get? We will start with a long test of strength fake out. They finally lock up and Booger puts him on his knees. Jannetty doesn't like being on his knees and he fights back and shoves Booger in the corner. Jannetty with a float over in the corner, and in the opposite corner he connects with a crossbody. It gets him a 2. Jannetty with a couple of arm drags and drop kicks now. Booger slops out of the ring. Jannetty dives on him with a fist drop to the outside. Jannetty's being a real showman here. He rolls over the ropes into the ring and immediately dives back out of a crossbody. Booger slides back into the ring like a slug where Jannetty slams his arm into the ring post. It looks like it hurt the post more than Booger. They fight outside the ring again and Jannetty's doing well until Booger sends him flying into the pole. Booger follows it by squashing him into that pole. It's completely turned now with Booger hitting a back body drop. Jannetty attempts a victory roll which is done because Booger ass drop pins him. Before the ref can count 3, Jannetty rolls him backwards and makes the pin for the 3. By far the best match so far, but let's be honest, that was all down to Jannetty. You can see why he was highly rated as a youngster. Best match so far, it's a D, there's no need to P. Match 8, Superstars. Bastion Booger, who steals a little kid's ice cream and for some reason then rubs it all over his own face. At least he finally has music, but it's just someone randomly hitting a piano. And he takes on Ralph Mosca, who has 4 chins. This guy's been stealing his fair share of ice creams too from the look of it. Booger clotheslines Moscow down. He feeds Moscow with the rest of his ice cream. Out of the ring we go and predictably Booger squashes him against the pole. Booger hits him down a few times with Vince McMahon and Lawler making comments about how disgusting his weight is. The power slam and the ass drop pin ends it and Booger makes sure to finish the rest of his ice cream. How can we only be 8 matches in? This is horrific. Match 9, Superstars. Jobber Todd Pecker, the Hawk Makes Your Girl Wetter versus Bastion Booger. He has new music, which is the same piano, but now it's got snoring sounds played over it. Vince says he looks like he stinks. Literally nothing happens in this match. The dancing ass drop ends it. Ow! This truly is the worst theme music I've ever heard. It's actually terrifying. It's an S.
I'm Booger.
Match 10 Raw, 20-man battle royal for the number 1 contendership for the Intercontinental title. There's some seriously big guys in this match, so Booger's size isn't going to help him. Booger helps everyone to eliminate the Giant Gonzalez. Booger and IRS almost get Randy Savage out now, but they can't manage it. Booger spends most of the match slowly walking around the ring looking confused. It seems no one wants to go near him because he stinks. After 5 minutes, Jesus, Booger's still in there, and he actually chucks the 1-2-3 kid out. I'm in shock. That's probably going to be the highlight of this entire video, isn't it? God help us. He makes it to about the final 9 people before the Macho Man grabs him and throws him over the top whilst Booger's whole body shakes like jelly. It's a D because he did better than I could have ever predicted. Match is won by Razor Ramon. Match 11, Superstars. Ray Roy, who has 2 first names, he should get a stupid name fee for that one, versus Bastion Booger. No one gets an entrance. The match is exactly the same as all the others. I can't see the point in any of this. And he has food or something stuck in his beard. We get a camera zoom in on the ass drop pin. Is this actually leading to anything? Because it's making me feel sick for absolutely no reason. Wow, a Bastion Booger promo to start Raw now. He's eating piles of raw food and spilling them down himself. He says he's eating raw food because it's raw. He's going to eat today's opponent up. Match 12 Raw, Razor Ramon versus Booger. At least they cleaned the food off his belly. It would be horrible for Scott Hall to have to wrestle him in this state. Ramon is at a big disadvantage in this one because, as established, Booger has a hump and can't be pinned. Razor jiggles his man boobs and throws his toothpick at him. We come back from the advert break with Booger hitting a splash. He dances for too long and Razor sneaks up on him and launches him out the ring. Nothing happens out there. Moments later, Hall gets Booger hung up in the ropes. Razor shakes his belly. This angers Booger, who gets him out the ring and squashes him against the post. Booger keeps driving him into the ring apron. In the ring now, it's a move we haven't seen in a while. It's the bear hug. I don't know why, but it looks so funny. Razor fights out of it with punches, but he's unable to pick up Booger. Moments later, Booger connects with the power slam for a 2 count. Nothing really happens for the next few minutes, as Vince McMahon describes it as a lethargic matchup. In other words, it's boring. Razor blocks his attack in the corner and he rocks him with a clothesline. Now Razor does finally manage to scoop slam the Booger man. We get a disgusting zoom in on Booger's ass as Hall tries the Razor's edge. Booger fights it off with the back body drop and he hits the ass drop pin. Razor rolls him out into his own pin and it's over. The exact same match as the Marty Jannetty match, but worse. It's an S.
Oh no!
It's bad enough I have to watch this, but could the cameraman please refrain from zooming in on his ass? It's making me want to pass. Match 13. Superstars. Bastion Booger. Hang on, his entrance is interrupted by Doink the Clown on the Titantron. Finally, could this be a storyline? I'll take anything. Doink is making ugly jokes about Booger. He threatens him and says he'll see him at Survivor Series. Booger's very angry about this. He takes on Joe Seaman. Booger gets him on the ropes whilst he threatens Doink into the camera. The dancing ass drop pin ends it in record time. Booger celebrates his win with a Milky Bar yogurt. I was sitting in my seat feeling sick when straight after this match, a wild Slapnuts appears.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
He's just here to run down the country music scene. Match 14, Survivor Series Showdown. Not exactly sure what this is and if it should count, but who cares, most of the matches are shorter than your dick. Bastion Booger, who's back at 401 pounds carrying a pizza box to the ring. He takes on Doink the Clown. It really feels like I'm watching some sort of circus freak show. Jim Ross with the call of the night. A man this large can't be taken lightly. Bastion Booger wants to ride on the scooter, but he falls off it straight away. In the ring, Doink sprays Booger in the eye with water. Now Booger pulls some flags out of Doink's pocket. An Irish whip and a kick to the ass from Doink. Booger charges and crashes into the opposite corner. Doink crouches down behind him and this knocks Booger over. Booger dumps in his nappy of anger and has to go outside. He mashes Doink against the ring post just like he always does. Nothing's really happening in the ring except some dancing. New move from Booger now, it's an almost camel clutch. Doesn't work though. This is the most boring thing I've ever watched. Doink spends 3 minutes outside the ring, but somehow he isn't counted out. Shoulder thrusts in the corner from the Boogman now. Big chest punch from Booger. He drops his leg but doesn't make a cover. End this match now, just end it please. Doink suddenly fires up with gut punches. I have no idea what happens next, but Doink dodges a clothesline and then just sort of stands there swaying in the wind. When he turns around, Booger clotheslines him anyway. Whilst Booger's making the pin, Doink taps him on the shoulder. This somehow makes him think he's won the match and he celebrates, so Doink rolls him up for the free. Doink isn't done just yet though, and he tips chili sauce all over Booger's pizza. This burns the Booger, who starts ripping his lingerie off. So many dumb moments in this match and I hated it. I might need to start bringing in the Triple S because one shove it isn't enough for this match. And talking of the shove it show, the next match is renowned for how bad it is. Before the next match, Booger and the Samoans desperately eat a roast chicken whilst Bam Bam cuts a promo. He says this is the most awesome team in WWF history. Booger has half a t-shirt on that says I may be fat but I can diet. Well yeah you can, but you seem to put it all back on weeks later. Match 15, Survivor Series 1993, 4-on-4 elimination tag. Bigelow with Luna, Bastion Booger and the Head Shrinkers accompanied by Uffa. And they take on the Bushwhackers and Men on a Mission with Oscar all dressed up as Doink the Clown. So this is apparently one of the worst Survivor Series matches of all time. Is the internet correct? Let's find out. Booger starts this one with Luke Bushwhacker. Booger squashes him straight away but doesn't make the cover. Booger keeps getting distracted by his own partners who are eating a banana, which leads to the Bushwhacker biting him in the ass and he's poked in the eyelid. Booger bails and tags out. Samu is the first man eliminated because he takes a water bomb to the face. Booger's back in now with a kick to the gut of a Bushwhacker. He also hits a leg drop and tags back out. When Booger gets back in, he hits the dancing ass drop. He doesn't make the pin though, because he's distracted by a banana again. He puts it in his mouth and attempts the ass drop, but he misses it. The Bushwhackers do their battering ram headbutt thing to him, and then Mabel hits the leg drop for the 3. Simply horrible. He got distracted by a banana twice. I thought he was into junk food. The match continues to involve food. We also get Mo riding a scooter around the ring for no reason at all. The ref completely giving up. Bam Bam seems annoyed to even be involved in this match. Fatu should have Mo beaten, but he's distracted by a banana skin. Fatu slips on the banana skin and he's pinned. Luna gets covered in food too, which distracts Bam Bam Bigelow, and then the match ends with all 4 doinks piling on top of him. It is a horrible match, isn't it? Match 16, Superstars, Tony Webb versus Bastion Booger. Why? Someone please tell me, why is he still having job matches? They're supposed to be used to build up a wrestler to something big, but there's nothing to build Booger up to. He's already big. Booger wins with the dancing ass drop. We move on, unfortunately. Match 17, Tony Roy, who's introduced by a small boy, versus Bastion Booger. Roy is disgusted by his stench. Booger immediately back body drops him. A power slam is the only thing to mention. This ends the match. They then feel the need to zoom in on the ass as he drops it in a post-match attack for absolutely no reason. Match 18 starts with a bikini girl in the ring. Seems a bit edgy for WWF in 1994. It's very welcome after the horrific things that have burned my Hawkeyes today. This is surprisingly a tag team match. Bam Bam Booger with Luna will take on Smoking Guns. Billy Gunn with a mustache. Booger doesn't start this one. It's probably for the best. That hump on his back hasn't helped him out much at all. Seems to be getting bigger actually. After a long time, Booger has the tag. The Gun seems scared of him. This is like Bart Gunn versus Butterbean. Sadly, it's not. Booger delivers an ass attack in one corner and a clothesline in the other. Bart tries a sunset flip, but he can't manage it, so Billy rushes the ring to hit a bad-looking Bulldog. The Guns follow it with a double shoulder tackle. Bart Gunn now gets overzealous, so Booger sort of pulls the rope down to get rid of him. The match trundles along for a bit longer. The 2 Bold Boys seem to be working together pretty well. Booger almost wins it with a leg drop, but Bart Gunn kicks out too. Booger now misses his attack in the corner, which costs his team the advantage. Luna's on the outside of the ring, rubbing Booger's hump for some reason. He's completely distracted and then he starts kissing Luna's hand. He kisses her face, so she slaps him. The Booger just keeps mauling her like a mammoth. She's either being sick or can't breathe, not sure which. This goes on for a few minutes. Bam Bam wants to tag and then he sees what's happening. The 2 Big Bold Boys will now fight on the outside and the match ends due to count out. A horrible performance and it was kind of making me feel sick, him and Luna. Is this the worst Ring of the Hawk run yet? How has this almost reached 20 matches? Someone please put this poor Hawk out of his misery. Match 19, Raw. Wow, we've got a real grudge match here. Bastion Booger versus Bam Bam with Luna. Bam Bam jumps him before the bell even sounds. Bigelow crashes into him, but Bigelow seems to come off worse from that one. Booger knocks him down, but he misses his splash. Somehow, Booger dodges Bam Bam in the corner and he goes rolling out the ring. How did Booger outspeed anyone? Luna starts blowing Booger kisses, which distracts him. Bam Bam clubs him from behind and sends him into the steps. Bam Bam now tries a scoop slam in the ring, but both guys go tumbling over. Bam Bam just simply tries it again, and this time he manages it. Bam Bam now flies off the top rope with a headbutt, and that's the 3. Booger still wants Luna, so Bigelow fights him and drop kicks him from the ring. What a great storyline, so exciting, it's over. Oh, no. Good, it's an S. Match 20, Superstars. Lex Luger versus Bastion Booger. Have we ever seen 2 more contrasting wrestlers? Booger seems to be stronger than Lex. Luger's shoulder blocks won't take him down. He tries a crossbody, but he's caught and slammed. Probably the most impressive thing I've seen in about 10 matches. Booger follows it with the leg drop for a 2. Almost a massive upset there. Booger misses his next attack in the corner, so Luger hits 2 clotheslines which can't knock Booger down. He tries to pick him up, but he can't manage it. Booger shows us how that move's done now, and he also hits a big splash for another 2 count. He tries a second splash, which Luger manages to dodge. Lex Luger is fired up now and he hits a double axe from the top. Yet again he tries a slam, but this time Booger squashes down on top of him for another 2. Bastion Booger smashes into Lex, which sends him out of the ring. Booger connects with a squash into the ring pole. For some reason, Lex Luger no-sells that. He shoves Booger into the ring, he hits 2 clotheslines, and this time he manages the scoop slam. A flying forearm from Luger gets the 3. Actually, you know what, best match for ages, that's a D. Match 21, Superstars. Final match. Oh, thank God, I felt like I was dying. Probably from the 3 toilet breaks I've had to take to throw up in this video. Bastion Booger versus Earthquake. They look like they could be brothers. Actually, scratch that. Look at the size of Earthquake compared to him. We start with both men trying shoulder blocks. Earthquake uses a drop toe hold to take Booger down and hits a drop kick which sends him from the ring. Bastion Booger makes it back to the ring with some weak clubs. He does manage to connect with a splash in the corner, but Earthquake no-sells it. The Natural Disaster impressively carries Booger around the ring and ends with a power slam. He hits an elbow drop as the crowd go crazy for him. Earthquake finishes him off with a diving ass drop. That's how it's done, Booger. Thank God we're done. Ow. By the way, it's an S. Booger was let go from the WWF just a couple of months later. He wanted more wrestling bookings so he could make more money, so Bruce Pritchard told him to talk to Vince McMahon, who promptly told him he was going to release him. Mike Shaw, the man behind Bastion Booger, passed away in 2010. Is Ring of the Hawk finished? It might very well be after that. I don't know if I can watch any more of this stuff. 21 matches and they were pretty much all bad. And to top it off, they had to make him as gross as possible. I miss Friar Ferguson, at least that was funny, but weird. I bet Wes Briscoe is smiling at home in Tampa tonight, because Bastion Booger shoves it way worse than him. At least Wes wrestled Kurt Angle a lot. There was nothing here, no way to make this good. He wasn't tall, so he didn't look that intimidating at a time when they had much more larger wrestlers. He was a joke from match 1. Why did Vince McMahon even want to use the guy? Just so he could make fun of him and have a good joke and laugh? They had him lose to Virgil on his debut, for God's sake. They also pulled him from the Rumble match because they said he had food poisoning. I just can't understand why they booked him for these 21 matches for seemingly no reason. So no, Bastion Booger can't do the JOB to the HAWK. This was bad. When it ended I was glad. It was the worst day I've had, and now I'm so mad I'm going to murder your dad.
Okay. I only puked once during that run, so that's an upgrade. It was 3 times last time. But for the love of God, why, Vince? Why did you make me watch this? You just know this whole thing was just set up for Vince to sit around backstage laughing at how stupid Bastion Booger looked. The wrestling was bad, the gimmick was horrible, and from match 1 he looked appalling. So why did they force us to keep watching this run? It went on for a while. So for that reason, Bastion Booger is the worst short run in professional wrestling. Prove me wrong. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, although you probably didn't. I didn't enjoy myself watching most of that back. The future of Ring of the Hawk is that I want to cover a few more recent runs in wrestling, because you all seem to really like that Aaliyah video. I did too. And we also need to feature a bit more AEW, because they've only been on the Ring of the Hawk show twice, which is crazy after 5 series. I may also make a compilation video of the best short runs in professional wrestling, but right now that's irrelevant. And if you don't agree with that, shut up, go home to your elephant.